additions to my list.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the ALGS North American Pro League broadcast. So many weeks have led to this second rotation through the round robin, where we are finally getting to see groups B versus C tonight again. Last time these groups met up, it was Luminosity that came out on top with Season just close behind them. So the question is, can Luminosity do it again and run it back and find themselves at the top? Only time will tell. I'm your host, Spider Tiff, and I'm going to be joined alongside, once again, the legendary duo of Vicky, Kitty, and Fallout. Fallout, how are you feeling this evening?
I'm feeling fantastic. Excited to be running it back here in North America. So many good stories here. Obviously, TSM, are they the best team in North America? Are they the best team in the world right now? Well, they've been playing like it. I'm excited to see what they can do against the likes of a Luminosity squad who's been so incredibly good. The Guard, are they the real deal? Or are they catfish? We'll find out today. We'll see how they perform in this stacked lobby. A lot of good stories, Vicky. How you feeling?
I'm feeling great. You talk about a lot of good stories. I'm also looking at the squads that are risking relegating into the qualifiers all over again. Furia, where are you at? Optic Gaming had a great end to their performance in their last competitive day. I want to see that carry into day number 6 because, like Tiff was saying before, we got some limited days on our hands for some of these groups to solidify their points into the LAN.
Yeah, only one more rotation through the group matchups, but let's go ahead and talk about some of those teams that we will be seeing featured in Group B versus C. You moment you see it, BR Demons at the very top, another team that really needs to step up and find some success here as well. And maybe a new name to y'all, the former Atlanta Premier roster featured as HEC, Hill Enemy Crook. Excited to see what they can do. Started off with a map win, I believe, on their first match day. So they're looking to find some continued success here and get into a solidified spot on the regional qualifiers. Fallout, talk us through this.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a couple categories here, right? You got the top performing teams, the top dogs of this lobby. It's TSM, it's LG, it's Space Station, the Guard, and surprise, surprise, Esports Arena is performing at a top level. Then you got kind of the notable teams right behind them. Season, 100 Thieves, Optic Gaming, and HEC. Our dark horses and BR Demons, FaZe, Tripods, and Cloud9. How will they perform? They have the potential. We certainly know it as we take a look at the overall standings, Vicky.
Yeah, looking at this right now, TSM have been one of the most consistent squads, though. Even though we saw Luminosity top this group lobby, it's TSM that have had an amazing standout performance in the last few competitive days. Esports Arena, you mentioned them before. This is another one of our really consistent teams. I'm excited to see how they're going to fare against other squads that have been really on the ramp up. Looking at you, Optic Gaming, Season, another squad that also I have eyes on. It's going to be exciting to see how a lot of these teams are going to be able to fare against each other in this lobby.
Yeah, there's a lot of teams just outside that 9th place threshold, so looking to find themselves in that contention for Split 1 playoffs. Jump on over through 11 through 30. If there's a lot of teams that are on this list that really need to step it up. You mentioned relegation, but you talked about Furia sitting there in 24th place with 18 points. So they're going to have to make a move here tonight, Vicky.
Yeah, it's actually crazy to talk about Furia in that capacity. I mean, you also look at other squads that are also on the cusp of trying to qualify into LAN. Space Station Gaming sitting currently in 9th overall with Guard right behind them, Season right behind them. So it's very stacked looking at this lobby and looking what we have on our hands in terms of the action that we're going to be able to see in this group.
Speaking of action, we have a lot of talented teams that we've kind of briefly spoken about, but I would like to dive a little bit deeper in the moments and kind of highlight our teams to watch for this evening. Fallout, who is your team to watch tonight?
Yeah, my team I wanted to highlight, well, it's Space Station Gaming. Why? Because honestly, we don't talk about them enough on broadcast as a top team in Apex, and they certainly are a top team in this lobby. Last Pro League day, they got 2nd place, only by a few points, almost won it over Team Liquid, and they really showed why we deserve to talk about them more often. That listen-in we had with Frex was one of the best listen-ins, showcasing his true potential and how great he is, how decisive he is as an IGL. In my eyes, he showcased so many great things individually, but then of course, Dropped and Zenile performed. They, as a team, played so incredibly well, showed that they can pound for pound fight against any single team in a 3v3. I mean, this is a fight right now against G2, and they handled it with relative ease. Space Station looked great last week, but I want to see them stay consistent. I want to see them continue to perform. That is the team I wanted to highlight. I got to see Space Station do it again today, Vicky. Who you got?
I love Space Station. They're one of my favorite teams, but another one of the teams that I've definitely had my eyes on, it has to be Esports Arena. The squad of Phony, Fury, and Capra, one of the youngest players, I believe actually the youngest players in the Pro League. He's only 16 years old, and he's made such an impact on this roster. This team has also had a lot of time to work together after their performance in the Series E Esports Arena tournaments that go down every week. But so far, not only are they one of the most consistent teams, minus their day one performance where they got 8th, at the end of the day, they've placed 3rd on the other last 2 Pro League days that they've been able to play in, and they're looking to continue that up. I mean, with their composition, they're playing extremely aggressive, and I'm excited to see what this team has in store for us for the rest of the day today.
Hey, Space Station Gaming and Esports Arena, both equally talented teams, but my team to watch tonight is going to be Season. The trio consisting of Clane, Kenny, and Mr. Hakula, and the likes coming from that former XSET roster. They found a lot of success here early on in that Pro League Split 1, but the issue is it's kind of been a long, drawn-out journey coming from those Pro League preseason qualifiers. They actually won preseason qualifier number 4, but their first match day in Pro League, they got 19th place, but they've been grasping and clawing and grinding their way to back-to-back seconds in match day number 3 and match day number 4. So they're sitting just outside the top 9, and I think if they can just focus on their micros and be that team they were in match day number 4, they'll find a lot of success here today. But let's go ahead and talk about the map rotation that we're going to be seeing tonight, because we are switching it up. We're going to kick things off on the ever familiar World's Edge here for matches 1 through 3, and then jump back on over to Storm Point for matches number 4 through 6. So if you are strong on World's Edge, get all of that consistency out early. But the best part about Apex and what we have to offer here on Twitch is that command center. You can actually watch things how you want with the award-winning multi-view. Let's say your favorite team is Scars, or that would be Amiya. But tonight, if your favorite team is BR Demons, TSM, Furia, and you want to support them, make sure that you click Command Center on that bottom right hand of your screen. You can hear their comms, you can watch their rotations, see which weapons they truly like to do, and you can pull up multiple views. Watch Apex how you want through multi-view. Beautiful way to do it. And honestly, I've seen a lot of people go ahead and throw watch parties out with the multi-view. So as long as you're enjoying it, that's all that matters. We care that you're watching it your way. But for our next moment, I kind of want to talk about this. On the Mia broadcast earlier today, we got to highlight some really cool moments with the gold knockdown. But tonight, we're going to be talking about something a little different in the What's in Your Pack presented by WD Black. Tonight, in North America, we saw some really cool moments. Earlier today was that gold knockdown, so it was some utility, but tonight it's a weapon fallout. And in particular, it's going to be the Rampage. Talk me through it.
Yeah, absolutely. When you see that Rampage in the supply crate, obviously, you want to pick it up, especially in late games, and it showed right here in this moment. Such a special moment. I mean, we mentioned it during the broadcast last week, but Nocturnal shooting through the slight sliver in the train track to get damage in. These are the type of fights that make you fall in love with this game time and time again. So unique. Every fight is different. And Nocturnal put the Rampage to use. He's able to get so much damage on them from low ground. Vicky, walk me through what we saw right here with the Rampage.
Yeah, you saw Nocturnal just trying to land and shoot some of those little feet C's of the squad that has to play from the low ground. And with that charge up Rampage, look, the one thing that I love to note about the Rampage when it was on the ground versus the Spitfire is that one goes gra-ta-ta-ta and the other one goes ra-ta-ta-ta. And when you know that that Rampage is charged up with those thermite grenades, you're in a load of trouble. Love how they were able to circle keep this squad because they had no other choice but to take the Horizon Gravity Lift up into the high ground into the lovely open arms of Team Liquid.
Yeah, listen, Vicky, I mean, fantastic breakdown. I just have to say, if your career as a caster does not work out, you got a career as a voiceover animation person for weapon sounds. I don't know what that was. Can you do that one more time for me? It was a gra-ta-ta-ta? One more time for me, please?
Yeah. So the Spitfire goes gra-ta-ta-ta. The Rampage goes ra-ta-ta-ta, like R-A, like for Rampage right there. So you already know when that thermite is charged up in that Rampage, you better start crying or you better start respecting that space because that is when all the chaos is going to break loose, especially when it's
gra-ta-ta-ta versus ra-ta-ta-ta. That's the Spitfire.
Exactly.
I see. Got it. Tiff, you following this right now?
I am following, and let me just tell you, I am crying anytime I hear that sound nearby me in any of the games that I play. I will run full-fledged in the other direction, and if it's Vicky with the Rampage, I'm extra scared, let me tell you that much. But regardless, what a solid weapon, and that's all we have in store for you for that What's in Your Pack presented by WD Black. It's the Rampage. They're charging it up. I think it's only 4 seconds with a thermite to charge it up to increase that rate of fire, which has me running throughout Broken Moon currently, let me tell you that much. But hey, the action's just getting started here tonight. We are going to have some amazing matches, and we talked about it earlier on the EMEA broadcast, Fallout and Vicky. The match starting on World's Edge. A lot of these teams kind of have that familiarity on World's Edge, but I put you on the spot in EMEA, and I think I'm going to do so here tonight in North America. Who is the team that you are looking to pick for that map 1 victory, Fallout?
Oh, map 1 victory. All right, an overall victory. Listen, last time you did in rehearsals, I was ready. This time I'm not ready, but I'm ready to deliver a take. I'm going to say Optic starts strong today here on World's Edge. They obviously are really, really good on this map. And I think the fact that the map switch is actually going to help them because they tend to dominate World's Edge quite consistently. I think Optic starts strong with the game 1 win. Vicky, who you got?
I love how Fallout always puts me on the spot. Now it's Tiffany's turn to put Fallout on the spot, all right? It's enough is enough, John. I have to say it, but I'm going to give you guys my entire day breakdown. I think Luminosity Gaming is going to stay on top. I got to give my love over to that Mexican squad who has been popping up, who had a great day number 3 showcase in this very same lobby. I'm expecting them to do the same thing today.
Hey, and we talk about the future, but let's go ahead and jump back to the past, to that match day number 3, where groups B versus C met up that very first time, and just jumping on board with FaZe. That's a big question, Fallout. Like, we want to see what FaZe can do here.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's crazy to call FaZe a dark horse, but that's the reality they are. I mean, dark horse, by definition, a team that you don't know if they're going to perform. They have the opportunity and potential to do so, and that is FaZe to a T. We saw them in the second place finish in day 4 or 5, I believe it was. Really, really impressive stuff, but we've seen some inconsistency from them as well. We'll see what FaZe can do. Optic has been trending upwards. They got 11th, then they got 8th, but then they got 5th in their last match day. Optic Gaming is a team that, has been needing to trend upwards, needed a big performance, so all eyes on them as well. Those are kind of 2 of the storylines from last match day, but Vicky hit the nail on the head. Luminosity dominated this Group B versus C matchup last time. I think that's a good prediction. Any other thoughts here on this page?
I feel like looking at this page overall, I'm expecting Heck to also have a pretty great time. That's Atlanta Premier actually sitting in the 10th place spot. I mean, how the heck are these individual players just free agents now? Somebody needs to keep their eyes on Atlanta Premier's former team now, Heck, because they're also going to look for an opportunity to make sure that they're standout individual players for this day.
Yeah, speaking of teams that are kind of in that free agent aspect, you've got Season, you've got Slept On, you've got the formerly known as Sign Us Please, now Karasuno. There's a lot of teams that are looking to kind of get picked up in this moment and kind of prove themselves. Fallout, do you feel like a lot of these preseason qualifier teams are really stacking up against some of our invited teams from the Pro League thus far?
Yeah, absolutely. And especially in this group, I mean, that's one of the biggest storylines of this group matchup, and Group B in particular, is it has the most stacked Challenger Circuit teams. You mentioned most of them. Tripods, Season, ESA. These are all teams that were in the Challenger Circuit, were amateur players last season, and have qualified, and have made their way through the open qualifiers, and are now sticking it to and dominating a lot of these Pro League teams. It's really an awesome story, and Group B in particular really highlights a lot of these Challenger Circuit teams, Tiff.
Hey, and that's all we're here to keep an eye on. I love the dedication coming out of Tripods. I see them grind time and time every night, getting on ranked and just really trying to strengthen themselves as a team. And I'm excited to see their future. But hey, enough about that. I believe match number 1 is about to be underway. So I'm excited to see you, Vicky and Fallout, call out all of the action. Let's get hyped, everyone. It's the first game of the day on World's Edge. Good luck, guys.
Thank you so much, Tiff. You hear that, Vicky? Fallout, call out. See what she did there? That was impressive. That was really good.
I love Tiff.
100%. I'm one. As we jump in to game number 1, here we go. North American Pro League, and everyone, global audience watching right now, welcome to the ALGS Pro League. This is North America, day number 6, well through the halfway point of this Pro League. So it is now or never for these teams to perform, and we have 6 in particular, Vicky. Furia is the biggest name in the bunch that need to perform. Oxygen, Sentinels, Furia, Elevate, First Attempt, and Slept On. For them, it is now or never to earn a spot in the top 10 to make it to the or the overall Split 1 playoffs, or top 20 to make it to the regional finals.
Yeah, you talk about Furia, Sentinels right there alongside Furia too. I mean, they had their best performance in that last Pro League date that we saw them play in, but I want to see them relegate themselves into at least the upcoming Split 2 Pro League after the LAN, even if they don't make it. I want to see these squads absolutely perform today because they're shortly running out of time. This is day 6 in the NA Apex Legends Global Series day. We got only 3 days left to go for these squads to get the points that they need.
That's right. And just to finally kind of break that down for everyone, so everyone's aware of the format, how things work, well, Top 20 is what teams are vying for right now. If you get top 20, you make it to a day 10, a last regional final day, which also goes towards your Pro League points. The winning team from that top 20 will automatically qualify for Split 1 playoffs. The following top 9 teams in overall Pro League points will qualify for Split 1 playoffs. 21st and 22nd avoid relegation. 23rd through 30th have to go to play the top Challenger Circuit teams in the relegation or the Split 2 Pro League qualifiers. So that's what's at stake here. Top 20, as we see it, Cloud9 initial fight and battle against First Attempt, no longer dropping Climatizers, Cloud9.
Very interesting early 50-50. And this is very scary, though, because C9 have the number advantage. I was going to say, because First Attempt actually went for a split drop, because one of the members of First Attempt is actually trying to prioritize the beacon for them to have information. Now, they've lost out on their Watson, which loses them the opportunity to bunker down in these buildings safely. And not only that, unfortunately, the banner is actually all the way on the low ground. So good luck trying to get that banner before the timer runs out.
Yeah, so no NRG in this lobby means staging is going to be wide open, and Cloud9 thought they could have it.
Ew.
So did First Attempt. I don't know if these teams did not have an idea that the other team was going to be dropping there. I mean, no one would expect a Cloud9 to be giving up Climatizer, but they did. They say, let's not fight the BR Demons. Last time we were there in this matchup, BR Demons had their way with Cloud9. I think 2 out of 3 games, maybe even 3 out of 3 games. BRD dominated that fight, much like we saw BRD dominate G2 in Barometer on Storm Point. So BR Demons, again, they're a team that kind of came up through arenas. They were arena demons originally. They dominated a lot of those arena tournaments. You don't want to fight them in a 3v3, 50-50 fight. That's why you see Cloud9 giving them the respect. And instead, well, they get 2 kill points looking for a third.
There's the hungry Hippos looking to get even more KP to their name. You saw that esports arena, specifically only Luda came up to scoop up one of that KP, while the rest of esports arena is so focused on looting the rest of Thermo. They're going to take the last member of First Attempt, and that's going to be the first squad exiting out of our lobby. I did mention before, Fury in the esports arena lineup, it's actually Luda who had moved in for Fury just actually earlier on in the season. So Luda cleaning up that KP as well, just denying that opportunity from Cloud9 means that Cloud9 get to start off their day in this first game with 2 KP to their name.
That's right. Cloud9 rocking a Bangalore Bloodhound team comp. You're seeing that rise in popularity. G2 was the only team that did it in North America. Cloud9 joining them, because we have a couple of EMEA teams doing it. Guess what? Furia as well, the same team comp. So Bangalore stock way up overall in meta, but it's only these 2 teams rocking Bangalore. Guess what, Vicky? We have 13 different legends in this game. That's one of the highest records or numbers we've ever had in terms of the amount of legends that'll be on display. Catalyst, only 1. Newcastle, only 1. Gibraltar, only 1. 2 Bangalore, Loba, Fuse, Bloodhound, and Caustics. And 4 Cryptos, 8 Seers, 8 Watsons, 9 Horizons, and 18 Valkyries. So 2 Valkyrie-less comps are the 2 teams we've seen so far today. Cloud9 and Furia changing it up. We love it.
No, Valkyrie lineups are actually always so interesting because it plays into the way that the squads want to focus on their rotation. As we look at Furia being one of the teams running the Valkyrie-less composition, for those 2 squads running the Caustic, hold up, I just want to talk real quick. No, I'm just joking. But the Mad Maggie was very prevalent in the EMEA region. It's always so interesting to see how the difference of regions and composition that we get to be exposed to. APAC obviously rocking the Crypto, the Watson, and the Valkyrie more than anything else. Even the variation of the Valkyrie, Horizon, and Watson being a very big composition in those regions. And then the difference between North America that runs things a little differently here.
Yeah, meanwhile, 100 Thieves, ones that really popularized and really launched the popularity of the Watson UCAS team composition at ALGS Champs. Worked out really well for them. They got a top 5 finish at Champs and performed consistently throughout Champs. They're running the same team comp overall. I'm going to double back to the Furia note, though. I mean, props to them. Obviously, we'll see if it pays off and if it works, but the definition of insanity is trying the same thing over and over and over again and expecting different results. Furia was trying the same thing. They're the ones that popularized the Seer meta, but at the end of the day, all good things come to an end. Just because you did it well at Champs doesn't mean you still have to do it continually now. You need to change something up. You're in 23rd or 24th place overall, so I like the fact so far that Furia made the adjustment. We'll see if it pays off for them with Bangalore and Bloodhound. So we switch on over to HEC, one of our crypto running teams.
Yeah, one of their squads that are with this composition are going to be looking to bunker down inside of this building. You can see them look each side. They don't have a seer, so they don't have the information if a squad is trying to approach them from afar, just minus the squads that are going to put themselves in their line of sight. But they will be able to have the information that the crypto drone provides, as FaZe are also looking to clean up some early stragglers right here. So many of these squads have already made their rotation into Countdown, and with a quick start to our first game here, we are seeing a lot of individual players drop like flies. How, unfortunately, dropping down. Furia looking to claim their heads. Reps also going down. That only leaves Furhos from the TSM squad to potentially stay alive. He trades with his Watson. I would love to tune into what's going on with this fight. And TSM,
TSM is out. Not much to tune into anymore. Furia over TSM. Wow, those are two big name brands at the top right of your screen. Furia eliminating TSM with a quick rotation from TSM from Lava Siphon. That was a wicked fast rotation all the way to the northwest side of his zone in Lava Fissure. So kudos to Furia, and this new comp is working well for them. They're taking that fight. They take it with aggression. We didn't see what happened. I don't know if TSM was in a bad spot or got some unlucky positioning, or maybe a third party was there, but I think it was a clean 3v3, and I think Furia simply just handled their 3v3 logistics. Nice job to them. As we take a look at FaZe, who ran a Bangalore team comp on Stormpoint, but Albert Lely, IGL this team, sticking with the Crypto and Watson team comp alongside Valk here on World's Edge. That's what they ran last time as well.
And breaking down this composition and why we've been seeing a lot more of the Crypto, it not only does it delete the Watson fences, as you can see Esports Arena, actually, I'll hold that thought for right now before we dissect what's going on in this fight. Luda going down first is detrimental here. Phony gets the trade though, they get the knock at the same time. Now they're going to be able to fully send it. Love the way that they were able to approach that fight. Two members of Esports Arena actually trying to contest over in Thermal Station on separate sides of the inner part of that sniper tower in that bottom floor. And now they don't have to worry about other squads, maybe unless there's another squad that got whipped. It looks like actually looking to go in for the third party. They gotta reset quickly. It's Luminosity now.
That's right. LG likes to play Edge on World's Edge. They drop in the north or southeast side of the map. Guess what? They're gonna third party. Capra goes down early. Can ESA survive? Likely not. The Gibraltar Caustic team comp is gonna take out two members of this ESA squad. Sentinels gets eliminated in the kill feed, but it looks like one member of ESA may have survived. Luminosity, though, pick up some kill points along the way. Kudos and heads up play from them to come through in third party and take out this squad.
Looks like they were able to delete them fully here. I'm not too sure if that last struggler ended up getting away here for that squad, but it looks like we're going to be able to see Luminosity now going for a reset. Saw that ESA are unfortunately not unable to come out from resetting after that initial squad that they had, but LG being one of those edge squads. And it's always interesting to see because they're also rocking the Gibraltar. Gibby, somebody that we haven't really been seeing very often in these lobbies in some of these team comps, but taxing the big boys brings me way back to the very end of Split 2 for year 2 of the Pro League, something that we saw very frequently when it comes to holding down these buildings with the caustic barrels.
Yeah, and I love that LG does not care what the meta is. They will run whatever they want to run. I mean, no one else in this entire lobby, in the entire Pro League, I don't believe, is running Gibraltar Caustic. I mean, EMEA, you didn't see it once. I don't think you saw any Gibraltars. Very few Caustics. You like to see Luminosity just doing what works for them. Is Optic. Maybe heard some of the fights going on. They're going to avoid that. They'll be taking the rotation, playing Edge. And I want to double down on that point, actually, now that things are slowing down a little bit, Vicky. You mentioned Edge teams. And for those that are watching the North American broadcast but missed the EMEA broadcast, oh my goodness. Go back and rewatch it. It was some of the most entertaining Apex we have ever seen, all because of Edge fighting teams finding a ton of success. Weeks ago, maybe about a month or two ago, actually, a lot of people were saying Edge fighting is dead. With Seer meta, Valk meta, it's about kind of early rotate. It's about all that info you can get with Seer. Well, Seer's only about 40 or 30% pick rate in both of these lobbies now. And the reality is Edge fighting has never been more alive. You're seeing Bangalore teams and Bloodhound teams run super aggressive on Edge and take fights. And a lot of Horizon teams doing the same exact thing. And in EMEA, we saw a record-breaking day. 21 kills was the record that actually broke a 19 kill game. That was done by Aurora playing, I think, Mad Maggie on that in their team comp and Wraith. And then we saw Vex one up that and get a 23 kill game. It was insane. So much fun to watch. And I think Apex is as entertaining as it's ever gotten right now competitively, Vicky, given the current meta.
Yeah, from region to region, also seeing the way that these different teams have been able to utilize, even incorporating catalysts. You highlighted Aurora from EMEA. You see, we have a catalyst actually in this lobby from the current team, Karasuno. I've actually casted this team in other games before, and it's nice to see them make their way into the Apex Legends competitive space. But Fury's actually on the Catalyst, and to see how that's going to do in a map like World's Edge, rocking the Catalyst, the Watson, and the Valkyrie means that they are going to have no issue bunkering down in some of these buildings as we tune into Luminosity, making the rotation right away from Thermal Station to get that beacon.
Yeah, just missed that bubble a little bit, but it's okay. No one's going to be creeping necessarily. So look at that info on Beacon. It's interesting. They're still going for Beacon scans. They still have a Valk and a Recon Legend, unlike Aurora, who didn't even have a Recon character on their teams. They had no ability to scan Beacons, and they still won the day. Aurora played out of their minds with no Recon character. But Luminosity, playing Edge, still rocking a Recon character, getting that info so they can ultimately Valk ult and maybe try and get God Spot in late game.
Yeah, seeing that the circle is going to be pulling through Countdown. I'm expecting the choke point between Skyhook into Countdown to get heated very quickly. We know that there's no buildings there, but there is that natural landform and the high to low ground disparity between Trials into Countdown and then Countdown into Skyhook. So right here is actually what I was talking about, where Luminosity is going to start rotating towards through those train tracks, wondering if they see another squad that's by staging. There is actually another squad, and they're actually using the Replicator right now. Very risky play, playing on the outskirts of the circle right here, where Luminosity now have the high ground and could just free fire on this squad.
Yeah, it's going to be E8 and Luminosity. E8 got taken out, lost one member earlier in the game, and I think that was to the hands of FaZe. So it looks like Luminosity says that, and better just rotate early and let E8 struggle. Optic, meanwhile, still in zone, going to be hitting themselves a rotation all the way north where they rotate. Guess who's there? It's BR Demons coming from Climatizer. BRD looking to gatekeep Optic if they can. They want to get as much damage as possible. If they get a knock, expect them to fly, but they won't.
Zoom, zoom, we go. Optic Gaming from one rooftop to another. From that skyward dive, are going to be able to also have the information of where that next circle is going to be pulling, so they're just going to get a lot closer and could potentially circle keep that squad that was taking some shots on them. Skyhook also usually contested by a lot of squads with all the buildings available to some of these teams that like to play into their comp. We're talking about it before with the Crypto. Not only does that EMP negate the Watson fences with so many Watsons in his lobby, but with the proper timing can also delete the Seer ult, which is very detrimental to these last circle fights.
Yeah, and if we could pull up, if possible, the overhead map, take a look at all these teams, kind of where they're rotating to. I want to highlight in particular, kudos to Optic. Optic Gaming, a late rotation, playing Edge, actually did the kind of Optic special, which is Edge, but then you Valkyl, and you find Godspot, a good position, at least in late game. They did the same thing here. They rotated all the way north, a really smart rotation from them. I like that call from either Skittle or Duplex, the co-IGLs of this team. We'll see if Optic will survive overall. Meanwhile, the Guard find themselves in a really good position, running Crypto as well. Well poised are the Guard, Season, Optic, Luminosity, HEC, and Tripods with a great rotation.
I love it. I love also seeing some of these squads play into their comp, into holding onto these buildings first before any other team is able to secure the buildings themselves. Obviously, with the Watson fences, it's going to be really troublesome for some squads to get on the high ground, as Karasuno now playing through the Catalyst wall currently, having to back away. They're playing up the low ground, and they're in the line of sight of not just one squad behind them, but there's probably another squad right above them holding onto that bunker building. James falling incredibly low.
Oh, and James is going to be able to heal back up. Gets the shield bat off. Needs to make it. No, gets canceled. That means they have the intel on him. Literally, you could breathe on him and he'd get knocked, but it looks like he'll pop that shield bat. He'll be okay. And as I say, that grenade's going to drop right at his feet. Don't worry, though. Got the shield bat off. Going to pop that med kit. No more risk of Seer Q, most likely, since it was already used by the team nearby. And just like that, they will survive. Let's fight another day. Meanwhile, we saw on the overhead map, Furia still playing a hard edge, which makes sense given their team comp. I like how Furia is playing, but guess what? Furia might find themselves running into or clashing into Tripods, the Guard, Luminosity, Karasuno, and Space Station all nearby.
Having to play off this low ground sometimes could put Karasuno, at least in this next circle, in a very tricky situation, especially with the squad playing off the low ground right behind them. They can't even poke from afar onto the squad that has a high ground without putting themselves in the line of sight of the other squad that's right across from them. So they have to be careful with the way that they play this, because they can get easily sandwiched by the squads that are forced to drop down from the high ground.
Coming back to the Guard. You highlighted them, kind of mentioned earlier, they're in a really good position. I got to double down on that. This is their special. Early rotate, use Crypto to get intel and recon, play for placement, pick up a few kills along the way. They've been so successful at that recipe that they've found. They won yesterday the esports arena tournament. They played really well in that competition. Overall, I've been impressed by the Guard. 58% of their points come from placement, 42% from kills.
The Guard coming out from a beautiful performance in the esports arena tournament that just happened yesterday. Rambo was feeling himself. He even tweeted out that he wants to carry some of that energy into the Play Apex ALGS broadcast, and you see with that crack off of that one mag, it's got the blue extended heavy mag on that car, and even with that poke, he's just going to be able to back away right now. But let's take a look and go into a listening with the Guard to see what their next move is going to be, presented by WB Black.
They're being fucked here. Raven.
Yeah, I'm gonna look. Yeah, just watch this, okay?
Yeah. Yeah, just hard watch our backs the whole game. Literally the whole game.
They already died.
This is a Seer team over here, right?
Yeah, they have blue. This team has blue over here.
I wonder if we shouldn't place a new gen for armor, because we might get EMP'd on zone close and we need to regen.
I'm just holding it. I'm just holding my gen right now.
I'm popping one of my 4 cells then.
Yeah.
And I'm not peeking anymore. Dude, I'm 90 off red.
I'm 350 off red.
Wait, can you trade me, Keon? Can you trade me?
Yeah. Yep.
Just, oh, I traded you so that you could just passive gen it.
Well, I know, it's fine. I only have to hit like 2 shots and then I'll passive the second spell.
I don't see them over here right now.
I mean, they're definitely over there.
Hello, Douglas, you there? All right, well, there you have it. Thanks again to WD Black for that listen in. You got some good insights into how the guard's going to be positioning, but we wanted to jump back into comms here because guess what? Big fights have been going down. BR Demons, we kind of foreshadowed 2 things. We foreshadowed Furia potentially fighting Tripods. That happened. They eliminated Tripods.
Wow.
And BR Demons fighting Optic. Well, guess what? BR Demons just absolutely SWAT teamed that building, took it over by storm, and took out Optic Gaming as BRD will now take that spot. This is what they're so good at, these close range fights, Vicky.
Yeah, and what I think the initiator for that fight was a huge Arc Star pick from BR Demons onto one of the members of Optic Gaming, which was the green light for BR Demons to take control over this building. So a great fight start for them as we're going to see 100 Thieves in a lot of trouble. Here comes the EMP, just trying to initiate though is the squad right behind them. Look to your backs, 100 Thieves. They got the Newcastle, one of the only teams I believe rocking the Newcastle still here, and they're going to have to back away because BR Demons are right on their 6.
And guess who it is? The former member of this squad, Vayne, won a championship, an ALGS championship with them in 2021. Got dropped from this team, and hey, at the end of the day, I'm sure it's no hard feelings now, but you gotta think that's gonna be extra motivation for Vayne right now. Space Station, meanwhile, gets taken out in the kill feed. All eyes on Vayne and the BR Demons against his former team in 100 Thieves.
BR Demons taking some cheeky angles, some window cracks, just making sure they can delete these Watson fences so that way they can take up this space. The Seer ult coming out. 6 enemies detected. What a placement on the exhibition right here. That means that they're going to have 100 Thieves also in their line of sight. Look at this here. They're coming up right behind this other squad.
HEC taking out to phase the top right of your screen. Guess what? Furia might third party this fight momentarily. So if the BR Demons don't do it, Furia will. They're currently playing and gatekeeping in the next zone where it's going to be rotating to. Slept-On taken out. All comes down to 7 squads left. This is a really aggressive and fun game to watch, Vicky. Very rarely will you see 7 squads left still in this ring. And with a lot of Apex left to play, a lot of teams eliminated early. A lot of early game action.
Now hear me out here, Fallout. In Countdown right now, that's just 3 squads, but FaZe have the high ground in that next circle, so they're in a really good position to actually funnel a lot of the squads that have little to no cover in this open ground. BR Demons, though, looking to keep destroying the rest of the competition. The rest of this building is cleared out by the BR Demons, and it's Seasons that get eliminated. Aiden is going off right now, not only holding the kill leader here, but also with 5 KP to his name. That leads BR Demons to having 6 KP in total.
Yeah, we kept talking about 100 Thieves. Actually didn't see it in our feed because it was so clumped that BR Season was there as well. So that's the first challenge complete. Scurry, though, going to get tagged up by Furia. We said that Furia would enter this fight from afar and impact this fight, and certainly they have. I don't know if BR Demons realized that the damage was done. Instead, they say, yeah, let's just not deal with this. Reeds almost gets beamed and focused. The Valkyrie, they're able to get it off. Barely. Reeds is still up, but BR Demons is now just rolling the dice.
I don't know if I agree with this right here. This is so risky, especially with Reese falling so incredibly low and the circle closing in right behind them. We know that there's 3 squads in this area alone. Now that they inch their way forward into the circle, and guess who's meeting them on the inside of this building? It's gotta be FaZe.
It is, and FaZe says, thank you, BR Demons, for the easiest KP of our lives. They get 3 more in addition to the 6 or 7 that they already had. FaZe is popping off. I disagree with that as well, Vicky. They should have just walked that in and fought 100 Thieves instead of, you know, a roll of the dice Valk ult, but instead 100 Thieves survives. Furia to their right. We got FaZe still alive. Luminosity and the Guard are our final teams. Oh my goodness, so many big name brands in this game number 1 finish.
Yeah, 5 squads left. Furia also are holding the other side of the circle while FaZe have the high ground, and the safety of the halfway through that building. Exiting out of the area though is also going to be the Guard, Luminosity. So many of these teams now looking to claim that number 1 game 1 finish. They're getting poked actually. I don't even know how that bullet is escaping its way through the crate and the Newcastle wall, but very interesting angle, and I do believe that is Furia that is going to be able to pressure out 100 Thieves right behind them. But the Newcastle, the only Newcastle in this lobby played out by 100 Thieves, may actually fare them amazing success right now with this circle.
Yeah, that's right. In this late game, 5 squads, as we said, Zone's going to be pulling fairly central. Again, if you're new to watching Apex, take a look at the top left of your screen. You see that line? That's where the zone's going to close into. It's not always the center of the circle. It's different places every single time. Here comes the push from Guard over FaZe. They take out 2. And that should be FaZe eliminated from this lobby. The Guard performing very, very well. And this is why they like this playstyle. They don't care about early game kills. Why? Because they'll get kills in the late game if they just make it there. And this is exactly what we're seeing right now. They've now eliminated 2 squads and almost a third with FaZe.
Yeah, and it is nice to note that we did see Rambo on the Watson originally earlier on in the Pro League, and we actually see the swap up with Keon now on the Watson instead. So this enables Rambo to play as aggressively as he wants to reposition with the Valkyrie. Luminosity now playing off the low ground. Don't forget who's right behind Luminosity is going to be Furia. FaZe finally get eliminated. That last rat of FaZe get taken out, and Luminosity are trying to loot up desperately before the Guard drop down from the high ground.
Yeah, the point I was going to make earlier with the zone pulling central, I think Furia and 100 Thieves have the win conditioner, have best positioning. Furia needs this badly, more than anyone else. The runner-up team from the ALGS Championships is popping off with 7. Another kill point going to be picked up from them. The Guard's going to be eliminated at the hands of LG. 3 squads remain. It's 100 Thieves, Furia, and LG.
His Watson has been practicing the Bangalore over in ranked as he holds the #1 Predator currently in the ranked lobbies, and he's looking to continue on his domination on this Bangalore. They have Pride Rock. They have the natural cover of the rest of the circle. The circle closing in right behind them, and they are unfazed.
Oh, I called his Watson the Prince of Apex, trying to take over from the King and Hal. Right now, it's Simba, the Prince, on top of Pride Rock, as it looks like Furia is looking to close down this game. Rolling Thunder came through, didn't do a whole lot. 100 Thieves going to reset to full. The smokes will prove helpful. Does Furia have the Digi threat to help them in this late game? They have the scans with Bloodhound, and here comes the wide left push from Watson. Great plays being made across the board.
Luminosity now playing on the low ground. Currently 100 Thieves getting cracked originally here. The gravity lift elevating that player up on the high ground. They take care of Mizulu here. Furia also losing out on Pandas. 100 Thieves looking fantastic as they close in the gap.
Armor's gonna get knocked though. It's gonna be a 1v1. No way. LG in a 1v3. It's Jaguares. 1v1 for the bread. And the newest member of this team, Jaguars, is gonna do it. A 1v3 clutch for the win. Welcome to the ALGS Jaguars. Recently picked up on this LG squad and making such an impact.
Luminosity do it before and they do it again. This is why I highlighted Luminosity as being not only the game 1 winners, but also continuing on their domination in a lobby like this today. What performance for Luminosity at the very end in such a hectic last circle.
And you just had, I knew it was coming. I told you so. I predicted them. You deserve to rub it in, girl. Great prediction. 10 out of 10. You've been killing it all day long. And you predicted Aurora and Emilia. You're on fire, Vicky. Someone put this lady out. I gotta calm down here. Tiff, please bring it back as we say goodbye to Vicky. I'm taking a little break. Tiff, take it away.
Hey guys, that was an epic match day #1. And to be honest, I thought Furia had God spot. You mentioned all the smokes, and the question was going to be Digi threats, but to their dismay, 100 Thieves actually had Digi threats on some of their weapons. I saw the car SMG with a Digi threat, and the next thing I know, Furia is just getting absolutely decimated. Well played though, and it was a strong showing. And hey Vicky, come on back, because I'm going to steal you from Fallout for just a little bit as he actually takes a quick break. And he's right. You have been so on point in your predictions today. I mean, maybe it's all that grinding Apex that you've been doing and all the VOD reviewing. I know you're studying.
Absolutely. You know what? I'm just a little glad that I don't have the onset curse. You know, I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus here, but I'm just joking. I love watching a lot of these squads continue on with their consistency because I got to talk to Luminosity actually at the Rewired Fest in person, and they were so excited to play in the Play Apex ALGS tournament. And being able to see them do it at the very end, we got to highlight how important the Gibraltar was with the dome there. Not only negating the pressure from the Rolling Thunder, but also when it came to repositioning and closing in the gap between 100 Thieves and themselves after the Newcastle ult was already built up.
Yeah, they're just kind of biding their time nestled underneath 100 Thieves in that end-game moment. And I've seen that ring happen before on some other tournaments that I've watched, and it was actually formerly known as Atlanta Premier HEC. They had set themselves up in that mid-game, nestled right where 100 Thieves was before losing out and getting that spot taken away from them. But as that ring starts to pull away from that, that's where I'm saying, like, Furia should have had that open moment to go ahead and just pick apart those two teams. But unfortunately, that's not what happened. But let's go ahead and take a look at some of those match #1 highlights on your screen in case you missed some of the action. Let's kick it off. Yeah, Esports Arena getting crazy over here in Thermal Station.
Yeah, and then they got third-partied, unfortunately, right afterwards by no other than Luminosity. And in the middle of their rotation, they also cleaned up another squad that was over by staging. The Guard also controlling the inside of that building at the very beginning here on Countdown. And it works beautifully into their own composition. Obviously running the Watson, they made some swap-ups. You were talking about it actually in our own chat where you saw that Rambo is actually not on the Watson anymore, actually going to the back, which enables him very aggressive playstyle.
Yeah, I was really curious about that moment. As soon as I saw it, I was like, dude, I remember in match day number 3, Rambo was frying out on the Watson, extremely passionate. I think he only finished top 5 in that game, but it doesn't matter. And then this moment with BR Demons electing to take to the sky with that skyward dive and unfortunately dropping right into the hands of FaZe. I can only imagine the comms that were coming out of Slurp in that moment. He's like, just let me at him, let me at him. But Luminosity just reigning supreme throughout that mid game. And here's that moment where Furia takes that rock and just asserts their dominance. And it was Vaxlon that was running the Digi threat on the car, being a thorn in Furia's side.
What's super surprising was that gravity lift that we saw Furia take to the skies, because that smoke should have provided the natural cover that they could have worked with into their own play. But like you mentioned, 100 Thieves also had the Digi threat, and while Luminosity had to veer up from the low to high ground, forget that knockdown shield from Newcastle, forget that res, that's gonna go away because they came out on top and they won game number 1 with 6 KP to their name. But nice overall evened out KP for a lot of our top 10 squads, it looks like, rather top 8 looking like, even going all the way down to Sleepdog, securing themselves 6 KP.
I will say that's kind of similar to what we saw trending in the EMEA broadcast earlier today. Everyone was really kind of all similarly rated in points. No one really took off and had a large moment, but Luminosity coming out with 18 points. You got Furia in third right there, having 16 points as well, and even all the way to BR Demons finding 11 points. So I guess it's anyone's game just after match number 1. So let's cut on over to page number 2 to see the 11th through 20th place. It's Karasuno, but hey, because everyone was so kill heavy at the top, a lot of teams down here not really getting some points that they needed. But let's talk about Esports Arena, those 4 KP that they got in that early game moment prior to being third-partied.
Yeah, it was so unfortunate with the timing because they didn't expect a squad like Luminosity to contest them outside of Circle. So far away. Let's not forget that Circle pulled all the way towards Countdown, and that third party went down in Thermal Station when they were already fighting in the outskirts of the Circle. So very surprising there, but they were still able to rack up that KP even though they didn't get the placement points that they want.
Go ahead and take a look at the series results thus far. After only 1 match thus far today, we got Luminosity at the top just by 2 points, and then it goes down from there all the way outside the top 3. But the Guard, that was one of the questionable teams, as well as FaZe. But could they find consistency? Could they keep doubling down and getting some success? Hey, and they're starting strong on match number 1, because it's kind of that moment, right? I watch a lot of FaZe, I watch a lot of their scrims, and they've actually been participating in some of the EMEA scrims as well to keep doubling down and getting that experience. Albrelli, obviously the IGL. Goal is to get more confident in those call outs and just make sure that they've got Slurp and Slurp and Snipe Down kind of just in gear, right? Snipe Down always likes to challenge in those IGL calls, and it's kind of fun to see. But that was just match number 1. We're going to cut to a quick break, and when we come back, match number 2.
WD Black, the official storage partner of the Apex Legends Global Series.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the ALGS North American Pro League broadcast. I'm your host, Spider Tiffet. I get to steal the legendary Vicky Kitty to jump on the mic with her for match number 2 while Fallout gets a nice little break. Vicky, we just had an insane match number 1, and you were talking about your predictions, and they've been really strong. What do you think we're going to see here in match number 2?
Ooh, gotta put me on the spot. All right. Taking a page out of Fallout's book. I do think right now, with the way that Furia played that game 1, that they're gonna use that momentum and gear it into really showing off their true colors into this game number 2. Because yeah, we highlighted 100 Thieves. They're unorthodox composition, obviously still rocking the Newcastle, something that's not different, but the fact that they're the only squad running the Newcastle and still sticking to their guns with it. Of course, and then Luminosity with the Gibby, something else that we don't usually get to see in these lobbies. But then Furia came out swinging, annihilated TSM, and secured 9 KP while also holding that Pride Rock spot. You know that they're probably beating themselves up a little bit because I feel like they didn't play around his Watson smoke as great as they could have. Yes, 100 Thieves still had the Digi-Threat, so they could have used that to their advantage, but taking the gravity lift and putting yourself up on a beacon for the other last 2 remaining squads to just shoot at you like you are the North Star in the sky. We're not going to Neverland here. You're going right back to the lobby, and I feel like Furia realized their mistakes, and I feel like we're going to see them really come in swinging in this game number 2.
I think that Furia's kind of had a slow start to this Pro League Split 1, and they are just itching to get back on top. His Watson has just been grinding that ranked day in, day out. You even mentioned it during that match. He's number 1 currently. The number 1 Predator has been playing a lot of Broken Moon, specifically around that Bangalore, so getting some well time in on that Legend, and clearly it's showing. Obviously feels incredibly comfortable, and unfortunately it didn't really pan their way in match number 1, but I feel like they're going to come back swinging in match number 2. But the issue is, I kind of wish I could have saw that fight between TSM and Furia early on, because you talk about it, TSM going out early, I believe in 19th place in map number 1, for a team that's incredibly consistent when it comes to ALGS. That is not something that we should be seeing from TSM here. Obviously, they're kind of at the top of the NA leaderboards, and they're looking to find success on LAN eventually once again, but I feel like it's got to start here.
Yeah, and that was a clean 3v3 fight, by the way. I don't believe there was any third partying in that fight between Furia versus TSM. Yeah, we didn't tune into that in the broadcast. There's so much action that was going on at the same time. That's why we love our multi-view in the Pro Apex stream space. But the Lava Fisher fight that went down between TSM and Furia was a clean fight win for Furia. So wondering how that went down, wondering if TSM were just caught in the middle of the rotation, not expecting them to run into Furia so early. Maybe they were caught in the middle trying to get that beacon that sometimes in Lava Fisher right before they wanted to make the rotation into Countdown. A lot of things could have played out right there, but what matters at the very end is that Furia still sent them right back to the lobby earlier on in that first game.
And you're probably right. They probably were going for that second ring beacon to find out a lot of information to set themselves up for success. But hey, to be honest, Vicky, I'm just really glad we got a Countdown ending. I know the last time we met for World's Edge on Group B versus C, we had 3 climatizer zones on World's Edge back to back to back. So I'm excited to see where match number 2 is going, as a lot of these teams drop in. It looks like the hot zone's going to be the tree for Karasuna over there. So some good loot to start things off with, but I'm not sure if we had any contests in match number 1. So I'm trying to keep an eye out if I see any bit of people landing on one another. You see Furia getting nestled down there in Countdown, with HEC taking landslide. So some good moments there on the rotation, but the question is, where are we heading to? And it's a southern zone, Vicky.
Oh yeah, I love these southern zones too, because this is going to favor the likes of TSM, Optic Gaming, who land in Big Mod and take all of the loot in Lava City, as well as the beacon. The only 50-50 I do believe we saw in game number 1 was first attempt versus C9, and C9 bullied them, cleaned them up as the first squad to go down in the lobby, and then C9, after even taking that win, we're like, all right, you could hold your staging. It's cool. We're going to go right back to where we usually land, and that is between Epicenter and Climatizer. So C9, you know, just taking a step back, letting them breathe just for a moment before tuning into our winners from game number 1, Luminosity.
When I look at this team, the only thing I can hear is Fallout pronouncing Guaguaras. I can't say it the way he is, bro. I can't roll my R's, and it's so beautiful. I was like, I'm gonna see how he does it. No, it doesn't work out for me, but we had the chance to talk to Yanya after match day number 3, and honestly, he just made sense, right? They were talking about how this team just plays so incredibly well together. They enjoy playing as a team and honestly having fun. That's all showing in their gameplay throughout Pro League Split 1, and I'm just excited for the future of this team, Vicky.
Absolutely, and with Nizul 2, Yanya being a heavy fragger, Luminosity are looking absolutely fantastic. I get to see them pop off in games like Smash Brothers, and they continuously pop off in one of my other favorite esports space being Apex, and we get to see our other squads already actually contesting other teams in the middle of the rotation. We're tuning into Heck currently, trying to rotate through Harvester. Maybe if they could secure that information with the beacon to their south, but it looks like they're actually going to get pressured out by that squad that has them in their line of sights, and it can be very difficult to be able to get that beacon, even with the crypto, if it gets deleted before you can even get that information off the beacon.
Yeah, exactly. I know the crypto allows you to kind of overextend through the drone to grab the beacon instantly, but you can see first attempt, they had that contest in match number 1 with C9, but it looks like they're starting to kind of push in on HEC, and I don't think they're really going to commit to that fight just yet, but you can see in the elims that it looks like TSM's getting into a little bit of a scuffle. Fury going down, so that's going to be Karasuno, and would love to jump in on that before it's almost over. I mean, one last standing for Karasuno, just trying to get out of dodge.
In the mouth of launch site, we know that Luminosity is probably to the south of this point here too. So Tempest, I'm so sorry, but you are about to go into the open arms of Luminosity once they're done probably scanning that beacon. But run as fast as you can, because TSM are on the other side waiting for you. Reps still, by the way, rocking the fuse, which is always something that I like to highlight early on in the Pro League, because it was a bit of that back and forth, whether they wanted to stick to the Seer. Raven was very, very keen on making sure that this fuse was played here, and Reps' fuse goes nasty crazy.
I know, it's so funny. Raven has been all over my timeline recently, the analyst there for TSM, but Verholst picking up the first 2 eliminations for TSM, which is already a better start than they were having in match number 1. Now a little bit of calm before the storm, but let's go ahead and talk about this. We started out match day number 3, B versus C, the time these first groups met, but before I cut into that, they're getting EMP'd. You see Hal right there trying to drop the shields, unfortunately still taking that damage. The question is, will that crypto team go ahead and push in and capitalize on that EMP, or are they just going to be farming for their shields?
I don't think it'd be a good idea to push it on TSM right here in this location. Even though they're not playing a bunker down character like Caustic or Watson, it's the fact that they have this control while other squads are probably already in Lava Siphon. As you can already see, Oxygen actually making their appearance in Lava Siphon. This would allow teams to get on the high ground of Lava Siphon and even poke from afar into the mouth of the launch site. And with Luminosity and Optic in the area who could rotate south of Lava City, it would just not be a great idea. We've actually seen this circle sometimes end up right below where TSM is positioned at the moment. So it'll be interesting to see how other squads try to contest them in terms of that building.
Well, I mean, this is kind of their drop spot POI, so obviously extremely comfortable for this, but with Slept on able on that Caustic right there with Sung, being able to really show and anchor this space that they've got in this building. You see the ultimate coming out already, and some Arc Stars trying to double down. They are taking a little bit of damage, but so far not too bad. But the question is, can HEC reach this Caustic? You know, every time you're inside a building and there's a Caustic, the last thing you want to do is to be able to breach that. You're going to have to utilize all of the ordnance that you have in your hands to get in there.
Which they basically used up the best tool that they can when it comes to negating these barrels, and it is the EMP. And there is another squad that are on the outskirts of Lava Siphon that are taking some shots onto Slept on, but with the Caustic, like you mentioned before, this is one of those legends that you do not want to contest here. Even though you can destroy those barrels now, which is why we don't see Caustic utilized as often, it's still a very powerful tool in terms of controlling space, unless your team has a Caustic to actually claim that away.
Yeah, and I mean, Slept on right now currently sitting in 30th place, so they need to turn it around starting now with only 3 more stages of group play after this. I feel like you kind of have to start now and just fry out to find yourself in the top 20 to get into the regional final. But HEC just on the outside of that top 9, getting pestered right there is going to be killed by a charge rifle. And we were kind of talking about it. We're always seeing charge rifles, and when I think of charge rifles, I think of Verholst. Homie always has a charge rifle in his hand, usually with that 3x scope on it, and just being an absolute nuisance.
Yeah, if it's not Verholst, it's also Reps. When he was on the Gibby, that arm shield with the charge rifle was an absolute nuisance. Heck on the other side, still with the G7 and the double tap that he could rock with, would like to get some damage. You want to be able to boost up that Evo Shield. He's literally 1 bullet away from getting a blue Evo Shield, and they're splitting their attention to the squads that could be rotating right behind him because they have the information of where the circle is going to be pulling, so they want to hang out here to boost up their Evo Shields and maybe get engaged in a fight if no other squads around in the area. Like Sentinels actually, Sennox going down at first in this initial fight. The Zero also getting put down for Sentinels to know the information.
Looks like we got Tex POV, aka Sen Coach, stepping in. Lou no longer a part of the Sentinels, but not giving up Apex comp just yet. Just dancing in there, trying to go ahead and finish off the squad. That's going to be all they wrote for BR Demons. You can see just how far on the outskirts of the next ring they are. So they're going to get a clean clean reset here. I'm not sure if there's anyone in the nearby vicinity, but it sounds like they're already pinging an enemy. And look at our observers giving us the information we need. That's gonna be Furia coming in, Vicky.
Playing around the edge and playing right into their team composition. A very aggressive team comp between the Bangalore and the Bloodhound. And with the alley-oop taking that gravity lift onto the high ground is his Watson. He's got the Arc Star ready. He's going to try to prevent them from trying to reset. You know that Sentinels right now is shaking a bit here. If they have the opportunity to shield stop, they have the boxes underneath them to play with.
I mean, this is going to be a grudge match if you think about it. Tech used to play on Furia. His Watson stepping in on that Furia team, getting second at ALGS champs. And there you have it. Sentinels eliminated here in match number 2 at the hands of Furia. Bang Smoke's going out so they can go and go ahead and get that clean stability reset right there. And then they're just going to carry on their merry way into the ring.
And also such a smart way for them to rotate and get involved in this third party. Why? Not only do they have the KP now to work off of this, they have all the extra loot from the boxes from the previous fight against Sentinels, as well as the fight before that when Sentinels came up on top, and the beacon that's right off to their left in No Name. And they can note that with the circle already closing in behind them, that there's probably no other squads in the Fragment East area to negate any of their rotations, so they can take all their sweet time to rotate into the north side of Lava Siphon.
Yeah, they probably won't find any resistance until they get to that outer edge of the current ring, but let's jump on board. We got 100 Thieves, and actually it's Amu with that charge rifle in their hand. I always feel like there's at least 4 to 5 players playing the charge rifle, and it's always fun when you're the one griefing with the charge rifle, never when you're on the other side of the charge rifle, that is for sure. But 17 squads remaining, and it seems like a lot of these teams are starting to collapse upon each other in that Lava Siphon area, and as soon as you get that kind of second or third round beacon where that ring is really going to start pulling, we'll see a lot of teams forced to fight.
I don't blame these players for rocking the charge rifle, Tiff. At the same time, you got the charge rifle that could absolutely beam the players that are in the middle of using a skyward dive, which with every squad basically running a Valk minus the very rare 2 to 3, it's going to be very detrimental and pressuring that in the middle flying in. E8 now gets that crack, but they lose out in Presley in the process.
Yeah, it looks like Luda is going to be on the other side, grabbing the down on Presley. So maybe a 3v2 scenario here. Looks like Golden's trying to reset just a little bit, just on the outskirts of that Seer exhibit. But there's a fuse in the area, and you can see that ultimate coming through on the inside. That's not going to be someone from Esports Arena. So we have another team in the vicinity, but Luda stepping in right there, an absolute menace of a controller player with that Volt in hand, throwing down a lot of damage, does get tagged up and is forced to kind of back away before going down. Now the question is, can Capra and Phony clutch up in this moment and fend off 100 Thieves and everyone else in the nearby vicinity?
Yeah, there's 2 fuses in the lobby, and Mercy only from this squad is going to be actually on the high ground right here. So that was actually a very defensive fuse ult to utilize to prevent Esports Arena from trying to push in after getting that initial knock. So very smart for E8 to not only disengage, but to cover their backs with that insurance fuse ult.
I did see a gold knockdown shield to kind of help that reset. Now you can see just getting some syringes in, making sure you're at full health and capacity to be able to get back in that fight. But honestly, I think it's a time that you should just kind of cool off, wait a little bit. There's still 17 squads remaining, but look, they're still going back in for more, and 100 Thieves pushing inside the building, which I actually like this play for them. Baxlon's going to take a lot of damage and get punished for it, and unfortunately, Fury's going to go down as well, and that's actually going to be from ESA coming back in. Capra absolutely frying.
And they're getting griefed by a charge rifle across the other side of the map. Oh, unfortunate for 100 Thieves, but a nice split fight push for that squad that is actually playing on the outside of this Lava Siphon building. Here comes the scan right here for Bloodhound. Furia is the squad that's playing on the edge, looking to claim even more heads. Let's jump into a listening with Furia.
Close here.
I think we push this duo.
Where were those
There's
guys?
so many teams, dude.
Well, let's maybe run after the duo.
They're right here.
There's an Egypt.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah.
64 purple. This Valk is alone right now.
Yeah, I'm swinging
Yep.
her.
70 on
She's
her.
going out the door. She went out the door.
70 on her.
I
Watch
can't.
the
I
height.
can't. I'm backing up. Backing up. I'm top of the
Hands
back.
good, hands good.
Yeah, I'm good.
Not good.
Yeah, there's
Go,
too
go,
much.
go here, go here, go here.
You have to watch me at the back.
You're good.
They're right
I'm
above
good, man.
us.
No, they're not.
Never mind. Audio. You're good, you're good.
No syringe.
We're in. We're big time in zone.
The Watson fans of the team there. Bridge.
Yeah.
I'm healing.
Yeah, they're
We can let them. We can let this team fight. We can let this team fight, and we 3P them again.
What if we just broke this drone right now?
Spotted a numpty over there.
You want to fight this? They're playing really
Yeah, we
smart
could
right
run
here.
this thing
I
down.
saw
I
them really
just
far
broke
away.
their. I just broke
All right,
their
I'm
crypto.
popping Ultic Cell. I'm not with you. And no scan for 13.
Do you see where I am, bro? I'm like... They're right here. I'm gonna destroy their gen.
Wait, yeah, they were just mad.
128 on 130, 140 on
I'm
fucking
bad in there. What?
I'm dropping down low ground. I'm under bridge. I'm under bridge. Falcon's one. Getting it. Yeah. I'm nading her. Nading her.
Yep.
She has to move.
Got him.
Nice. I'm finishing her. We can play slow.
Take down crypto.
Nice.
They're like over here somewhere.
I don't
Yeah.
have scan.
He's gonna have EMP soon. He's gonna have EMP
Is
soon.
it a duo, right?
I'm looting real quick. Yes, it's a duo. It's a Crypto Watson.
Amazing listening from Furia, sponsored by WD Black. I love the fact that we get to hear Furia not only take control of that fight, but nice way to also initiate in that fight with his Watson staying on the high ground so that way he could get a different angle to pressure out that team on the low ground.
Yeah, it was really interesting because we kind of walked through several different areas in that listen, and they were trying to take a fight onto a duo. Then they disengage and kind of rehill in that RV, and then they go out onto the bridge to really pester Season. But look who's here ready to answer back because they want a piece of Fury. That's going to be 100 Thieves, kind of just looking around this fence right here, trying to get some shots off onto them.
I like this call from 100 Thieves to take to the skies with the skyward dive. Other teams are congesting the air zone currently right now within the middle of their rotation because there are so many teams on the north side of Lava Siphon, and all these teams want to race to the very final circle positioning. We already have squads that are basically bunkering up inside the mouth of that vault cave. I believe it is the guard, which plays into their team comp, rocking the Watson. They're going to be able to set up that perimeter fence line. You can see 100 Thieves popping off in the kill feed, actually fully sending it onto Esports Arena.
Yeah, it's going to be really challenging to hold that choke point, but if anyone can do it, it's definitely going to be the guard. But 100 Thieves, they just come in from that Valcolt, finding a little bit of turmoil here, trying to get a clean reset, utilizing the Newcastle wall, the Watson Jenny, trying to get that revive off. Thankfully, you've got the Newcastle that's already down. Unlucky for them, but no worries. As we see that ring start to pull out, you mentioned that chokehold, but guess what other team is always out in that vicinity that lands Lava City Big Mod? That's going to be like Optic Gaming, and they are probably getting up to have prime positioning for that next zone.
Yeah, probably playing on the southern side of that zone, actually looking at Space Station. Denial in a lot of trouble. Let's see if they can actually get the res. That's why you see the Seer ult, the exhibition release, so that way they can have the information if any squad wants to contest them.
Ooh, they are able to get Zenile back up, trying to drop the Watson Jenny, but Optic Gaming on the other side, just punishing them, not wanting Space Station to get back to their full potential. They are going in, and Optic Gaming is a team that we've needed to see this level of aggression for. I think back to the days on LAN where we saw just how dominating they were, and I want to see that Skittle Cakes from LAN. I just remember that epic moment in an endgame circle where he's able to shield swap twice. Skittle Cakes on Horizon, just absolutely savage. He's got that gold R301, and I'm ready to see them find success here.
Absolutely, especially when you exit out of Big Mod with all the best loot that you could work with. They're trying to wrap around behind Space Station, but not trying to overextend because, again, they recognize that it is the Watson perimeter fences that are trying to block Space Station and the rotation that they may want to go for. The guard is holding onto the tunnel that's off to the right of Space Station where the vault is. So Optic Gaming are basically split focusing two teams at once with their positioning right now. You highlight Skittles and his Horizon. We've also seen Skittles go absolutely crazy on the Caustic, and that's not what they've opted for. Instead, they've been taking a lot more of an aggressive stance with their team composition.
Yeah, I'm curious. I feel like this is going to be a moment where it's calm before the storm. Space Station getting griefed by a nearby Horizons missile storm, probably at the hands of Optic Gaming. But the question is, who is going to make a move first? Space Station gets that full reset right now and just starts trying to level up that blue Evo shield with the charge rifle. Currently has 432 damage, so not bad, but only one assist. But they're needing to find some eliminations on their hand as well. My question is, we did see a lot of teams that were collapsing on each other over in Lava Siphon. How are all of these teams going to make it into that next ring, which is purely going to be open? And one of those teams in particular, Furia, currently sitting in first place with 21 points, have no real defensive legends. They only can rely on those Bangalore smokes.
And the placement of where they're positioning too, because the circle is to their backs and they still have that slight high ground by the bridge area that they can work off of, and they're going to be able to overlook a lot of the spots that were forced to play off the low ground. E8 now in a lot of trouble. TSM get wiped out by Luminosity. Are you kidding me? That is Luminosity rotating from the southern side of the zone, cleaning them up when they were taking control of that building since the very beginning of the game. E8 now still alive, still going to be able to try to reset and recover, because like you mentioned, Tiff, there's a lot of squads in this area, so nobody wanting to put themselves in the line of sight where they could inevitably get pinched.
I mean, that's exactly what's going to happen. The first team to break line of sight in front of all 5 teams that are trying to rotate into that next zone is ultimately going to be targeted by every single team. And look at it right now. 100 Thieves doing a great job at eliminating that enemy's black hole right there super quick. If everyone just focuses it, I believe it's only 180 damage, so it can go down really, really quick. And just trying to reposition an E8 going to fall at the hands of Vaxlon. So unfortunately, they're not going to be able to make that terminating journey to that next zone, and 100 Thieves continuing on, taking out FaZe as well.
One by one, as 100 Thieves claims each and every single one of these squads that were stuck inside Lava Siphon. Now they are the victors of the Lava Siphon area, and it's also nice to know while all that action was going down, that Space Station has also taken care of Luminosity. So Luminosity out, TSM out, and Space Station now taking control over that southwest side of that next zone. We know that this zone is going to be pulling towards the middle, which is going to be in a bit of that low ground area between Lava Siphon into that open choke point that leads into the geysers that Optic Gaming are now situated in.
Ooh, that means, you know, the guard had to have pushed out from that tunnel and are probably living in the open area. I believe there's only like 3 supply bins there to use as cover, but meanwhile, Optic Gaming Duplex taking a lot of damage, and that's going to be at the hands of Furia. His Watson's going to grab it down, so now a 3v2 situation and make it a last man standing for Optic Gaming. This is not looking good for them and looking great for Furia, and Optic Gaming going back to the lobby.
What a clean fight for Furia right there. Even though Optic Gaming had the nice gravity lift to reposition from skills, it was not enough. They went into the open arms of Furia as the circle closes in right behind them. Their next move is to get into that next circle. Can we talk about the Kraber shots? RKN claiming heads as well from the guard as they're forced to exit out of their little home, but they're still finding more of these Kraber shots.
I mean, hey, that's what you love to see. I know we were talking about that switch with Rambo on Valk early on. Well, thankfully, Tom told me that they felt more comfortable with Rambo's competitive experience and be able to play with that aggressive playstyle on the Valkyrie as opposed to Watson, and that this swap, their composition, reflects where their mentals are at the moment. So I'm excited to see kind of how this keeps panning out for them, especially with that Kraber in hand. And we talk about these care package weapons, and one of the ones that we highlighted, it's going to be Scurry. He's got that Rampage.
Got that Rampage, and you're going to be able to work off the high ground too. 100 Thieves in a very nice spot, but the squads underneath don't have to be too scared because they have the natural rock cover for some safety. Is Fury about to pull off this res right now? They lost one of their teammates to the hands of RKN and his Kraber, but if they do pull off this res, 100 Thieves isn't going to give up this high ground, so they could actually go uncontested with this.
Oh my gosh, they are going to be able to pull it off. Now if they can just stay alive long enough to make sure that Zara is actually... Oh my gosh, look at the caster curses coming out. Watson's going to fall, but luckily just in the cover. Now my question is, RKN, are you going to line up a Kraber shot and try to shoot Zara out of the air? Can you do it? No, unfortunately it's going to miss, but that would have been absolutely epic, Vicky.
That would have been a flex. That would have been such a flex. He's still trying to land some of these Kraber shots, and 100 Thieves get that knock with the Thermite. You can see now Fury in a lot of trouble, in shambles, absolutely shambolic as the guard look up the missiles from one of the members of Space Station over on the other side. 100 Thieves trying to get involved in the action.
Ooh, and this is where it's going to get incredibly interesting. 100 Thieves currently in second place with 28 points. 3 squads remaining here in match number 2, and 100 Thieves, they have that EMP coming in, and unfortunately it's going to stun them just enough for Onmu to take so much damage. Is going to fall now. Fury and Vaxlon are going to have to keep the Dream alive, taking a lot of damage, but the guard having that health advantage, and unfortunately 100 Thieves is going to fall.
They're going to go down, and there's still one last rat from Fury. I believe it's going to be Pandas the Bloodhound, and the guards still have way too much health for Pandas to clutch things out. The guard are your winners for game number 2.
Wow, that was absolutely so clean. I feel like the swap with Rambo on the Valk, Keon on the Watson, all being led by their IGL RKN, who had that Kraber and was basically just being a massive menace in that endgame lobby. Welcome back, Followed. I'd be excited to hear your thoughts on match number 2.
Yeah, I mean, first things first, kudos to Panders. Really good job. I think he's the one that got rezzed and then ended up ratting his way to a second place finish. That's an additional 2 placement points plus the 8 kill points that they got. That'll be a 14 or 15 or 16 point game. So really, really well done from Furia. And I'm like what I'm seeing so far, despite the fact that the Furia org account on Twitter is roasting me in my predictions. Kudos to Furia. They're performing really, really well.
just feel like Twitter has just been roast central lately, and Fallout, you always seem to be at the center of it. It's a lot of those takes, man. But I've got to say, I really do enjoy them. But Vicky, that was so much fun. You mentioned it, Luminosity doing incredibly well, and I feel like they've been the thorn in the side for a lot of the teams that are trying to get into that top 9 contention or just stay there.
Yeah, but let's not forget the space station also swooped in at the perfect time to clean up Luminosity on that side of the circle. While they were forced to play off the low ground, TSM tried to call out the circle prediction pool over underneath the building that they were playing at, because we sometimes have seen the circle pool a little bit more to the south, but their positioning and them trying to rely on that 50-50 circle pool did not work in their favor, with so many squads also playing on the outskirts of the area that they were basically camping down. Optic Gaming, the guard also calling out that 50-50 pool, because even if it pulled over to the left outside of where the geyser was, they still would have been able to walk into that next circle.
Yeah, I think that was really well done. You're completely right. The guard and Optic Gaming were hugging that right side just on the outskirts of the dome, and it paid off really well. You know, they set up shop in the tunnel nearby the vault early on and just kept pushing a little bit further out. And the fact that they were able to stay kind of nestled out into the open while all of the chaotic teams on the left-hand side of the zone kind of took each other out, per se. We saw 100 Thieves mow through 2 teams back to back, but let's go ahead and talk through some of those highlights, Fallout.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the best things about this game is we take a look at the early game fight. Sentinels, again, in an early game skirmish. But one of the interesting things is same teams in the end. You saw Furia, you saw the Guard, you saw Space Station make it to late game. A lot of consistency that we're seeing across the board. 100 Thieves as well. A lot of consistency from our top teams here. Games 1 and 2. That's been the name of the game so far, Vicky. It was obviously a really, really interesting game number 2, but I'm liking what I'm seeing on World's Edge.
Yeah, and Fury also remaining consistent with their aggressive plays on the edge of the circle, cleaning up a bunch of squads, even on the outskirts of squads that want to rely on playing out on the outside of the circle. But right here, where we saw Furia being on the high ground, they basically gave that space over to the right side to 100 Thieves that were able to clear up the rest of Lava Siphon. So this is another team that is looking to stay consistent after their performance in game number 1, where they got top 3.
And this is another team that was looking to have a good game, E8, but they found themselves nestled down here on the cliffside, just trying to fend off every team that was coming their way. And unfortunately, it was going to be 100 Thieves that was going to be their ultimate demise in this. You can see right here, 100 Thieves begins that momentum as they take down E8 and continue their journey on to taking out FaZe, who have been relatively consistent in making it into that top 10, but I'd love to see them take it just a step further and get into the top 5 with some nice eliminations. But it's been Furia. Furia has been giving us the answer that we so desperately needed. Will we get to the consistency of that team that took second in ALGS champs? Only time will tell, Fallout.
Yeah, overall, though, I'm liking what I'm seeing. The adjustments that they made to switch to Bangalore and Bloodhound is working really well for their playstyle. Allows them to play hard edge and fight, which they're great at. And they've been performing. Ultimately, the Guard wins that one. And with a 23-point game, 11-kill, double-digit win, the Guard should be in first place overall. But Furia, again, performs with a back-to-back high-kill game and high-point game. 100 Thieves in third. So those 3 teams stay consistent, Tiff.
I mean, that's what you really have to do at the end of the day, is just remain consistent. We saw in the EMEA broadcast earlier on today when a team had that 31-point victory in match number 1. It kind of carried them through match number 2 and match number 3, but we kind of switched things around here on match day number 6, where we're starting on World's Edge. So a lot of those teams that are so comfortable on World's Edge are able to come out swinging, and the Guard, Fury, and 100 Thieves finding a lot of success here. Let's go ahead and jump on over to page number 2, Vicky.
Yeah, looking at the second page, the names that I'm surprised to see: Luminosity, TSM. Where were they at in those top 10 spots? I mean, they got the KP that they needed. You saw TSM with an early squad wipeout to claim the building that they sat in for quite some time of that game. But Luminosity as well, getting 5 KP, but not the placement points that they were expecting after a very strong game number 1.
Yeah, that's always interesting because I feel like TSM usually does pretty well when that end game zone is nearby their drop spot POI, but I just don't feel like they've been able to connect the two thus far just yet again, like we saw in match day number 3. But jumping on over to those series results after 2 matches, look how close the race is getting in that top 3. The Guard at the top of the leaderboard with 36 points. Furia in second with 33. I know, Fallout, you were like, hey, Furia's got to be at the top of the leaderboard. Well, not quite.
I was actually talking about the Guard, Tiffany.
Oh, my bad. My bad, Fallout. My brain just wants Furia to do really good, Fallout, okay?
No, I'm just playing. The guard is on top. No, Furia right behind them, though, with 33. Really, really well done from them. Again, we've circled Furia and said it's a must-perform day. They got to pull some heroics out if they want a chance to qualify and make it to the top 10 when it's all said and done. And this is a good start. Second place, but still 4 games to go. Kudos to 100 Thieves with some consistency. LG gets some KP that helps them, but really a top-heavy leaderboard right now, Vicky. Top 4 in particular.
Yeah, you mentioned why Furia needs to do really well. Not only do they want to be able to get at least top 9, top 10, so that way they could get into the LAN if they could possibly get there with the results that they could get, but they're also sitting in the red right now where they could relegate to qualifiers. Let's take a look at the final circle and what played out for our squads here, because 100 Thieves Furia, they still remain consistent. This is still the same squad that got top 3 in game number 1, with 100 Thieves taking second with 5 KP in that first game, and Furia getting third with 9 KP.
This was such an interesting moment. I cannot believe that Furia was able to call in the mobile respawn beacon and get Zera back in fault. You called it. The fact that Zera was able to stay alive until second place, super well done.
Yeah, and I think actually it was Panders. I actually called it incorrectly. There you go. I was wrong about that one. I think it was actually Panders that ended up ratting out to late game, and he was already up. But nonetheless, the focus got taken and turned on Zera, dropping from high ground. He ended up getting fighting against 100 Thieves, which bought time for Panders to find a little rat spot and take second place. Really smart play from Panders. That additional kill placement points will certainly help, but the guard really just cleaned up here. A huge game, 23 points, 11 kills for the guard, doing what they do best. And this team just continues to show that they are the real deal. They're consistent. They dominated and won the ESA competition yesterday. They're going to start off really, really strong here on World's Edge, and they only are getting better and better. It's really scary to see how good this team has been with Keon ever since they picked up the controller player.
Yeah, I really couldn't tell if it was Rambo with the hair buff or whatnot, but it's paying off for them. I need to know the secrets of how he gets such thick, luxurious hair, but hey, we'll have to wait and see, because now I'm all curious. But see, we can just get the little moments of how they, there we go, right there, eliminating the little rat. It's so funny because every time I think of someone ratting, I just think of Master Splinter grabbing some pizza and just going full Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But you know what's in store for us? That's gonna be match number 3. So Fallout, Vicky, take us away.
Thanks so much, Tiff. All I'm saying is if Master Splinter is the last rat alive in an Apex game, he's taking everybody out with him. You know, this is Master Splinter we're talking about. We're not talking about no chump. I'm just kidding. We're jumping in to game number 3. Ladies and gentlemen, home. Hope you're enjoying the gameplay here. Vicky, Fallout, back at it here for game 3, our last game on World's Edge before we switch over to Storm Point. I love the fact that halfway through the season here, we flipped. We're starting with World's Edge, which means we get to finish off on Storm Point, which I love to see. And it's so funny. Everyone loves Storm Point now. It's, you know, kind of one of their favorite competitive maps. People still like World's Edge, obviously, as well. But I remember when Storm Point first came out, people were like, oh, it's not going to be a competitive map. Now everyone's in love with it. Just goes to show with time, all things improve. And of course, what will Broken Moon be added as a third map? We'll find out, as it's really been I think personally it's shown well in the competitive maps that we've seen so far, competitive matches and tournaments we've seen so far on it, like the Nicholas tournament we casted.
Honestly, yeah, not only was Broken Moon very interesting to see, but I feel like with anything new, a lot of people are very quick to say, nah, this is not going to work out. Remember when Seer first came out, the very first week, everyone's like, oh, Seer, lackluster. And then the heartbeat sensor was absolutely broken, that you could be able to literally run while just holding onto the heartbeat sensor at the same time. Basically like an unstoppable scan that you could just hold down. And everybody was like, oh, wait, we can't rat anymore. This is absolutely insane right now. So I feel like every time there's something new that comes into competitive Apex, people are very quick to just kind of disregard it. Catalyst being like that new topic of interest right now, where Catalyst actually made waves on the Aurora Squad in the EMEA region. So I'm interested to see how the Catalyst meta may evolve in the future as we look more into competitive Apex and with more days to come.
Yeah, it's true. You know, one thing in regards to Catalyst, we mentioned it, how fun the EMEA games were. If you missed it, there was the most ridiculous endgame featuring Catalyst, Aurora in a 2 versus 3, a pure 2 versus 3 for the win. We thought there was no way they were going to win it. They drop a Catalyst wall, and the Catalyst wall and Ultimate allow them to clutch up and win the 2v3. It was one of the most ridiculous finishes. It was on Storm Point. I think it was game number 4. So make sure you go back and check out the EMEA broadcast if you didn't see it. At least that late game clip with Catalyst had full impact here in competitive Apex. You like to see Catalyst on display. One team rocking Catalyst here, one team rocking Gibraltar, Bloodhound, Bangalore, and Newcastle as well.
Also love to see E8 getting involved in an early fight with their quick rotations and some beautiful loot to rotate out of Fragment West with here too. You got the 2 purple Evos, they got KP to their name. Now it looks like a squad is down one of those teammates as they're going to try to rotate out of Fragment West. E8 are going to be able to come out on top. I believe it may have been FaZe that was bullied out of that choke point.
Interesting stuff. C9, I think, opting no longer to drop staging. First attempt ended up getting it. So not sure what changed. I didn't see the early game of that last game, but Cloud9 was dropping staging and was 50-50ing first attempt, found success game 1 and survived late game 2. But right now there's a ton of traffic at this choke just south of Fragment East as we keep an eye on Cloud9. But guess what? FaZe is there in Lava Siphon, Slept On, Season, E8, all in the vicinity.
And FaZe not having a fun time too. I believe the one member that dropped from FaZe from E8 was Albert Lely. So they won't have their crypto to be able to scan those beacons flawlessly without any sort of pressure. Obviously, the Valkyrie comes in clutch in moments like that. But that you really want that crypto drone so that way you don't have to overextend and give away your position. So let's see if they're able to even get the banner. I don't think they would, especially with C9 right behind them.
Yep. We'll keep a close eye on that as we do and as things slow down. Quick note, 20 picks of Valkyrie. So it looks like both of our, I believe both teams were running Bangalore and Bloodhound. Now, must have changed it up. I don't think there was Valkyrie the third of Furia and Cloud9 always?
No, they weren't rocking the Valkyrie, actually. So they were one of those squads that weren't relying on the Skyward dive for rotation. And I believe that does really work well into their playstyle since they are an edge fighting team. So they wanted to rely on more so trying to cut off the rotations of other squads that are forced to go from one side of the map to the other.
Yeah, interesting enough, they abandoned that playstyle. Now, Cloud9 no longer running Bangalore and Bloodhound. They're playing Crypto and Valkyrie and Watson. Completely different comp, completely different playstyle here for Cloud9. So, I don't know if it's, let's just, shake it up and maybe have multiple strats in the strat book or what. Meanwhile, we're taking a look here at the tripods. They find themselves in Skyhook with an early fight. Good damage off the rip from Gent.
Tripod's also having a pretty good last 2 games. I have to say, they are sitting in 10th in the overall standings right now. Their best placement getting 6. You see the beamage here coming in from Jet, but he has to reset, pop that shield back.
And Nick's gonna drop the ultimate. They know they have the damage done, but it looks like Sentinels is gonna heal back to full. Guess who it is? It's Sentinels. This is such a fun, entertaining Pro League day when we saw Sentinels and the Tripods fighting for Overlook, and the Tripods had their way with them, to say the least. Well, guess what? We got a rematch.
Love to see this here. Zero for zero. Everybody is in everybody's line of sight. You can see the grenades. You can see the black hole coming in. And remember, like I mentioned before, huge grenade toss right there to get that follow-up, forcing this squad to get on the high ground. They have that bridge, though, going in from one side of the building to the other, and deleting that zero is going to allow them to try to push in.
Oh, but Jet's gonna take damage. The bait and switch gonna come through. Look at the teamwork here from Nick and Jet. Nick's gonna connect for some more. Does enough and stays alive. Is that enough for his teammates to be able to clean up, though, is the question.
Nick Merckx needs to help reset right now. He's got the shield back that he's popping. Jet says, all right, everybody don't look at me right now. Mind your own business, all right? Gotta go for a reset. D says, all right, we'll have to reposition ourselves too. Sentinels are like, okay, we can take a breather. They're gonna be able to back up, and Tripods have to go in for a reset on the low ground.
That was a memeable moment. Gent, I want to get some heroic music, maybe final countdown. I'm gonna make a play, watch this, and then get stuck in vents on the lift. But here we go, Sentinels now with an opportunity. This fight's gonna continue. Gent could have closed it out right there, but unfortunately gets stuck. Here comes Sen Coach, aka Tech, the substitute / coach for this team currently. We'll keep a close eye on him, but Sentinel's able to reset. Tripods the missed opportunity to close that out.
Well, Tripods, they basically cut their losses at the very middle of that fight. Just had to reset after you saw Nick Merckx fall incredibly low, but this fight is going on for a really long time. Deeds falls incredibly low. He needs some help. He needs some suppressed fire from his teammates.
Here, they have to get a knock. They're going to get one. Jet takes out Crust, making it 2v2. Good shots come through. It's Nick Merckx swinging right left. Connects immediately with the Seer Q, and he's going to scan both of them. That's a huge Q coming through for Nick. Will the shield bat be popped? No! Nick gets the knock. What a play from Nick Merckx here. He goes down, but Gentrifying cleans up. And just like that, the Tripods win it again, but a third party is here. All that for nothing. See you later, Tripods. See you later, Sentinels. The third party from the BR Demons, unfortunately, puts an end and a raid on their parade.
That was what I was most worried about. That fight took way too long. That was about a minute-long fight, and the BR Demons had all the time in the world to get whip of that fight and get involved. 100 Thieves now take to the skies with the Skyward dive, predicting where the circle is going to be pulling. We have one of our southern circles, which is going to benefit the squads that get to rotate away from Thermal Station.
Yeah, look at 100 Thieves right next to HEC, formerly Atlanta Premier. They'll drop right next to them. And HEC says, we're not happy about that. Thank you very much. We didn't want any neighbors. Okay, we were content exactly where we were at, but 100 Thieves says, we'll deal with it. You're gonna have to live with us right next to you for now. HEC gonna stack out, maintain these buildings, stay in control. Furia playing edge and the choke right above them. Furia continues to commit to this hard edge playstyle, but I'd be interested to see what team comp they're running, because they have a Valkyrie on their team now, which is different than what they were running before.
I see somebody.
Here, heck, they're going to be rocking 2 white Evos, Crook with the blue Evo. They're going to be taking their time to try to control the inside of these buildings here. 100 Thieves on the other side of that choke point like we saw before, with Furia holding the choke point to the north, though they're going to be able to stop any squads that want to rotate away from Lava Fisher, away from staging if they want to wrap around, not get contested in that choke point that leaves them wide open for the squads that are looking at them from Thermal Station.
Prepare yourself. We have an enemy.
Things slow down here. Keep a close eye on HEC. This is where the crypto is so beneficial. You get all this information, can just scan from above and really understand the lay of the land, which teams are nearby, how to play your rotates. I mean, crucial info that you can get with crypto in these mid games to late games. That's why you see teams like Invictus Gaming, teams like the Guard that run this character, because they say at the end of the day, information is the most important thing in a battle royale. And actually in chatting with both RKN and Noises, the IGLs of their respective squads, the Guard and IG, they both say if you can eliminate randomness in a battle royale, that's the name of the game. And I gotta say, first thing, kudos to Apex. I think more than any other BR, there's the opportunity, probably the least amount of randomness. There's obviously randomness in every battle royale, but the least amount, and there's opportunities to mitigate randomness with characters like crypto. And that's why these teams run cryptos, because you can get more information, you can get more intel. That means you're more in control.
Yeah, that EMP is always a benefit when it comes to dealing with these pesky Seer ults, the Watson fences with so many squads bunkering down with either the Watsons or the Caustics. Always nice to see a legend like Crypto being utilized to the highest degree, and not just in the NA, but in almost every single region. Obviously, APAC benefiting off of that information more than any other region that we get to see. So many cryptos that take control over the APAC buildings when it comes to making those rotations, and as well as not trying to overextend for the beacon information with the crypto drones just flying around one each other. But 100 Thieves are not going to be going anywhere anytime soon because they don't have the information of the next beacon, but they do want to be able to take the chance of the circle pulling in the 50-50 cents where it could pull to their south on the outskirts of that lava or even to their north.
Taking a look here at Oxygen. We poked up a few other squads. Meanwhile, the BR Demons, we know that they were all the way from Skyhook. They'll be creeping up on the choke point by Furia. They're walking it up on Furia right now. I can see this in my mini-map on the side of the screen if you pull the map, and or that fight. It looks like BRD versus Furia might be ensuing. These are two teams that have confidence and are very proud, to say the least. They have the confidence in their ability to fight. I don't think either of these teams will back down. As I say that, though, BRD says, yeah, we're going to back down, Fallout.
Yeah, BR Demons are just going to rotate out of that situation, while E8 and Oxygen, though, duke it out. There's a lot of squads in this congested spot right here. Oxygen, Season, and E8. You see the Seer ult exhibition coming out. E8 are just going to look at some of the action happening with Mercy just trying to get away from the line of sight of not just the Thermite Grenade, but the Arcstar too. He's on that fuse, and he's going to try to use that Knuckle Cluster to buy in some space for the rest of the squad, and Oxygen Esports want to fully send it in.
That's right. Here comes the push. Oxygen versus E8. Looks like it's going to be advantage Oxygen. They get the first two knocks. Got to be careful because Season is nearby. Season wants a third party. Oxygen does a good job. They don't get knocked, but as I say that, though, here comes Season. Marching their way in. Klane's going to take out Senpai. Casello's trying to get a shield cell off. Has the fast heal with the gold shield. But will it be enough? Has to go big down to 2v3.
There's another squad, I think, that could wrap around this rock and take a little bit of circle damage if they want to actually contest here. I do believe that may be Optic Gaming. They're taking to the skies with the Skyward Dive, and with this res, Oxygen Esports need to go for the quick reset. E8 get finally taken out here, and 16 squads left in this final game of World's Edge.
Yeah, so right now we have Oxygen, Optic, and Season all within the vicinity. Luminosity around the corner, phase as well. So those are the 5 teams currently playing at the southeast side of the map. TSM is alive on the northeast side of the next zone, but BR Demons might be creeping up on them here in a moment. So we'll have BR Demons, TSM, HEC, Furia, and 100 Thieves potentially fighting for the northern side of this map.
Absolute chaos here. You could see where the circle is going to be pulling. I'm looking at the squads that are going to take control over that sniper tower high ground above Thermal Station. I'm wondering if that's Esports Arena who make the quick rotation here. So they will have the positioning advantage. Also C9 that made the rotation away from Climatizer as quickly as they could into Thermal Station already. While Oxygen is going to loot up, you could see all the squads that are in that north side that Fallout was talking about, leaving that choke point. Fury is still hanging on to the edge of the circle. They're probably in the line of sight of Heck, who are inside of those buildings, and then 100 Thieves to their south. So even if they try to fully send it onto that squad, they have to worry about 100 Thieves trying to go in for a third party.
Things will slow down. Calm before the storm here in this game number 3, third and last game on World's Edge. And if you're just joining us, first off, welcome to the ALGS Pro League. It's been a heck of a day. Neo is so much fun to watch. North America has not disappointed so far, but the reality is right now, it's very top-heavy. Our top 4 teams, Luminosity, 100 Thieves, Furia, and the Guard, have the majority of points, the lion's share of points in this competition. So every other team in this lobby, this is kind of the midway point through the 6-game series that they need to perform if they want to stay relevant, if they want a chance at top 3.
Oh, Fury's actually going to fully send it on to Heck here. This is what I was expecting. Again, they just have to worry about 100 Thieves. That's to their south that can easily third party. Not too sure if this is a bait or if this is just them trying to share some of the building space on the bottom ground.
And when we talk often about why Watson is a lot more prevalent here on World's Edge, this is why. It's the buildings and the way they're designed. It's harder to break Watson fences, but HEC says, yeah, we don't want any of this. Actually, okay, I thought they were hiding in that the tunnel there. They're not going to be. HEC says, see you later. They're going to actually dip set. Fury is going to take control of this building and takes it for free. Heck is either above them or below them or nearby somewhere, maybe in the other building adjacent, but nonetheless, I'd be interested to hear some of the comms here from Furia as we're currently watching Furia on screen. His Watson and co will take this building and take control with HCC nearby and 100 Thieves as well, Vicky.
With Furia also taking control of the high ground right here, we're going to jump into a listening with Furia to see what their next move is going to do in terms of pressuring 100 Thieves and Heck over to their left.
He has that fucking...
Team's playing up here. I don't even know if they have a good spot.
I think they have a fence line still. I'm not really poking because I'm only 2-6 and I only have a 1-2 anyway.
Burn again, bro. We're chilling.
Okay, okay, yeah. Wow, I mean, are we cheating? I told you it went houses. The doubt, boys, the doubt. Oh my god. I was looking at the data mine zones recently and I was like, man, this is the only ending we got.
Yeah. He was good data mine, Yeah, that was solid. Good thing we got that unfair information to give us a competitive advantage.
Alright, well, I'm literally just chilling. I'm saving them.
I'm too open mine.
Well, Furia listening's guaranteed comedic relief for these broadcasts. You know, you love his Watsons there, Tricky and Panders, quite the personalities in Apex.
Look, if his Watson wants to get another clip of me talking about his team, Furia wins. They need to take a W, okay? They got to take the W like they clipped me before. They got to earn it. I know Furia, they've come into my DMs just to show me the clip because they absolutely enjoyed it too. But with that final circle positioning, they can absolutely do it. BR Demons can't say the same though. After losing out on Vayne currently, they'll have some time. Hopefully the squad inside this building doesn't push them.
You're saying it's Furia slipped in your DMs. That's all I heard, Vicky.
Yes, they did. They had to show me the clip.
That's right. Shout out to the Org Furia, one of the best Twitter engagement accounts that we got in Apex. A lot of our orgs are always having fun and memeing each other. On board right now with BR Demons on the high ground. One of our free agent squads, by the way. So speaking of orgs, if you're looking to pick up a team in Apex, this is certainly an up-and-coming squad that's been performing so incredibly well with a chance to qualify for LAN. Switching on over to Optic Gaming. Speaking about orgs that have entered Apex and performed well, Optic has been on top, but this Pro League split has not necessarily been the case. Currently hovering in 10th or 11th place, not what we're used to seeing them. Here comes Furia. They're going to lose one. Zera goes down. Optic's trying to take their spot. They take out Zera early. Panders, Watson, they were just chilling a second ago. They had all the confidence, all the lulls, but right now they got to clutch up.
They did go for a reset here with Panders popping up that shield, but it's Optic Gaming, so it's a 2v2 currently right now. Fury do manage to get the reset, and they have the gold knockdown shield, so they get the res with some additional health to work with, which puts them in the advantage of this fight versus Optic.
And that'll be the first kill picked up on Skittlecake. So Optic loses one. Furia says, back off. This is our building. Thank you very much. They'll take it, and they'll maintain control. Furia with a chance to go back again to a top 3 finish here, Vicky. Consistent top 3 finishes for Furia so far on World's Edge. They certainly turned up. Bangalore, Horizon, and Bloodhounds. They're actually running a Valkyries comp. The data I had was incorrect. Sorry about that. I saw 20 Valks, but it might have been wrong there. Meanwhile, the kill feed's gonna be lit up completely. Faye's gonna get eliminated. SSG picking up some kills as well.
Yeah, really works into their favor. They didn't run the Valk in the last one either, too. So Optic Gaming, though, losing out now on 2, only leaving up to Noct. Here comes the EMP from the Crypto. Where are you going to go here with your Evo Shield basically non-existent currently? He gets the cleanup on the finish, so that way he can get the shield swap quickly. The grenade DOS to his feet. Can he get the banner real quick here? Maybe he could go for another shield swap just in case he gets it.
Well, Furia Twitter account, maybe you're right. Maybe I do jinx things. Furia's gonna get taken out. It's gonna be HEC and Optic who end up eliminating Furia, but TSM enters the chat. They find themselves a few eliminations as well. Verhulst does go down to the hands of Capra with the charge rifle long range, so TSM is damaged right now, but they find a few kill points. TSM's been so quiet today. That was one of the big storylines, Vicky. We said, is TSM the best team in NA right now? Well, it doesn't look like it after these first 2 games. They got to go big here in game 3.
I feel like this is one of the TSM script. Oh, the beam image with the Volt. Look, enemy, all he needs is a Volt with nothing attached to it and a Mozambique and a Dream. That's sometimes all you got to work with here from Heck. And he's got the high ground too. Versus an RE45, what will win? Enemies Mozambique or a nicely kitted up RE45 with the disruptor rounds?
Yeah, so it's one last member of HEC. It's the young rookie, 17-year-old Mexican-American enemy. He's been so incredibly strong for this team. Really was the big missing piece of the key for them that turned things around. Well, 2 members of TSM right outside. It's Hal and Reps, the duo. TSM, a final 2 left in this lobby. We'll see if they can do it. We've seen them do it before as a duo. Optic also a duo nearby. 100 Thieves Esports Arena all on the north side of the map. Meanwhile, on the south side of the map, we have Slept On, The Guard, Oxygen, BR Demon, Space Station. A big fight right now between Oxygen, The Guard, and BR Demons all around the donut building.
Heck finally get eliminated. That was enemy who was on the high ground that we just saw rocking the Volt and the Mozambique. Now 100 Thieves bullied out of their own spot that they were holding for a really long time. Scurry falling incredibly low, but he's got the wall up, but not before he comes out. He gets knocked.
And Onmu going to come and try and bodyguard. This is a chance for Optic to push. They know they got the knock. I think they got that intel. Actually, I don't know if they did because SSG got the knock from far away. So they'll reset to full. TSM gets a knock. Verholt's going to get taken out right after, though. Hal knocked as well. ESA looking to take out TSM. It's all up to Reps, the last member alive. And there you go. They're going to do it. But TSM falls right after in the kill feed. Meanwhile, 100 Thieves. Scurry goes down again. The damage is going to be enough to knock Scurry. But 100 Thieves, so consistent this team comp, is perhaps the better version of Crypto for late game consistency.
Yep, talk about consistency, talk about how the Newcastle's working out for 100 Thieves right here. I love this gameplay from 100 Thieves and not getting ahead of themselves. Even though there was so much fighting happening in the lot right behind them, they didn't give up the position from the very beginning. They were making sure that the squad right across the lava was not going to be able to take their spot because that's them circle keeping a squad that could potentially get onto the high ground where they're positioned right now. Wondering what their next move is going to be because they're going to be in the line of sight of all these squads that are right below them.
100 Thieves right now on top. Mount Sinai, taking a look at everyone else below them. They just get to chill. Very stress-free game for that, relatively speaking, because they are able to survive the damage and duress that they were under. Meanwhile, they're going to get a knock on Protect full, and here comes the damage. The nades are going to be tossed. No walks in pylon to prevent them. Caselos last alive for Oxygen. One of our bubble teams in 22nd or 23rd place that needed to perform today, and not the best start on World's Edge. Not looking like it might not be the best finish unless Caselos can do something miraculous here.
You know what squad is looking like they're trying to start and end things off strongly? It's the Guard playing right underneath them. A nice Kraber shot coming in from Psycho, though, landing onto Vaxel. That Space Station playing up the low ground here, too.
Yeah, there you go. Caselos just drops immediately to his death. That's it for Oxygen. Out in 6th. Space Station in 5th place right now. My team to watch in today's competition based on how well they did last Pro League day. That's going to be a great missile swarm, and it's going to get the knock. And it looks like 100 Thieves is going to get taken out. It was a tough rotate for them. There's lava in front of them. They had to drop off high ground. And it looks like 100 Thieves is going to be eliminated in 5th. So as it remains, Space Station, the Guard showing consistency, BR Demons, and Slept On, your 4 teams remaining.
Last 4 teams remaining. Space Station on the other side of this wall with a nice perimeter setup for them to contest any of the squads that want to push in onto them. RKM having the white Evo shield. Wonder if that's a shield swap right here or a quick reset. BR Demons, though, have the high ground. We talked about Pride Rock in game number 1. Well, guess what? They stacked rock on rock and now are on top of this big building. Who's going to try to contest them into space like this?
Yeah, BR Demons with the win condition and with complete control of high ground. The Guards, see you later. 3 squads left, and most of them are Challenger Circuit teams. The BR Demons rotating all the way from Skyhook. They drop from high, and they will actually get melted. Vayne almost goes down, but they do the melting themselves. Aiden works his way back up to high ground, pops to shield bat, and it looks like Vayne's not going to be able to get there, but Reeds is. Here comes the drop. Aiden pushes through. It's a 1v2. Aiden, you got to go huge. No! He will get shut down. Back to Frex, making a 2v1, and Space Station's going to do it. Space Station wins game number 3.
What a way to end World's Edge for Space Station right now. The squads that we had our eyes on for them to perform to the best capability to be in our top 10 in the overall NA leaderboards.
That's right. Congrats to Space Station Gaming, picking up right where they left off from Sunday night's competition, Tiff. Really, really consistent play from them, and as a result of that first place win with a decent amount of kills as well, they might find themselves in the top 4, breaking the top 4, which is really top heavy going into game number 3.
Look, you got Luminosity getting a match win, Space Station getting a match win. Now we just need Season to double down in Storm Point and get a match win. So all of our teams to watch can find some success here in match day number 6. But overall, what an epic game there for the final game in World's Edge. I mean, a thermal station ending? What more could we ask for?
We don't see those very often anymore. You like to see southern zones here. Back in the day, we used to beg for northern zones, and now that's actually changed, as it looks like we've gotten our first thermal station zone in quite some time.
Yeah, I would never forget the 3-game climatizer finish. I was having it that day. I was not about it anymore at that point. You know, I have to be completely honest. But yeah, seeing a nice refresher of those thermal station circles could always be tricky because you either have the circle pulling where 100 Thieves was positioned because they wanted to take the 50-50 to call whether they needed to rotate beyond the lava where Space Station held the entire time, or if they wanted to be on the high ground. The only thing was, even with the circle pulling away from them, Space Station just kept pressuring them out and inevitably wiped them at the very end.
Yeah, they came in clutch when it really mattered, so it was really good to see them find some success here in match number 3. But sometimes you've got to wonder, had the circle kind of reversed it and pulled towards 100 Thieves, that obviously would have benefited them immensely well. But they've been so consistent here today, and it's just really fun to see. I feel like every time these groups meet up with each other, you never know what to expect. But let's go ahead and jump into some highlights from match number 3.
Yeah, and we'll obviously see the late game moment in a little bit, but I'm excited to watch it back, Vic. Yeah, I don't know why BR Demons felt like they had to drop so early. They had another maybe 10 to 15 seconds that they could have just sat on high ground and let everyone else fight. They dropped really, really early and then immediately dropped the grav lift and said, never mind, let's go back to high ground. This is that fight in that moment, Vicky, with tripods and sentinels, and I hope we have the Jet clip on repeat, where he could have easily potentially flanked and instead got stuck, and that fight got prolonged, and tripods ended up winning it, but got third party by BR Demons right after.
Why you gotta call out Jet like that? One of our controller buddies out here. I mean, I get it right now, but Tripods also took way too long to come out on top of this fight.
Yeah, they did. Ultimately, that was their downfall. Here comes BR Demon saying, swoop, 3 kill points, some loot. And I think they got 2 kill points as a result of that. So nice shot from the BR Demons. They took that to a top 3 finish. Oxygen, so it showed some life in the mid game. 100 Thieves, and with 100 Thieves-esque early game rotation that looked really, really solid. And then Furia, I heard the listen, and it was comedic, them saying, do we just get gifted with a end zone? The zone's going to close in on us? This is fantastic. All the intel in the world for them as they got themselves great positioning, but ultimately got pushed by 2 teams and sandwiched by Optic and by HEC, Vicky.
Also, the action happening in this law, I love to listen in from Furia. They were absolutely feeling themselves, but as quickly as they were feeling themselves, they quickly went down and got shut down. There was TSM, Optic Gaming, Heck, Furia, all fighting on this side, while, you know, 100 Thieves was looking at them like, what the heck is going on over here? We're gonna just stay pretty behind our Newcastle wall.
Yeah, and there was a lot of moments here in this late game where it was ESA and TSM just trading blows, and as a result, they both got taken out. So like, a lot of teams kind of got grief, kind of got into in that game, especially the teams that were caught in that northern part of the zone. The teams that avoided that, the teams that made it to late game. Space Station, BR Demons did a good job. I think it was a Valcult that allowed them to take positioning by the donut and then getting a top 3 finish. And Space Station, very well positioned from them. I mean, 6 kills here. They must have ended up with at least 9 to 12. Really, really good game overall from SSG Tiff.
Yeah, it's just really beautiful to watch when you kind of get to see it back through these match highlights. It's just the moment that 100 Thieves jumps down off that ledge, it's absolutely decimated. But here's the moment where Aiden drops down as well. The team taking a lot of damage, and Space Station coming out on top, just playing the patient long game right there as we cut on over to the match 3 results. Space Station, 11 eliminations with 23 total points, a commanding performance. But let's go ahead and talk about a lot of those teams that came in through those preseason qualifiers, you know, the Challenger circuit. You've got Selepton coming in 2nd place with 15 points, Fallout.
Yeah, they're going to need a lot more where that came from. Selepton currently in 27th or 26th place in the competition. And a really, really good game number 3. 2nd place, 15-point game, but they need a top 5 finish in the overall standings today. Otherwise, it might be sayonara for them unless they can do something crazy the last couple weeks. But BR Demons has looked consistent. You see a couple other squads here as well. All the big names you kind of used to seeing performing, Vicky. TSM, Optic, 100 Thieves finally making the front page, but it's not really enough in terms of points.
Yeah, and Furia actually being on that 2nd page, not having the performance that they wanted to because they were holding on to that choke point that was north of Thermal Station for a very long time, expecting more squads to actually rotate in that direction, but they didn't see anybody that rotated in that direction until they decided to fully send it onto Heck. So they fell with no KP to their name in that last game of World's Edge.
Going to be kind of interesting, but let's jump on over series results after 3 maps that have been had for the day. It's going to be the Guard on top with 46 points, 100 Thieves in 2nd with 35. But this is where things are going to start getting interesting. Space Station kind of clawing their way through the leaderboard, sitting in top 3, just 1 point shy of 2nd place, tied with Furia. It's getting a little wild out there, Fallout.
Yeah, that's right. Space Station wins the tiebreaker with Furia because they have a game win. That's kind of the first thing in terms of tiebreaker for tied points. Furia has made it to top 3 2 times, but doesn't have a win under their belt, so that's why they're in 4th overall over the BR Demons. But then you have BR Demons, Luminosity, and Slept-On all hovering at around 25 points and just a strike away from breaking into that top 4 as well. So really 7 teams are separating themselves from the pack. We still got 3 games to play, so FaZe, TSM, Season, Tripods, Oxygen, ESA, all these teams, if they have a big Storm Point, can really turn things around, Vicky.
Yeah, but what's interesting to note, though, is in the previous days of Pro League, TSM has mostly had their pop-off moments on World's Edge. So what does this mean for them as we go into Storm Point? Now we get to also take a look at the series kill leaders out here. Rambo with the double digits, the only one to lead the pack with double digits here in North America.
I feel like the payoff from moving him onto Valk to allow him to be a lot more aggressive is definitely having a hand on the fact that he's got the top of this leaderboard with 11 eliminations. But you got BR Demons 8 in the Destroyer with 8. Then you've got 2 members of Furia tied with 7 eliminations each. So it's just going to show you that a lot of those teams that are picking up a lot of elimination points are just finding success. Now, the question is, every time we finish up 3 maps of the day, we like to kind of do another deep dive in and look at some teams that we're kind of focusing on who are finding some success in this Group B versus C matchup. And Fallout, I believe you're going to be the one highlighting that first team to focus on, and I'm excited to see which team that's going to be.
Yeah, and the team that I picked, well, it's Furia. Mostly because I know it's going to enrage, again, the Furia Twitter account. But jokes aside, if Furia bombs these last 3 games, I will 100% admit the caster's curse is absolutely real. But no, jokes aside, you got to highlight Furia here. We called them out in the pre-show. We've called them out the last couple of weeks. Where is Furia? Are they going to wake up? When are they going to wake up? And they responded big time. They changed their team composition. They run Bangalore, Bloodhound, and Horizon, and they run it to perfection, playing Edge, playing really, really aggressive, high-kill games, really fun gameplay, fun listen-ins as well. I was beyond impressed by the way that Furia performed today, responding to all the criticism of, is this team still in the A tier or the S tier? Are they a top team in North America? They played like it on World's Edge. That's why they're finding themselves in the top 3, top 4 overall. But the big thing is they gotta keep it going on Storm Point. I'm interested to see what their playstyle is like on SP. Is it going to be, like Aurora, who continues to play Edge and continues to play aggressive? Vicky, who you got?
I got the Guard out here, as you can see currently on your screens. The Guard have been another consistent squad to start off the day here on World's Edge. They even took game number 2 with 11 KP to their name. They got top 5 plenty of times. Even in this first game right here, they had a great call out on where that final circle was going to be pulling. Aside from the fact that Arcan had some nice little clips in that game number 2 with the Kraber, you could see that they were feeling themselves and doing really nice calls in predicting where the circle was going to be pulling.
Really great to see. Great teams to watch. But if you think you can go up against the likes of Furia or the Guard, try your hand first at the Challenger Circuit here in Play Apex. Registration is closed for Challenger Circuit number 2, but have no fear. You still have until the 14th of December to register for Challenger Circuit number 3. And if you want to get in and find some new up-and-coming ALGS players, check out this weekend. The finals will be on Monday for all of the regions. I mean, GOW finding success in NA already, as well as the teams in EMEA, APAC. Just go check it out. It's some good fun, right? And the teams are a little bit of hectic.
Who won Challenger Circuit number 1? I missed that. Who won?
I mean, it was GOW, and I know Fallout, you kind of know exactly what that sounds like. I believe they've actually already had some roster changes, so be on the lookout, Fallout. The Gears of War's boys changing things up. But guys, we're gonna cut to a quick break, and when we come back, we're gonna be jumping on over to Storm Point.
WD Black, the official storage partner of the Apex Legends Global Series.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the North American ALGS Pro League broadcast. I'm Spider Tiff, and I'm going to be joined alongside Fallout as we give Vicky Kitty a well-earned break. As we get down and we get to see game number 4, and we're finally done with World's Edge. We're going to be jumping on over for some Storm Point action. Will the teams that found success early on in World's Edge be able to carry that momentum forward into Storm Point? I guess we'll have to wait and see. Fallout, get in here. I'm excited to hear and chat with you and steal you away for just a moment, even if it is just for one game.
Yeah, let's get it. Excited to be back, casting with you again, Spider Tiff. But you got me wondering, what do you think Vicky does in her breaks? I'm just envisioning Vicky in a bathroom, looking at the mirror, just like making gun sounds to herself, just practicing and perfecting those gun sounds. Do you think that's what she's doing? I
mean, honestly, at this point, probably just getting a little bit of that. I'm not even going to try to recreate the sounds that Vicky was able to make. Yeah, but let's just go ahead. Can we get that Rampage sounding with the thermite on hand? Like, I feel like I need it just a little more quickly.
Yeah, it's more. I think it's more of a. I think that's what the thermite does. The Rampage with the thermite.
I mean, the rate of fire increase is astronomical, but this is our first game of the day on Storm Point. We only have 3 matches remaining here in match day number 6, and this is where I am excited. A lot of teams come into question because the Storm Point map changes up a lot of things. I know Vicky is really hard on the fact that there's a lot of top-down verticality on this map. So when you're moving from maybe north to the south or south to the north, things change up on those rotations. So I'll be excited to see where that first ring is going to give us a shout. Hopefully a center zone. And as I say that, it pulls more center, but still up to kind of the northeast.
Yeah, that's right. Let's just see how teams rotate. One thing I want to point out, look at the very center of the map. Jurassic Park, the guard, with a deep split drop. So I don't know if Tripods, if they kind of recognize that early, they can actually run a little trick strat. We saw, I can't remember what team, I think it was the BR Demons in the northeast side of the map on Lightning Rod, run trick strats. Maybe it was E8 running some trick strats and dropping and surprising Furia, getting some KP, and then dropping and surprising, I think it was 100 Thieves over in Command Center. I want to see more teams think like that. Let's understand, let's do some research, let's watch film, understand what other teams do in drops, and Tripods does have a chance to do that and maybe catch a member of the guard off guard with an early kill point. And then, of course, getting all the Jurassic Park loot would be helpful. But for now, no 50-50s, I don't think. It's going to be Space Station dropping over in Launchpad. They'll be looting for free. This is your winner from game number 3.
I mean, you can get a lot of good loot over here, so it gives a lot of different teams the ability to find the gear that, I mean, look at Frex is already on a Bangalore, gets that Digi threat and that extended light mag purple on the car already. So very much trying to double down on that success they found in match number 3 and can carry that momentum forward. So excited to see what they can do here, but you see Karasuno just a little bit over in Stormcatcher. They do have a replicator available to them, and they might be in some little bit of an early trouble here, and they're going to hit that grab lift and go. Or
yeah, but we're
cannon.
Yeah, that's right. We call it a yeet cannon.
Yeet. Yeah, yeet cannon.
This is a yeet cannon. Okay, it's the technical term. If you ask the designers, that's what they named it.
I like this spot's energy.
We're watching Karasuno right now up in Thunderwatch. I want to try and see if I remember. I don't think a team dropped Thunderwatch, so it looks like there was close to a 50-50. E8 and Karasuno, that's who they were running from over in Stormcatcher, but it looks like they get to come through. They get a beacon to scan. They get Thunderwatch loot, but they have to know that Furia is nearby, a team that's looking to play aggressive. And I'm curious to see Furia's team comp. Are they still running the aggressive Bangalore and Bloodhound team comp? Are they throwing some Catalysts in the mix? Well, we have 0 Catalysts on the map. We do have an Ash. One team is running Ash, which is really interesting. I'm curious which team it is. Oh, sorry, I lied. My info is incorrect again. 1 Catalyst, it's Fury on Karasuno, and then 1 Ash on the map as well.
I was gonna say, I feel like Fury on Karasuno was watching the EMEA broadcast earlier on today, right, and how Aurora found so much success over at the wall with that amazing Catalyst ult to end that game. But it looks like you've got Tempest on your screen kind of fencing off the area and really showing presence here at Thunderwatch. They have this moment of silence, and you talk about Furia being nearby, but also TSM rotates out of the wall trying to get geared up and set up. So showing presence here at Thunderwatch is going to be really smart for them, but I would like to see, you know, Furia continue on that aggression that they had on World's Edge here in Stormpoint.
Yep. Furia is still taking their time looting the top right of the map. and we'll keep showing you that overhead map so you guys can see exactly where zones are pulling and where teams are rotating to, who's playing edge, who's playing early rotate. But for now, it's Optic with a very early rotation coming from Mill. They already found their way in Cascade Falls and can opt to scan the beacon on top of the waterfall if they choose to do so. But got to be careful because Cloud9 is nearby as well. Meanwhile, our teams that we know like to play edge, BR Demons, FaZe on this map actually ran Bangalore last week. We'll see if they run Bangalore again, but Cloud9, completely different playstyle than what we're used to seeing from them. It's a Crypto, Watson, and Valkyrie team comp with early rotates coming from C9.
A lot of early rotates coming in from some of our teams, and I'm a big fan of that because I feel like playing edge on Stormpoint is so incredibly challenging. There's a lot of choke points, a lot of open rotates throughout the POIs, and you can get really caught off guard with a charge rifle. So I think it's smart and in their favor to make those early rotations, and it seems like a lot of teams are starting to favor that Thunder Watch area, and there is a beacon over nearby. So you got to think, if Karasuno can get their setup, the shop early, they can get the information from the beacon and find out which way they need to go after.
TSM and Imperial Hal rotating their way all the way from wall and now finding themselves with some really, really good loot. Mine is Verholst, who's going to be looking to level up that Evo shield. We saw him with a charge rifle on this map, finding so much success last week. And last time they played, he dominated TSM. 2 out of 3 wins in the Pro League so far. Good beams are going to come through as well for this squad. They get some damage on HEC, who's making a Valk ult. And that's Verholst leveling up that Evo shield.
Hey, you got to do it. You do not want to go into the end game with anything less. They do have a lot of materials around them and a replicator nearby, so Verholst can go ahead and craft that shield up should he want, or just utilize the G7 scout and poke fight everyone in the nearby vicinity. That also works as well.
Cloud9. We talked about change in playstyle. I talked about early rotation. Just seems like no matter what their playstyle is, what they're trying to do, I like the fact that they're adapting. It's just not working. Unfortunately, going to get taken out again here. So another slow day for them. They haven't been too, honestly, they've been kind of middle of the pack, really close to Tripods and a few others. And some solid performances from C9, but not the C9 we're used to seeing back when Alberelli was on the roster. His absence has certainly been felt.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because then it goes to, obviously, Alberelli's over there on FaZe with Snipe Down and Slurp. And just listening to some of the comms as I watch them throughout scrims and maybe some other tournaments nearby, just hearing to get those reps in, their comms are always incredibly chaotic. And Slurp is usually louder than Alberelli at some point. Sometimes those calls are kind of hard to hear, but another team that's been finding not necessarily a ton of success here just yet, but finding themselves in some interesting situations. Going to be EA currently on your screen in the form of Presley, and they've kind of nestled themselves just south of Thunderwatch, and I've seen a zone actually end in this nearby vicinity in the EMEA region, and I feel like if you can get in and assume that the ring is going to close here and take that gamble, it could pay off and be really great if you can hold on to this area.
Yeah, E8. You highlighted them well, Tiff. I mean, this is the team that surprised the world by dominating the last chance qualifier to make it to ALGS champs above the likes of Complexity, Sentinels, and so many other rosters. They played incredibly well in that event, but since then didn't really find that same spark, that same Cinderella story they were looking for. Clock seemingly struck midnight for them at champs, but we'll see if they can continue to showcase what they're made of. We know the potential's high for them. A really fun team to watch. Still kind of finding their identity. Are they an edge team? Are they an early rotate team? I think this is their team that has a lot of skill. I just want to see them play a little more edge, in my opinion. But here we go. Watson, Kanders, Zeratrick. He's still running the same comp. You love it. I like this new play style and team comp here for Furia. Just hard committing to edge with 3 very, very aggressive legends.
I mean, honestly, if you can just go ahead and plot out your rotations, you don't really need to default back onto that Valk, which a lot of teams utilize to get out of a bad fight that they maybe shouldn't have pushed. And yeah, it can come in clutch for rotations, but you shouldn't have to rely on that, because if you think about it, Valk ulting in an endgame scenario, if you're the first team to Valk ult, everyone's eyes are on you, and it's pretty much like a 50-50 coin flip at that point. So I really respect Furia to not run Valk in their team composition, and obviously it's paying off for them here today.
Switching back to Karasuno, that early rotation of Thunderwatch paid off for them. They're going to maintain high ground here on top of Thunderwatch. They get the beacon if they choose to scan and use it. They'll get a lot of intel, and they'll maintain control here. Depends where the zones is going to end up pulling. TSM opted to take the top of Stormcatcher, Karasuno on top of Thunderwatch. So both teams hoping for a north and south pull, respectively. We'll see where it ends up going.
HEC nearby running the crypto in their legend composition. Seems like they're going to come in and go ahead and hit Karasuno with that EMP. The really cool thing about crypto is they do have the ability to scan that beacon instantly if they don't get their drone destroyed by Karasuno. But they're doing a great job here showing presence, a good spot for that Interceptor, Pylon, just the Jenny kind of nestled off to the side, not really in a clear LOS for the other teams, because basically what happens is anytime a team sees that generator, the first thing they're going to do is try to destroy it. And well placed. But cutting back on over to tripods, you know, I've been seeing a lot of good moments out of Nick Mercs and co, but unfortunately not able to get into the end game result.
Yeah, meanwhile, the BR Demons find themselves in a fight versus FaZe on the north side of the map. Here we go. Slurpy G, what you got? It's gonna be a first knock coming through. 2 knocks come through. Slurp is the initiate, and I called him Weapon X a couple weeks ago. I think that nickname's gonna stick. He has certainly been the X factor for this team.
Factor indeed, and they are just cleaning it up. FaZe finding some success here early on and sending one team home. But the question is, will that fight have lasted too long, and will you get the attention of other teams in the lobby? Because look who comes out to play. It's going to be Season. It was my team to watch, and I'm excited to see, hey, can they find a map win of their own? Because that's what really matters, because Luminosity and Space Station have already done it. Season just needs to double down and make some presence happen. If you remember correctly, when groups B versus C met up on match day number 3, Season won the first 2 maps back-to-back on Stormpoint. So game number 4, this is your time to shine. FaZe looks like they're going to disengage and take that long rotation out, and this is going to be really smart for them because it's going to put them at the top of the zone on the opposite side of the ring.
I guess who's going to be there waiting? It's Season. I mean, you said it. Season got second place, back-to-back games, a dominant day, but guess what? FaZe got 18th with like 6 points. So if it's history repeating itself, not fortune in the favor of FaZe, but for now, it'll be FaZe versus Season. If I'm FaZe right now, I'm channeling my inner Vex, my inner Tyler FPS. I mean, what they did in EMEA earlier today, just bullying through every single top team in Europe was insane. I want to see FaZe channel that same energy, just push these fights with aggression. It's a clean 3v3 that they have. Meanwhile, Optic Gaming trying to do exactly that as well. Good first shot's going to come through, but the Gibraltar Dome's going to hit right after. It's going to be Optic in an early fight, but it looks like, what team is that running Gibby? It's not Luminosity.
That's gonna, yeah, I'm actually really interested to see. I believe that's going to be Oxygen. Yeah, you're right. Oxygen Esports. My question is, are they going to be able to fully commit to this fight? Because it looks like Optic Gaming is going to disengage and maybe try a different approach. But look at that Trident parking inside the tunnel to really force whichever team is trying to come around on the other side for them. They're going to be met with an interesting time. But I feel like Optic Gaming and Tridents don't necessarily go hand in hand, because I think the last time I saw them near a Trident, they got sucked into a Horizons black hole.
Yeah, that's right. Interesting stuff. I'd love to show the overhead map if we can, because wow, I mean, look at the top right of your screen. 19 squads remain, and it is ring 3. I mean, the opposite of what we saw in World's Edge, where we saw a lot of early game fights. This is a crammed lobby right now. Every team inching for any bit of real estate that they possibly can get. FaZe going to take Lightning Rod, but we'll take a look here at that map if we can in a moment. Right now, FaZe is still in zone, in Lightning Rod, crafting up, just hoping for some rotation. They already used their Valk-ult, I think. A really, really, really tight end game here, Tiff.
Yeah, and I think that would be really critical. You can see the mini map kind of zoomed in on your left-hand side.
On the map. That's how far up they are.
Yeah, you really don't. You see Furia barely, and I believe Luminosity just on the right side of Furia, making their rotation into the ring, where Furia will be lying, waiting to kind of basically shut them down, because Furia is looking to be incredibly dominating here. And you got Karasuno still holding down the top of Thunderwatch. That could be really great for them to go the long haul. But the fact that HEC, or Heck in the term, is just on the south side of Thunderwatch, utilizing that rock for cover, they're able to show presence because they usually throw Watson into their legend composition. But Optic Gaming electing to go out into the ring for their rotation.
Yeah, Optic going to be given a wide rotation, and guess what, Vic? They're going to, or Tiff, sorry, they're going to find the tripods. Please cast with Vic. They're going to find the tripods on the opposite side of that rock, and I don't think the tripods are going to have any idea. So they need to have their head in a swivel. They need to catch this. Otherwise, a 3-2-1 is incoming, and they'll get themselves a beam in a first knock. Interesting stuff for Optic. Meanwhile, well, I think you called it, Tiffany. You said, I've seen this zone pull up here in this rock where E8 is, and that's where it seems to be pulling. It's pulling on the very north side. TSN's going to be hitting a Valk-ult as well. Noct goes down early. Gent and co, we're ready for it. And that's going to be, see you later, sayonara for Noct at least. Will Optic, the rest of them survive.
Gent finding a nice down on to dupe with that arc star. This is what Tripods needs. I feel like they always find a really great fight that may just be handed to them. Unfortunate for Optic Gaming. I just feel like it's not the team of Optic Gaming that we're used to seeing. So I'd be interested to see kind of what their thoughts are and how they've been approaching, because sometimes you hear the listen-ins and it just doesn't feel like the team that we're used to hearing. But Tripod sitting at 9th overall right now. Jumping on over to Karasino, you got Fury on the Catalyst, and I'd be interested to see kind of how it pays off in the end game. Will they be able to pull off something like we saw in Aurora early on in EMEA, just holding down the fort, punishing people with the wingman and the 30-30.
Yep. You know, TSM took that late rotation. Here come VR Demons fighting on the north side of the map. This is a fight against Sentinels. Aiden off to a good start. They got the reses after Tripods, or actually FaZe took them down earlier. Aiden left last alive in a 1v. Wants the shield swap, not going to get it. VR Demons going to be taken out to the hands of Sentinels. And here's the Ash we were talking about. Oh my god, the beams from Senox. They're going to third party, and they will take out FaZe and Season eliminated. Sentinels, last team alive.
Hey, I like this play from Sentinels, and you can see right there utilizing that phase breach to go back up to the top. It's still in the zone, and this gives them some nice LOS on all of the teams that are going to be chilling into Thunderwatch, so you can really keep farming those Evo shields. And check that out, you got Tech coming in clutch, sharing the wealth. Here, you get a bat, you get a bat, you get a bat. We just want to make sure that everyone is kitted out and ready to go. But I like this play for them. That was a well-needed fight to find some success. Now they just got to keep doubling down. And speaking of doubling down, 100 Thieves taking out Space Station.
That's right. A couple other teams nearby. Tripod's going to enter the fight, and Tripods will take them out. All three members of Tripod still alive right now. First attempt in the middle of their map, right close left. Look at the beams from Gent. He's playing insanely right now. Almost a K damage for Gentrifying. He'll get some early damage, but it's not going to be enough for a knock. But the Tripods actually use that Valk ult to go all the way to the east side of the map. Third party, and to get all this loot now. This is big for them, but they have a long way to go. This will be a tough rotation, a brutal rotation. They're going to have to work their way up this hill where you predicted the zone to be potentially finishing. But look, I would love to jump into a listen and hear exactly how they are going to tackle this rotate. Let's jump into a listen with the Tripods.
Got one. Flash, 60 flash as well.
I'm trying to look, man. I can't.
He's behind the left, though.
You're right, G. All right, we should work our right, or we should try to go kills and just die. I mean, I don't know.
No. We look for right.
Okay.
Let me look for nades and Kusha real quick.
I'm gonna start looking left again. I might be able to kill something over here.
This team's walking up. We can just follow him. We can follow him.
On the right?
Yes, come on. Yes.
All right, go.
They're walking up. They're walking up. We might have free back shots if we do it together.
It's just YouTuber now. I'm coming up, though. They're fighting on our left as well.
These, be careful. I think they're coming back down, maybe. Yeah, they're coming back down to hold.
They're out. That's this rock.
Yeah, that rock.
That's all three. I'm screwing up, maybe, yeah?
Give me a sec. I'm gonna have my own 3%. I'm gonna queue up and throw my ult.
Right.
I'm queuing up and throw my ult.
No.
I'm ulting that right.
Okay, I'm gonna bat. I have to bat.
You guys have to heal.
We have to watch it back.
We can just turn and hold if you want. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, they're still in the middle. He's trying to Valk. I hit the Valk. I don't know. I don't want to get too harsh like him.
No, 80%.
Alright.
This guy's gonna Valk right here.
We need them to Valk ult.
No, they're working right.
Yeah, alright. Working right then. We need to kill this team in front of us.
Alright, heard you.
They're up here. Easy shot.
Okay, I'm batting.
I'm moving.
100. 180. Red ping. One gun knocked.
Scan.
Yeah,
there you go. It's a good scan.
Yep.
I'm on you, Deeds.
Yo, Horizon in front of me. Horizon 130 knock.
Okay. Wait. Don't die. I'm on you. You have armor swap on me. Armor swap to me, Deeds.
I'm trying down.
Just call up.
We're safe. Don't worry. You're good. Just crawl.
Wait, res me. I can't.
Go for it.
See, I can't crawl.
Are you in? You're in. I'm fine resing.
No. I'm going back.
batting.
Maybe.
I can't.
Just wait. Just play it. Plan me. G, plan me.
I am.
Okay.
That's right.
Bro, I have mobile. It's fine.
Wait, on.
Yes,
And just in time as Tripods is getting sent on, Nick's going to go down. Gent the last up. They will be taken out in 9th place. Couple kill points for them, but Furia takes them out. A solid rotation. A really good call from Nick to kind of walk up behind them, but ultimately we said it was going to be a different rotation, and that came to fruition.
Indeed, but this is where it's all going to be culminating. We're pulling to the north side of Thunderwatch, so all of the teams that have made their way into the building thus far are going to find a lot of success here. Meanwhile, Furia on that low ground, trying to engage in a fight, I believe, with TSM, and it's just not going to pan out in their favor as HEC is going to be the thorn in their back. Now, HEC going for a good bit of stabilization here. You see enemy getting that res off right there. Does have the ability to utilize that knockdown shield, so enemy gonna spawn back in with 50 health, 70 health, 50 shields, so good for them. Love that reset for them. And now the question is, how are you going to break in to the Thunderwatch area with a Kraber looming down the sights on TSM?
Yeah, that'll help them, as this is one of the most brutal zones and finishes in all of Apex, especially in these competitive lobbies. I mean, the most steep hill that we have in any map. It's a difficult rotation, but HEC was able to make it out alive. Meanwhile, Luminosity still alive. They found their way in as well. There's 6 teams all within Thunderwatch right now. TSM on low ground and in zone. I don't think any Newcastle teams. So the last few times we've seen these zones, we've seen teams that like to run Newcastle, like Team Liquid, like 100 Thieves, find Complexity, find success and win them. No Newcastle teams in this lobby. They'll be HEC taking high ground though.
Yeah, this is going to be really interesting because we remember Sentinels, right? They dropped down from that wall, took a fight, and then went back up. So I feel like they're lying in wait for that ring and trying to just bide their time before dropping in and letting all of these teams inside of Thunderwatch collapse upon one another. And the positioning that Luminosity has taken just on the upside of this building gives them a little bit of a line of sight to go ahead and punish the team that's trying to put up all these Watson fences, just really kind of shutting them down. But Sentinels, they're going to actually be the demise of Karasuno that was holding the top of Thunderwatch. Yep. They utilized the height that they were holding, dropped down onto them, and just decimated them.
Yeah, Sentinels just fully sent overall on the Karasuno team. Got those kill points. 6 squads now remain. Oxygen, Sentinels, Luminosity, TSM, the Guard still in it, and HEC. So 2 teams rocking crypto. We got Niesel on Bloodhound here. Bloodhound Bangalore team comp. They find themselves in a 3v3 fight. Good damage is going to be initiated here from Yanya, formerly known as Ganjamen. We'll see if they decide to push up. No, they won't take off that damage. They're going to chill for now. But HEC is in the top right of this zone. You got to think they have the win condition and they're in God spot.
Yeah, if they play it correctly, they do have a Watson in their legend composition. But meanwhile, Luminosity full sending on Oxygen Esports right now. Yanya trying to take height, get a good line of sight, and just lights up that player from the back, doing what they need to do, swapping on over to that 30 for some extra damage. But here comes the EMP, so now they're going to get full sent on by the Guard.
Yeah, and you knew whichever team fought first was going to get third party. This is exactly right. That's why they were hesitant to take that fight, but ultimately they finally had to. Here we go. Keon and Co are going to take out all members of LG. Yazul goes down first. Last alive. Well, it's going to be Jaguars. He gets taken out as well as Yanya. So the Guard survives this fight. But here comes the additional third party. It's going to be Sentinels, who's actually still alive. They were on low ground. They took out one team just moments ago. And Tech's going to come through with the Mastiff and knock 2.
I cannot believe what I am witnessing. Tech right there on the crypto coming in clutch. It was EMP after EMP, and it's just a war of attrition at this point. We have 4 squads remaining here in match number 4, and now Sentinels have to come out of this building, but I believe one member of the Guard was able to make it out alive. So we do have a Master Splinter Rat in the form of Rambo. You know, luxurious hair, gotta comb it back and begin the rat ability. Oh, man.
Uncharacteristically, Crook missing a couple shots with the Kraber. Still has 6 to his name. TSM's literally just been hiding behind this pillar while all this is happening. The Guard, last rat going to get taken out. Reps is going to go down. 3 squads remain. You got to think TSM is in the worst position here. It's Sentinels and HEC best poised to win this with HEC on high.
Hey, and they need this friendly reminder. They are a free agent, the former team known as Atlanta Premier, and you've got Crook, an absolute slayer in his own right with that Kraber in hand. Hill, the IGL, nestled behind that fence. You've got the Jenny up, you've got the fences, and they can really take control of this situation. But the question is, will Sentinels or will TSM come out on top, or is it going to be HEC?
Yeah, no, it's HEC for free, essentially. Nicely played from them. They rotate earlier. They're the first team there, and HEC is going to do it here in game number 4. A massive game, an important game for them because they were in the top 5 in overall standings, and they have not been performing as well as they did the first 2 weeks of Pro League. Well, they perform here. Game number 4 is in the hands of HEC over the likes of TSM and Sentinels. Vicky, I want to bring you back to the conversation. We'd love to get your thoughts here in that late game.
HEC rotated beautifully. Let's not forget they land south of Storm Point by Shipfall. So for them to actually rotate all around from low to high ground, which obviously the Skyward Dive doesn't cover as much ground, into holding that spot that we've seen TSM hold before in prior Apex Pro League days is a beautiful look for them because they had the game-winning spot right there at the very end.
Yeah, but it didn't start off with the game-winning spot. If you remember correctly, it seemed like E8, HEC, Esports Arena, a lot of teams thought the zone was going to pull to the south of Thunderwatch, which is a zone that we're typically familiar with. And HEC was kind of in a bit of a scuffle with Esports Arena's tripods, but they made that elective decision to push into Thunderwatch, fight their way across and rotate to the top right-hand side of the ring. And I feel like that was the game-winning decision for HEC.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, keep in mind, they were one of those teams that were working their way up that brutal rotation we talked about, but they're the last remaining team, and the fact that they were able to survive just goes to show, again, the theme of the day. Edge fighting teams can find success and really are truly strong right now in terms of meta. And actually, they just completely skirted. They said, let's just ignore this fight in Thunderwatch. There's a lot of madness going on. We'll just sneak our way into Godspot and win this game. And every other team was just so focused and so stuck in that Thunderwatch fight, so kind of tunnel vision in that Thunderwatch fight, the HEC was able to steal it from under their nose, Vicky.
Yeah, it's always nice to see squads like HEC just recognize the situation with all the fighting that was going down in Thunderwatch and calling it quits, prioritizing their positioning instead. And they could do that when no other squad is trying to gear down on them, because they have the ability with other teams fighting underneath inside of these buildings to just have the free rotation to actually just get out of that entirely sticky situation.
I feel like you've got to give it up to the IGLs of the day, and that's going to be Hill for HEC. Sometimes they get all the falling. If you make a bad choice, it goes straight to the IGL to take that fall, and or you can, deflect a little bit. But that when you make those right calls and you disengage from a fight and it nets into that game win, that's got to feel good as an IGL, because to be fair, you've got to take into account for the fact you have to know where all the teams are in that end game, who is where, how you're going to set yourself up for success. And I mean, well done, Hill. It paid off.
And I gotta agree with that. I mean, he made all the right calls there. That was an IGL led in one game. The team right there in this game, at least, lived and died by Hill's calls. I mean, they decide to third party the tripods and E8 fight at the perfect time. They pick up the final kill points. They survive that fight, and then they are able to rotate and avoid the fight at Thunderwatch, listen to his call, and take Godspot. Really good calls across the board from Hill, the IGL, and one of those underrated IGLs in North America.
Hey, we always love those IGL talks. Hey, who's the top 10 IGLs? But hey, let's go ahead and look at the match highlights from map number 4. Vicky, I'd be curious to hear, what are some of your favorite moments that you got to witness from map number 4?
Aside from the very end right there, I would like to highlight that HEC was probably, I think, number 15 in the overall leaderboards before that game alone. So a lot of the action happening on the edge of the circle kind of solidifies what Follow has been saying for quite some time. It's these edge fighting squads are able to get the KP that they need while also trying to get the positioning that they also really desperately want. Sentinels at the very end right there, getting a top 3 finish. I believe getting second place at the very end despite dropping right between TSM and HEC. Love to see Sentinels putting themselves still on the board, because like we highlighted with Furia, this is another team that desperately needs to perform today.
A lot of teams that desperately need to perform, but we got a good listen in from the tripods to kind of hear their thoughts on that rotation into the south side of the ring. And E8 was one of the teams that fell at the hand of a lot of these teams pushing their way up into Thunderwatch, and some good moments. And I thought for a second they had it there, but the moment Deeds went down, it was kind of all downhill from there.
Yeah, that's a good point. I want to talk about that. E8, a couple of things to learn here from that push. E8 tried just sneaking their way up that hill, but you can't do so if you have not cleared your back. You have to clear every other team behind you. Otherwise, what happened to E8, you're going to get sandwiched. Have it. And then same thing for tripods. They did a good job following E8. That's the right call, but they need to equally focus and turn around and clear their back. Take out HEC, take out First Attempt, take out, I think it was Esports Arena, whatever other teams are there. And because they didn't, well, same thing happened to them. They ended up going through the same situation. They just put E8 in. They got sandwiched. So as you're pushing up, turn, fight your back, and the most important priority there is clearing your back. Neither E8 or tripods were able to do that, and HEC ended up on top. And here's the late game moment where TSM got taken out in third, and Sentinels ultimately not able to clutch up against a fully healed and well-positioned HEC squad. They take the dub.
Take the dub, and that's what we like to see. I know, formerly known as Atlanta Premier, they found some success on their match day number 1, and finally finding themselves another map win here in day number 6. HEC with 21 points after that wonderful victory. But let's go ahead and talk about it. Sentinels in second, Vicky, with 17 points.
They definitely needed that right here. I believe before that game, Sentinels was sitting 18th in the overall leaderboards, which is not what you want when you need all the points that you could possibly get. TSM were also in that second place, or I believe actually they were in top 10, but getting a third place finish is definitely going to allow them to boost up their confidence, because they're a very momentum-based team when it comes to the last 2 games on Stormpoint.
go ahead and jump on over to page number 2 and see the likes of the teams that couldn't get into the top 10. It's going to be E8. And at first, I thought they were going to find a lot of success, but John had some really good points there throughout. They just couldn't make it happen. So you always got to watch your 6. And then my team to watch, Season in 17th place, Space Station, just coming off a map 3 victory, not able to find any points here. But let's go ahead and look and see just how this map affected those series results. After 4 games, I'm excited to see that the Guard is still on top this time, really extending that lead over second place now with 55 points.
Yeah, dominant showing from the Guard so far. I mean, they're answering any question people had. Are they the real deal? Yes, they are. If this does not answer your question, I don't know what does. RKN, Rambo, and Kian are the real deal. They're performing so well week in and week out. They were on top of the Pro League at one point, looking to take that spot back is how I finished the last Pro League day. Well, they're responding to the first place finish so far. They got to finish out these last 2 games, but easily the most consistent team, without a doubt. Consistent top 4 finishes from them, Tiff.
Hey, a lot of people were asking, can the Guard double down and do it again? And it seems like they're finding a lot of success, but that was 4 matches down. We only have 2 to go. So go grab some water, hydrate up. We're going to cut to a quick break, and when we come back, more action.
WD Black is the official storage partner of the Apex Legends Global Series.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the ALGS North American Pro League broadcast. I'm Spider Tiff, and that was match number 4 that just had the Guard come out on top. But let's go ahead, bring back Fallout and Vicky Kitty so we can chat some more about it, because honestly, I'm still not over the fact that the Guard is finding so much success here today, led by the IGL, of course, of RKN. It just seems like a lot of these games are really falling in their favor today, John.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not just falling in their favor. It's not happenstance. It's the fact that they're running this crypto comp to perfection. They're playing so well. And we talked about it, I think it was in game 2 or game 3, Tiff, when we were casting perhaps. But the fact that you run crypto, the goal is to eliminate RNG, to eliminate randomness with as much information as you can. And that's why they're finding so much consistent success. I mean, playing crypto, their play style is allowing them to consistently make it to late games. It's just the same recipe. Everyone knows what they're doing. It's almost like, in the 90s Bulls. Everyone knows their game plan. Get the ball to Jordan, get the ball to Pippen. Same exact thing. RKN and this team are going to early rotate. They're going to find a good position. They're going to use crypto to their success, EMP and ult when they need to, and then push when it is the right time. And that's what the recipe for success is. Everyone in the whole game knows it, but no one can stop it, Vicky.
Yeah, what I really like to highlight is the swap off of Rambo not being on the Watson and instead being on the Valkyrie has enabled Rambo to play as aggressively as he wants with the repositioning abilities that Valkyrie provides. Rambo's been fragging out today, and I feel like that really helps enable the rest of the Guard to rally right next to him. So I think the Guard, even at the very beginning on World's Edge, have been able to build up so much confidence, not only predicting these circles amazingly with their positioning, working into their team comp with the Crypto and Watson, but also in terms of their team winning fight capabilities.
And I mean, they're really just carrying that momentum from that tournament win yesterday in ESAs. I mean, they came out on top and they're just like, you know what? We're not stopping. We are on a roll and we want to keep winning because honestly, let's be real, as a competitive person myself, winning just feels good. And when you're on the top of your game, something that I always like to take into advance is when you're in sports, you're only as good as your last performance. And I mean, that was just yesterday on the top, but let's go ahead and run it back. We've got some really intense clips of that final circle. And honestly, I'd love to see it again.
Yeah, I want to walk through it here. So here's the moment in Thunderwatch where all these teams, it was just a cluster, and all these teams were basically fighting each other, eliminating each other, while HEC, TSM, and Sentinels were just laughing and enjoying themselves a top 3 guaranteed finish. This is where Luminosity pushed. They had no other option. It's not like they played it wrong, but that's why it was so important for HEC to rotate early. Luminosity does what they can. The guard comes through and is able to flank and finish in 4th overall with a rat finish, but they get a couple kill points as well. Those kill points plus the 4th place finish get them the points that they need to stay on top overall. And as is all happening, Vicky, it's HEC in the top right of the zone, and with with complete control of their destiny in this game.
Yeah, but it's third party after third party. I believe it was the Sentinels that decided to move in at the proper time. They dropped down from the high ground and they were able to clean up the rest of the guard that wanted to go in for their own third party inside of these buildings. This is the risk. We also saw the EMPs just fly off and go off like fireworks here.
And it was the crypto info from Tech that gave them the insight as to when they should push this fight. I mean, it's no surprise that 3 of the top 4 teams in this circle and in this endgame are crypto teams. It's the guard, it's HEC, and it's Sentinels. The fact that they can make it to late game, they get the information that they need, and then TSM just hiding underneath on low ground. A couple missed shots here from Crook, but it didn't matter as Tiff, they were able to come out on top.
Look, I was just hyping up the fact that the Rambo was the rat for the guard, and the next thing I know, Crook just cocks back the Kraber and just lets one fly, and I was like, well, all right, I tried to hype him up right there. But I love this positioning here on the fence line for HEC, and I feel like it was only made possible by the fact that they have Watson in that legend composition. Just even utilizing the Kraber and the car SMG through the crevices in the fence. I mean, this could not have been better positioning and working well for their legend composition, John.
Yeah, and what's so interesting is, again, they played it so well, HEC, and actually contrast to how BR Demons played that last World's Edge where they dropped unnecessarily. HEC didn't put themselves in an unnecessarily bad spot. They waited for other teams to fight and just chilled, and that's all you have to do in those late game situations and scenarios. Again, HEC played it well. BR Demons in game 3, not to beat a dead horse or hamper on this, would have liked to see them just sit on top of those cylinders and high ground while all the teams are fighting on low ground. When you are in God spot, sometimes the best thing to do is nothing. Just relax, just chill, let those other teams fight, and secure yourself a first place finish, Vicky.
Yeah, the positioning is always key, but it's not just that, it's the timing, which is what you've been highlighting a lot tonight, with the crypto drones giving you the information necessary for Sentinels in that example to be able to push in onto a fight, onto the guard to clean up what was remaining of the rest of the guard. HEC, yeah, we saw those missed Kraber shots, it's all okay. It's the positioning that allowed them to still stay put in the pressure through the fence lines like what Tiffany was mentioning before. But HEC, again, had to make a pretty big rotate from Shipfall. Same thing could be said about the guard. They had to rotate through Jurassic Park, and there's a lot of squads that they have to come across to get through the choke point that would lead them into Thunderwatch.
A lot of these teams making these long rotations throughout the maps, finding so much success. I know Onset and Gaskin really like to harp on the fact that if a zone pulls nearby to your drop spot POA, you typically find success, but I feel like it's been a little bit different here today. It started with EMEA being a little bit different and some teams finding some good success there, and it's carrying on into the North American broadcast, and honestly, I'm pretty excited with it all, but congrats to the guard finding a lot of success and coming onto the top of the leaderboard. But guys, it is time. We have 2 matches left here today in the North American broadcast, so I'm gonna let you guys take this one. Good luck, Fallout. Good luck, Vicky. Send it.
Thanks so much, Tiff. And Tiff is right. Fallout Vicky Kitty here for game number 5. 2 more games left. That's it. It all comes down to the last and final 2 games. And again, we talk about it, the best series that we get to watch in Pro League are the ones where you go into game 5 and you have no idea who's going to win. And that's the case right now. The Guard's in first by a decent margin, but really the top 10 teams are all close and in contention with 2 big games here for also potentially still winning.
Yeah, it really takes Furia to frag out the way that they have, because they're a very kill-heavy team, to then also get the placement points necessary in the end game to put the Guard in a bit of a threatening position where they may not take first place. Furia are right behind them with 41 points, while the Guard is sitting with 55 points. Still 2 games left to go, and you know, Fallout, how much I absolutely love these Game 5 situations, because this is what determines some of these squads in terms of changing up their game pace, if they want to play for KP, if they want to sit pretty and patiently inside final circle positioning. It sets up the pace for how some of these teams want to play.
Yeah, that's right. Game 5. Call it the Devil's game. Why? Because, well, it's actually Game 5 that's in a lot of ways more important than Game 6. The momentum, what you can gain in Game 5 is actually more important for teams like FaZe. Well, they're going to drop down Beast, and they're going to get a hot zone here. They needed that. They need a huge Game 5 right now to stay in contention, to stay relevant. So it all comes down to this game more than any other. We'll see if FaZe can do it with the extra loot that they'll get. But we're going to kick things off with HEC dropping Shipfall as they're winners from game number 4.
Games I'm surprised to be seeing at the very end of the leaderboards at the moment as we go into this game number 5, Optic Gaming, E8.
Yep.
Tiff was mentioning how these final circles that pull into your POI benefit you. E8, they land Thunderwatch. They gave that POI up when they decided to rotate forward. They even had Beacon in their favor, but instead of holding that spot, they wanted to get ahead of themselves, maybe contest any of the other squads that were by Stormcaster, like Karasuno, but now we get to see HEC, the winners of our previous game, already make that rotation off the Trident, get in the whip. You know where we're going. Where's my Uber driver taking me after pulling up the replicator real quick? Sometimes that's what you need to get all the extra loot that you want to work with in the early game.
My Hills ghost riding the whip right there. They're going to rotate through, get their crafter, get all the loot that they need, and then hit an early rotation if they can. Interested to see how HCC plays this. Again, it's really interesting. They're a crypto team, so typically the name of the game and the recipe for success is early rotate and get positioning, like we've talked about the guard. We've already said that time and time again. But they played a fairly decent edge game, kind of a hybrid. They were, fairly edge, but somewhat in the middle, rotated fairly quickly. They're going to try and do the same exact thing here. I'm curious to see how they decide to play this. But you highlight a couple things that are important. Optic in 18th place right now with 8 points. That's the last thing we expected. We said coming into today, they've been trending upwards. 11th place in their first Pro League day, then 8th. And then a respectable 5th. You thought maybe this would be the one that they finally break through and win, but the opposite has been true. 18th place, they need a pop-off game here. They got to play more aggressive. They got to get some kills. Well, they'll be rotating from the mill. This is a pretty favorable zone for them, so we'll see if they can perform.
Yeah, where C9 is overlooking here on the top of Down Beast. You highlight Optic, and a pop-off day today would have meant that they could have potentially qualified for LAN. They have now limited time and days to really work into that for their favor because they need as many points as possible. They're currently sitting in the overall leaderboards in 13th place before today, and so you want to be in that top 10 spot, rather top 9 before that finals, that final win that puts that 10th team into the LAN to basically solidify your place in a very good position to play in LAN.
Yeah, that's a good point. Team Liquid, TSM, Complexity, Dark Zero, Luminosity Gaming, NRG, Space Station, Guard, 100 Thieves, Optic Gaming, G2, CLG, FaZe, Cloud9, Sentinels, Furia. That's 16 teams. All of those teams are teams that you'd expect to be at the championships, but the reality is there's only 10 spots from North America, and it's going to be so crazy to think that some of these squads won't make it. That's just the reality, and the fact that it might be Optic, the green wall, not at the playoffs, is just crazy to think about, but it's just how intense and how competitive this region truly is. And it's, a little bit interesting to see teams like Dark Zero enter this region. If they don't qualify, that's insane. They would have had a free qualification essentially because they dominated APAC South. If they do qualify, it's just so darn impressive. That's just the reality of where things are at.
Guard getting hit by the crypto EMP, but it's fine. They got a crypto themselves, and if they really wanted to go for an EMP, they could do exactly the same thing to waiver off any sort of pressure from any of the squads that are neighboring them here in Down Beast. This is a nice call because there's so many squads that have already made the rotation into this area alone. The Guard doing exactly what they've been doing throughout the rest of the day here in NA. They're predicting where the circle is going to be pulling, and with their team comp, it's going to be playing into exactly what their game plan is. Sit pretty, sit inside these buildings, set up those Watson fences and the perimeter, and prevent themselves from getting pressured out by any of the other squads, like this squad right here, TSM, playing on the outskirts of Down Beast. This is going to put them in the line of sight of 3 other squads in this area.
Yeah, one thing I'd love to see, and one thing that's important to note, again, viewers that are maybe newer to watching Apex or not necessarily as competitive might not kind of recognize that depending on the end zone, teams will play differently. But this zone right here that's pulling in the northwest is super, super important to rotate early to gain that, again, that real estate, the positioning, the buildings that are going to give yourself success. The Guard dropped Jurassic Park, central map. It was one of the first teams to rotate. TSM at the wall is already here. Optic already here. All these teams have rotated super, super quick because this zone is a very, very crucial early game rotate. Get yourself as good a positioning as you can and play for a late game. But one team that's done it well, I got to keep highlighting them. It's the Guard. The fact that they're able to get a really good position with their team comp of Crypto, Watson, something tells me we'll see them in late game yet again here. Guard potentially going to go back to back with top 5 finishes.
Absolutely. Unless a squad tries to grief them, they would inevitably grief themselves with the positioning that C9 hold on top of down Bs. TSM playing on the low ground. I know Sentinels is in the area. FaZe is also going to be able to rotate away from North Pad to look at a lot of the action. As we tune into Tripods right now, playing a lot more slower here. They're playing on the outskirts of a lot of the mess that we're seeing happen over by the down Bs area. They're actually trying to catch this squad that's rotating with the Trident off guard.
Oh, they're gonna get the flash. Don't get the knock, but they break 3 shields. Almost enough damage, and they probably heard that Trident coming from far away. They know the luminosity. That's kind of the name of their game, is grab the Trident and rotate. So they actually intentionally tried catching them off guard. They were all secretly and quietly sitting on that hill, and almost just stole a free 3 kill points in a game end for luminosity that the LG escapes.
Luminosity dipped so quick off that Trident, said, all right, we already rotated into the next circle. Now is our time to try to circle keep that squad that was trying to pressure us out with the 30-30s. You saw that Tripods also had some arc stars to their name. Imagine if they were able to cut off that Trident rotation, just stop it exactly in where its tracks are. Tripods with the Skyward Dive now know that they could get circle kept by the team that they were shooting at. They made a lot of noise. So with the Skyward Dive, they're looking to get closer into that next circle to take this fight.
Tripod's gonna work over to Barometer, which means they can continue to craft up. They'll be really, really well kitted for late game. All 3 purple shields for them. They drop antenna, so they get a lot of good loot. You know, I can't remember. I think antenna's a high loot drop spot. Perhaps a medium loot, but nonetheless, they're leaving with a really, really good kit. Right now, Luminosity right next to them. That'll be a continued 3v3. Karasuna is nearby. They're actually in Jurassic Park currently, leveling up their Evo shields, fighting some Prowlers. So we'll see if Karasuna decides to enter this fight. If Tripods will fight Luminosity, should be interesting. Let's jump on over to FaZe. Keep an eye on them. What's interesting about FaZe is they actually dropped down Beast. So they had their pick of any position that they wanted. But despite that, decided to actually work the outskirts of down Beast and take this building instead.
Ooh, look at that. It strikes fear in my heart seeing Albert Lately rocking the gold Devo. You know that turbocharger will go absolutely crazy, and that's a scary weapon to hold in your favor when it comes to these close quarter fights. And with the squad neighboring right next door to them, they definitely got to watch out with that weapon in Albert Lately's hands.
Yeah, he can melt with that thing. That's oxygen right there in the bunker. FaZe could take that fight, and likely, actually, they probably don't know it. They could probably take it without getting third party. I mean, the guard is the closest team to them, and they ain't leaving that spot. They're chilling. No way the guard's moving. But again, they don't have that intel. They don't necessarily know what we know, so instead they probably won't take that fight. Meanwhile, Luminosity will catch on and keep a close eye on this fight. Looks like they'll say, yeah, it's not worth it. Let's just leave against Tripods. Tripods have crafted already, and both teams will survive. The BR Demons working their way out from Cenote Cave. So everyone knows, all of our edge teams right now, it's Furia, Space Station on the northeast side of the map. 100 Thieves playing Central Map. Karasuno right next to 100 Thieves Central Map. Luminosity, Tripods, and BR Demons coming from the south.
Love how you get to highlight that. With Luminosity also backing away off of a Barometer and even trying to contest Tripods, you know that 30-30 is ringing through that south part of the map, and they don't want the opportunity for some of these edge squads to try to go in for a third party and circle keep them, and then that would inevitably pinch Luminosity with Tripods playing right behind them. So good call on them for the quick rotate. As we tune into Furia here in Cascade Falls, they're looking to craft up some extra stuff on the Replicator, and they are rocking the Bloodhound, so they have information on any squads that were here in the area.
Yeah, take a look. Watson and Panders have 0 damage done and red Evo shields. That goes to show that they've hit every single replicator on the rotate from Lightning Rod on the way to this zone. Again, that's the benefit of being an edge team. You get all the loot, you get really, really good equipment, and you could use that to your advantage. And right now, in the replicator is a extended heavy mag and an anvil receiver. So opportunity for a lot of flatline users or any car users to get themselves an extended heavy mag. They're going to be very, very well kitted, well positioned.
Love it, seeing some of our other squads here. Ooh, the bunker doors opening, swinging wide open for E8 to try to take some shots with the G7. This year, Tactical is going to narrowly miss Mercy, but he's going to back up. He gets the information for his team while his other teammates regroup with him.
That's right. Catching this action over in Checkpoint Esports Arena, first attempt, E8 Space Station, all nearby with Furia closing in from Cascade Falls. So a lot of teams are predicting a potential Checkpoint finish. Some teams, the majority of teams, Cloud9, Optic, Season, HEC, The Guard, TSM, FaZe, teams that are really good at predicting late game zones are predicting a down Beast finish, as the Tripods are going to take a Valkyrie as well. A lot of action happening right now. Checkpoint, the Mill, and over in down Beast.
And they're all happening on the edge of the circle. The space station having to go in from the low to high ground. This is where the Rolling Thunder comes into play from Frex. The smoke grenade as well to allow space station to have some makeshift cover in terms of just getting out of that squad's line of sight. They're going to be able to wrap around this rock, and E8 making a lot of noise means that it's the green light for Esports Arena to be pests with that charge rifle on the high ground.
Yeah, this is scary right now. You don't want to fight in checkpoint because there's 4 or 5 other teams that will instantly third party. An easily third partyable location is this jungle here towards checkpoint. Speaking of which, I'd also love to catch in on the action over towards Mill because we have Tripods, Luminosity, and BR Demon. So we'll try and catch both of these fights. I think all the teams in Down Beast are just chilling. Nothing's going to happen there. And shout out to our observers right now. They're catching all the right action in the right places. We got a big fight in checkpoint potentially about to ensue and a big fight in Mill going to take place between Tripods, BR Demons, and Luminosity. That's what's at stake here as we're watching Furia make the rotation and joining this checkpoint fight.
Yeah, rotating from the low ground like Space Station, they have the smoke grenades to work with, and they're just backing up in this situation. Let's jump into a listening from Furia to see what their next moves are as they back away from this fight.
Though. We don't have a lot of time for this.
Going down.
2 minutes. One of these teams has to. They're gonna move forward.
When I get smokes, we're gonna walk up left.
Okay, I'm down to take the SSG fight. Yeah.
There's a lot of Seer teams. We don't want to get third partied.
I'm walking up to Watson.
Yeah, come. We need to like shoot them. We need to bust through right here.
Tell me when you want scan. That building down low is in.
There's a Watson team. The SSG's probably in there.
I'm gonna scan now.
Target over there.
Yeah.
You need to scan if SSG's in the bottom building. I mean, I don't know where else they could be at.
Yeah, 14 seconds.
Well, there's someone in the show.
Yeah, they're here. There's a team in that left building.
Well, I don't know what we're supposed to do here.
We just have to fight this team on the building.
Just fight SSG then?
Yeah, what else are we gonna do? Can't really do much.
I don't know either. We have to just force inside.
And great listening, good insights here. They're going to full send, it looks like, on Space Station, but wanted to jump back to comms because, guess what? Big fights going down right now between Tripods, BR Demons, HEC over towards Mill. Meanwhile, Furia are going to push through on Space Station. A 3v3 fight here would potentially get third-partied as well. At the top right of your screen, we'll show LG Yanya joining the fight, taking out Deeds.
Absolutely huge right there, too. Really going down here for FaZe. That's going to be that squad that was holding on to the choke point between checkpoint into down B. With the circle still pulling towards the down B side. Furia want to try to finish this fight. The Rolling Thunder coming in. They're going to be able to move in after that scan. The Beast of the Hunt activated for this squad.
That's right, Space Station holding their ground here. We got a Bangalore versus a Bangalore. It's going to be an interesting one. But one team does have a Seer scan and intel. The other team has a Bloodhound scan and intel. That's Furia. These two teams in a pretty clean 3 versus 3 right now, Vicky. No other teams nearby on the minimap here, so it should be an opportunity to take this without getting third party.
Also, the Digi-Threat advantage is something else that we have to highlight here for Space Station. The heals are going to get cut off for Furia as his Watson now gets delayed for his medkit pop. He's now having to back away. They actually find exactly where he is. He's trying to reposition to pop the shield bat while Panders is by himself inside this building.
Yeah, that's right. Panda's going to heal back up with that shield bat. Here comes the black hole. Good damage. Look at the thermite ticking away. Oh my gosh, Zeratricky is making the difference right now. They have the damage done. They know it. Here comes the push. Stepping on the gas pedal. It is going to be Furia. They're all on full health. Can they capitalize before SSG heals up? No, SSG is going to heal back to full.
SSG now being able to reposition. Zera, if he didn't have to reload, he would have absolutely fried him through the window right there. Furia now is going to get back right back onto the high ground. Nice help from Zero, holding hands with Panders while his Watson had to restabilize. They get the first knock while E8 goes down and deleted off in your kill feeds currently right here, and Furia are looking to finish off this fight.
This is a textbook for how you want to play these 3v3 fights. Furia playing it so incredibly well, and they're doing a good job tag teaming. His Watson says, you're it, let me heal up, pops the Phoenix kit. They get the first knock, they reset. They say, we have numbers, we have a 3v2, everyone just chill and reset to full, and they'll use that to their advantage here. But guess what? Space Station's trying to make plays. Zeratrick is going to get knocked here. Watson takes out Frex. It's going to come down to Space Station being eliminated. No third party. Furia will survive.
They're safer right now, and they have the time to restabilize and go in for a reset here too. Zera was just a distraction, alright? They had to wrap around behind Space Station when they wanted to 2v1 Zera at the same time on the low ground. So Furia with a nice cleanup of that 3v3 fight.
Extended light back here. Level 3.
A nice shot from Furia. Super well played now. But now they have two options. They can rotate south through zone and have to fight against Luminosity, BR Demons, Karasuna, or they can take this fight against first attempt above them. So we'll keep a close eye on Furia, but right now taking a look at Sentinels. Early rotate, finding themselves in a pretty good spot. This is an interesting zone, and no, right now, no one is in the zone. Again, we have intel on this kind of mini-map to our side here, so not one team is in the next zone yet. It's going to be a brutal next rotation. As we switch on over to LG, they're going to clean wipe Karasuno very, very clean.
The LG coming out on top after that fight. Expect these squads to drop like flies. 13 squads left with FaZe meeting them right back in the lobby. Luminosity making their rotation right in the middle of the circle. Uncontested minus BR Demons, I believe, actually across the field from them. Little to no cover for Luminosity minus this bridge, but they're going to be able to wrap around and hug the rocks. They have to keep their eye on the squad behind them because if Furia decide to rotate and take a little bit of circle damage, they're going to be able to actually go right behind Luminosity and pinch them.
Yeah, I love that Luminosity just scanned their back to make sure they heard that fight going on to make sure they're not getting flanked. Pander's going to take out Enemigo. First attempt versus Furia. Furia has their own hit list here. We saw from Vexed and Mia. Looks like they're doing the same thing. They take out Space Station now in a big fight against First Attempt. This is it. This is what we're talking about. They got the first knock already on the top right of your screen. And here comes the rest. Pander's pushing up. TSM eliminated the top right of your screen as well. Furia clean wipes first attempt, but Sentinel's right around the corner. Sentinel's going to come and try and third party, but Furia is back to full health. They're going to keep rolling. They're going to keep stepping forward.
Oh, and because Pander's also got that knock with the Beast of the Hunt, it's actually extended long enough for him to get that scan out to Sentinels, who wanted to go in for a little cheeky play off that EMP, but mistiming right there has allowed Furia to try to get the advantage and try to get the one-up on Sentinels. But they're playing the opposite circle, playing behind their backs with no cover to work with.
Yeah, and Watson used up all of his Bangalore smokes right there, so didn't have it in the most important part, which was the rotation. He used it for the fight against First Attempt. Pander's going to get a knock. All up to Zera, Tricky, and Panders is a team of two. Scan comes through. They get the intel. Another team's going to help them. That's going to be huge. It's going to be the guard that comes in third-party Sentinels, keeping Furia alive for a moment. Pander's now literally going to just try and rat, finding a crevice, looking straight down, saying, please don't see me. I'm Bloodhound. I'm green. This grass is green. Camouflage.
Oh, that's not going to work out. Look at the guard. They're like, all right, good try. A for effort. You're gone. You're out of here. This is not a hide-and-seek tournament, all right? That's going to be somewhere else, and Furia gets deleted by the guard here as they clear up this side of the circle.
And you said it, the guard. We predicted them to be in top 5 again because they're early rotate, and they are. Here we go. Going to be top 4 after this fight. HEC versus BR Demons. Vayne, see you later. HEC survives. So back-to-back games from the guard and HEC again in the top 4. And surprise, surprise, 2 cryptos. Make it 3 cryptos remaining as Cloud9 is alive as well. The guard gonna have some crypto on crypto action as they'll take out HEC. They're gonna full send. And the guard is playing so well today, Vicky.
They're playing so great, and it's not just defensively, it's aggressively as well. And look who's on the high ground right here on top of Pride Rock. It's Luminosity. Come here. I am Mufasa, and Nizul is gonna be able to get some of that beamage with the G7 right here. But the 30-30 in the hands of Yanya with that squad playing right underneath them. This leaves 3 squads left in the lobby. We've got C9, Luminosity, and the guard.
I love how Luminosity's playing this so well. They're heading to swivel. They're turning out, keeping Cloud9 at bay below them, and then turning and getting damage cross map. Doing such a good job multitasking right now is Luminosity. Look at Yanya, this cheeky little spot on the far end of this rock. Little crevice, but not going to be damage he gets. He wanted to see if he could finish that thermite kill. He'll stay on top of this rock and of this position. 3 squads remain, Cloud9, LG, and the guard.
They have to give up this high ground, though. Looking at Luminosity, it's the guard that has the god spot in with the circle advantage in their favor. You can see the smoke grenades from Yaguatis. He's going to be able to put that down to get out of that line of sight while they close in the gap from rock to rock.
Similar to last game, the guard, you got to think, has the god spot because Luminosity and Cloud9 are going to be forced to fight here momentarily. So the guard just has to sit back, play patient, let them fight first, and head glitch. These rocks play with a lot of patience, and ultimately they should win this game. Again, that's a big should, because LG finds ways to pull things out of nowhere, Vicky.
You see the mobile respawn beacon also getting called in by the guard as some makeshift cover. They got the rock over in front of them, the truck to the right, the tree right ahead of them if they want to close in the gap, as well as the mobile respawn beacon for some makeshift cover. The guard have everything to work with. Meanwhile, between C9 and LG, aside from just the rock to their left that they're working off of, there's open ground to little to no cover to work with once that circle closes into their back. So the guard are just going to have free range over the 2 squads that are right in front of them.
What I'm curious about here, Vicky, is where's the zone going to be pulling? Nice shot by C9. They're going to try and keep themselves some distance because they know that the guard is just going to easily win this game if they don't. But they'll get taken out on the way there, and Yazul takes out Knocker. That's an early knock. Will they full send and get those 3 kill points and, you know, say, let's just take second place? No, they're going for first. Guess what? That full clean whip's going to come through. The guard gets the other 2, but Luminosity is not going to give the guard a chance to reset or loot. They push up wide left, and here we go. It's a game of arenas. 3 versus 3 for the win.
And Luminosity right now have the advantage to get the first crack onto Rambo. They're going to close in the gap, and the Rolling Thunder getting called in. It's going to get negated by the Watson ult too. You mentioned angles, and look at the way that Luminosity are playing spread out around each side of the rock. The Creeper Barrage manages to knock Rambo.
Aguadis is going to get the first knock on Rambo. Yanya gets the shield swap, and LG does not lose these fights. Keon, see you later. All of the guard eliminated as Luminosity is some way, somehow playing Edge, going to win again. Edge continues to shine today, Vicky, as Luminosity Gaming dominates here in game number 5.
Another win in favor for Luminosity. Let's not forget the action that they brought us in game number 1 when they won their first game of World's Edge, and they got to take another dub on Storm Point, taking game number 5.
Gotta be kidding me. Luminosity has been looking so incredibly strong all tournament, all series long, and really throughout the entirety of Pro League. This team, I question the decision. They replace Enemigo. Why do you do that? But look, at the end of the day, we as analysts, we as commentators can, you know, guess. We can make some bold statements and we can assume, but we don't know what's going on internally. At the end of the day, they had confidence in Jaguars, his ability to come and make an impact, and he has had such an impact on this team. Ever since they've picked him up, LG went from being a team with high ceiling and a lot of potential to a top 3 team in North America consistently week over week.
Yeah, I love seeing Luminosity stay as consistent as they have been because I love their competitive mindset. I got to talk to them a lot during the Rewire Fest, like I mentioned before, and they were so excited for the Pro League, and you could see exactly why. In this group alone, they were topping the overall leaderboards. They felt extremely confident, and taking another dub is going to skyrocket them in the group standings.
Yeah, it'll be huge. I'm excited to take a look at the standings. We're, of course, getting the highlights ready for you as well, but as that is getting baked and prepared, a little discussion, Vicky. You know, we like to make some hot takes here and have some good discussions. Top 3 teams in North America right now. Want to hear your thoughts. Top 3 teams based on what you're seeing today and obviously in general.
Well, not excluding this group alone, obviously Team Liquid has to be in that realm of discussion. TSM obviously is in that top 3 spot, but today they have not been performing to the degree that I was expecting. So I've got to say, Team Liquid, Luminosity Gaming to me has also being able to stay on top. Complexity have had their standout moments. I must highlight that. But if I were to choose between TSM and Complexity, I still would have to put TSM on top.
You're missing one big team that we always miss somehow. The Guard. I mean, the Guard has shown that they are a top team with consistent placements. I think the top 3 right now is the Guard, Luminosity, and Team Liquid. I mean, I agree with you. We're sharing a brain on those 2. The Guard's been playing so well. You got to give credit where credit's due. And at the end of the day, I never thought I'd say a top 3 without NRG or TSM in it going into the Pro League, or maybe even Furia. But that's just the reality. Other teams have stepped up big time. But taking a look at the highlights here, Furia had some really great moments, got some kill points as well. That certainly helped him, Vicky.
Yeah, I need to see the Guard way more consistent. Yeah, they're having their pop-off days like they had in day number 2, but remember that day number 3, they were in 6. I need to see more of that consistency because teams like TSM, despite also having their bad days, still get way better results on the days that they do end up popping off. So that's why, you know, obviously the Guard has to be 100% an honorable mention. And with days like this, if they keep it going, I mean, especially with the way that they've been reading these circles and making some adjustments with Rambo being on Valk, they're definitely going to be in that contender top 3 spot for NA.
You just hung over to the cross for 6th place? Are you kidding me? No, I'm just kidding. I get where you're coming.
It's the results. The results speak for themselves, Fallout.
Yeah, all right. 6th place is a good result. I'm just saying. Fury here in this moment, pushing wide. In the Guard right now in this late game, well poised. I mean, BR Demons lost 1 early. This is the fight between Sentinels. They actually decided to push through and take out a couple teams, and they got flanked by Furia, but ultimately it was the Guard that came through, was able to third party and clean up all of these kills. I mean, not only did the Guard get 2nd place there, but they got a lot of kill points along the way. So a really big game for them. But ultimately, the story here is Luminosity Gaming playing Edge to perfection, playing that Bangalore Bloodhound team comp to perfection, and edging their way right in to a top 1 finish, a dominant 3v3 final fight. They barely even took a scratch.
Yeah, let's not forget that the Guard were holding the best spot to try to contest Luminosity, forcing Luminosity to go through the open ground. But this is where the Bangalore came in clutch. The Rolling Thunder getting the knock onto Rambo already set Luminosity in the best position in a 2v3 situation with even more health to work with.
I want to point out one small thing right there. Niazul gets the damage, drops off that rock, and chills. Like, there's a concept of Apex that says you did enough. You did 61 damage, let your teammates finish up. And Luminosity's so good in those moments in those fights. But here we go. I said the guard got kill points. 11 to be precise, matching their point total from game 2, I think, which they won. A really, really great game from them. But Luminosity wins it in first place with 21 points. These two teams are starting to run away with this competition, Vicky.
Yeah, love to see it here. C9 also holding the very top end of Down Beast, but without any KP. So they got the placement points, but they need the KP desperately because I believe they are on the lower end of the overall standings. Furia also still in the top 10, like we've been seeing, in Optic Gaming having a lot better of a game this time around.
Yeah, better is relative. 4 points, Vicky. I'm just saying.
Yeah. No, you're right, though. You're right.
Shout out to Heck, though. We have to call it HEC. After winning last game, they get another 10-plus point game. That's really, really big for them. Taking a look at page 2. A lot of teams, again, that you have kind of big circles over. TSM, not the best showing today. Not showing up. FaZe, same thing. I mean, FaZe got blessed that game, Vicky. They got Hot Zone, and they got the end ring finishing on their POI in Down Beast. In the words of my friend Dan Gaskin, that should mean you find success. And I actually, challenged him on that because I disagree. I think statistics have shown it's 50-50 in terms of rotation versus edge. But nonetheless, FaZe should have performed in that game. Instead, they're sitting in 11th place. Tripod's right behind them in 12th. But Optic still in 17th, Cloud9 in 15th are some of the notable names. Esports Arena is another one. They came in today as a top 5 team, currently in 14th, Vicky.
I want to build off that point with FaZe too, because you highlighted it perfectly. The fact that they were holding that north side of checkpoint, right south of North Pad, they called off that circle amazingly. And if they held that position, it would have been great. But there is such a thing as rotating too early, depending on your team composition. And unfortunately for FaZe, they got sent on by the squads that were having a lot of action go down on the east side of Down Beast, as well as the north side of checkpoint, where you saw Sentinels holding that choke point.
Yeah, that's a good point. One other kind of big important stat I want to throw out there. Rambo's currently leading the way as kill leader of this lobby with 22 kills. Oh my gosh, is the man with the luscious hair performing today. And the move to put him on Valk, huge. They were putting him on Watson. They let him fly. They let him get a little more loose. And I got to say, in the words of my friend Spider-Tiff, he's a peacock. You got to let him fly sometimes. Spread his wings and good things happen. That luscious hair of his. Shout out to Rambo performing incredibly well. We're going to take a quick break, though. We have game number 6, our last and final game right around the corner. It's been a highly entertaining North American Pro League series today. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, game number 6 right after this.
Apex Legends Global Series Monster Energy, your official energy drink for the ALGS.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the North American ALGS broadcast. It's Spider-Tiff here. Joined alongside me is Fallout and Vicky Kitty, who have been bringing you all the action, commentating impeccably, and even cutting in with some nice little moments there on Rambo. I loved that little quote you gave me. I believe it was originally like Mark Wahlberg or someone who said that in some kind of movie. I was thinking about it. I was like, where is that moment where he's like, I'm a peacock, you gotta let me fly.
Peacocks fly. So you said that, and I realized, do peacocks even fly?
No.
That's the joke.
They cause a lot of damage, that's what I know. We got a lot of peacocks down here in South Florida. They definitely ruin things in cars and stuff like that. But you know what? If Rambo's a peacock, then RKN and Keon, a pack of peacocks are called a P-Foul. So I guess I'm gonna call them the P-Foul Mafia gang out here. The P-Foul Mafia coming in, flying in, the guard gonna rally up together.
Wow.
Rat-ta-ta-ta, caw. I mean, look,
I just gotta take a moment to dissect what just happened.
Yeah, I don't even know at this point, but I am just loving all of those like
great.
sound effects we're getting from Vicky. At this point, y'all, make sure you hire Vicky Kitty as your next voice actor because, I mean, just killing it.
She gave him a battle cry. They got a caw. That's the battle cry. She called him a peacock. What'd you call him?
A group of peacocks are called P-Foul.
P-Foul?
Yeah, P-Foul.
Like you have a foul mouth?
F-O-W-L?
Yeah,
Foul?
P-Foul. All right.
Yeah.
We got nicknames now for the guard. They got a battle cry, the P-Fouls. All right, I like that.
I mean, here it is. You heard it here first. You are learning many things about peacocks here today, but let's go ahead and take a look at that final circle from map number 5. And Vicky, kind of take us through this.
All right, going in through the last circle, we saw that Luminosity and C9 had little to no cover to work with. C9 were the unfortunate sandwich squad where Luminosity had them in their sights, but they also had the cover of the rock, so it prevented the guard from pressuring them. And then this allowed Luminosity to clean up this extra KP. So not only did they close in the gap between themselves and the guard with the Bangalore smoke grenades and the Rolling Thunder, but they also were able to get the KP that was C9 just straying away from them.
That's true, but here's the moment. Look at the top right of the screen. The guard went caw, and they got a couple kills on C9. You heard the battle cry come in, but the battle cry unfortunately wasn't enough because LG were like a pack of lions, pack of jaguars, if you will, flanking wide left. Yanya, I love this decision. I mean, this game is all angles. This game is all flanks, and this decision to go wide left, jump on top of the truck, get the angle, and initially break ice allowed Aguadas to get the creeping barrage knock with the ultimate, and that was enough for them to finish things off. And look how good of a job they do with bait and switch. You did enough damage, saving this moment. Nyuzzle does 61 damage, falls back down, lets his teammates finish up. LG are so good at fighting together and recognizing the importance of a bait and switch, and they showed it right there.
Yeah, they're incredibly comfortable in their micro fights, and it's just so really just great to see. But on the other hand, I would really wish that Cloud9 would have found some eliminations throughout their journey of that match. But hey, maybe they will find more success here in the final matchup of the day because it is coming now. That final map on Storm Point. Vicky Kitty, Fallout. I mean, what are you guys thinking to see what is going to happen? Will the guard run it back and come out on top again?
Honestly, the way they're playing right now, I think they've been looking fantastic. They have a nice little cushion and a lead right now. Will they go back-to-back with another win, a third win for this series? I don't think so. I think they're going to get a nice, like, 8 to 10 kills or points total. I think that's going to be enough for them to win the series. Vicky, what do you think?
I don't think anybody is going to be able to dethrone the guard right now. I mean, leading the way with 75 points overall, with Luminosity holding that second place spot with 53 points. Luminosity and Fury are literally back-to-back. Fury is sitting third with 52 points, so just a 1-point difference between these two squads. I'm just looking right at this point, second all the way down to 5th with 100 Thieves holding on to 39 points to determine which of these squads are going to be in the top 3 at the end of the day.
I know we always have those discussions near the end of the broadcast surrounding MVP, and kind of the talks make that way happen throughout the matches that we've witnessed. And I know I've got a couple people in my eyes, and you know, we'll just see. Will some things change in match number 6, or will new people make a way? I'm still waiting for Season, my team, to watch to find a map victory, but in the end of the day, so far, they haven't. Go ahead, Fallout, Vicky Kitty, take it away.
Thank you so much, Tiff. That's right. Game number 6, ladies and gentlemen of Apex. Blow it up in the chat right now. Let us know who you want to perform here in this last and final game. Is it Mexico? If so, spam Vamos Mexico in the chat for Luminosity Gaming. Let us know if you want to see TSM, FaZe, Optic, your favorite big brands show some life. Or are you a fan of the Guard? Are you a fan of Tripods? Let us know who you want to perform here in this game number 6 as we get ready for what's going to be an absolute ride. Vicky, game 6 is here.
I'm excited. Even the Challenger Circuit squad's really coming and swinging again. BR Demon sitting in number 6 overall in the leaderboards. Heck out here, formerly known as a Lantern. Oh, we swinging now? Oh, we duking it out in the final game? No, nobody is safe. C9, I'm so sorry, but look, you may have ratted it out to top 3, but you didn't get any KP. You were sitting in 15th overall, and you just got punched out by Slept Up off rip. All right, and they're just driving away? I can't believe that just happened already off the rip. I mean, we just started our final game of the day in North America.
This is like gang activity right now. This is happened a car and just dipset some Grand Theft Auto on screen was slept on. That was like a moment where they said, hey, drop on the pills and we're gonna have a sword fight, a melee fight. That's what you do when it's like 3 in the morning and you're delusional after playing video games for 6 hours in Apex, let alone in Pro League. I think actually what happened is slept on caught Cloud9 off guard. I mentioned earlier, you can have strats and you can do your research to understand where teams drop. You can catch them off guard, and that's exactly what happened there.
It's revenge if you think about it. Let's not forget what happened in World's Edge between Slept-On and C9. C9 bullied them, landed on their drop spot over by staging when they usually land in Climatizer, and then beat Slept-On as the first squad to go down. I believe it was game number 1 or so in the early game lobby. So Slept-On, in the very end, where the final game actually matters, did literally the same thing to C9. So if that isn't karma, I don't know what is.
Yeah, part of that was probably, you know, they're a little salty. The other part is, I mean, Slept-On needs it. That's 3 kill points for them. They're in 8th place right now in this lobby, and they are in 27th place or 28th place in the overall Pro League. So I mentioned it a couple games ago, they need a top 5 finish, and the way you do that, well, you get 3 kill points to start. It's a good start for them. Game number 6, can the rookies in Slept-On, brand new to the ALGS from the Challenger circuit, can they perform here in this last and final game and get a top 5 finish and make themselves, you know, give themselves a chance to make it to top 20 for the regional final?
Yeah, if we could have the map pulled up real quick so that way we can see where the circle is pulling. I do believe it is pulling towards Barometer, so we're expecting a lot of heavy action for the squads that are rotating from the western side of the map, exiting out of Mill, exiting out of Down Beast. So I'm looking at Optic Gaming, who are probably going in for their quick rotation since they haven't been playing Edge like other squads have. They're not really an Edge fighting team like that. This is a squad that found a lot of success when Valkyrie was first introduced into the meta, where they wanted to hold on to Godspot and not let it go. So I'm expecting Optic to probably go in for a quick rotate to try to get closer into Barometer.
Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen. Optic rotates fast. We see BR Demons, who drops Barometer, already saying, let's take this center building here. We're going to expect the zone to continue to pull south, but a really good position for the BR Demons, and Tripods are rotating really, really quick. And this is where I want to see teams like Tripods, teams like BR Demons, who are kind of on the fringe. They're right there from being a really, really solid team and continuing to grow. This is a favorable zone for you. Rotate early and showcase that you can play a hybrid play style. As meanwhile, we find a Catalyst fight, and Catalyst Ultimate's already down here.
Yeah, seeing E8 now, they land some of the shots with the wingman. The wing dude coming in and knocking down Tempest. Crossino in a lot of trouble. The only squad rocking the Catalyst right now. Fury having to back up, giving the suppressed fire. But E8 losing out on Presley's shield doesn't spell doom for them just yet, but they have to stand in loop for Golden. Now it's going to be a 2v2. He gets knocked right behind that rock. The piercing spike's actually finding him.
Oh my gosh, insane. We thought that it was E8 that had the advantage here, but Fury makes a play. Catalyst, what's up? Gonna get a res here and should be able to do so with relative ease. And it looks like both teams will get a res and reset, but Fury's putting in some damage right now. Fury's showing what he can do. I mean, former member of ESA, longtime duo of Phony. We know he was a top performer on that team. Just unfortunately, he got replaced on that squad for a really, really talented Luda. But right now, Fury's showing what he's got.
Shots flying by, hitting Ghost real quick while they try to get this res currently. This fight's on the ground real quick, also getting the knock at the same time. This is the chance for James to now close in that gap, finish that off. That's going to be 2 members knocked from this team. And are we going to get the finish? Okay. He's got a full shield, but sometimes it's about sending a message for a final game here.
Oh boy. That's a, hey, see you next time. See you later. Game 6, you out of here. But 2 members are going to be out. And 1 member of E8 actually survives, I believe. So nice job right there for Karasuno turning that fight around. A little bit of BM. You like to see it. Clearly there's something here between these 2 teams.
I love it. It's one of my favorite things when it comes to competitive Apex. You get to love seeing some of the show go down here for some of these squads.
Guys, you should see Vicky's Xbox Live messages. It's the most toxic stuff I've ever seen in my life. If it gets leaked ever, she'll lose every single job she's ever had. No, I'm just playing.
It's not even from me. It's a bunch of assault lords. But that's what fuels some of these players, especially some of these squads here.
You bait them and you tempt them. Girl, I've read those messages.
You got to go for the tactical crouch sometimes when you're feeling yourself, all right? And Presley, Presley is not the seer in this case. Presley is the Valkyrie, but usually when the last one alive is a seer, you get to get some extra information to see if the banners are safe to pick up. Presley could only look on to see if he could pick up these banners. And right at the very end, he jumps right into the spikes into the loving arms of James Fearless.
Oh my God.
All right, he's already dead. He's already dead. This man has a family. We get it. You clean them up, and Cross and R are just going to walk away with some extra loot.
And James unloads 2 full clips into the death box despite having relative low ammo, just because. Yeah, clearly there's something here between these two teams. Hikaru Suno just plays that to perfection. They hide, bait the death boxes, and then drop a catalyst Q right in front of it just to guarantee the kill. Nice job right there from Hikaru Suno as they take out E8 in a rivalry, which seems like a little bit of a grudge match between the two of them. But Fury is right behind Hikaru Suno now. Perhaps a little too cocky, too confident. They gotta be careful for a red hot Fury.
Yeah, what's funny is that those are two teams that are sitting in 19th looking at EA and then 18th with Karasuno just sitting there. So it's literally like the grudge of which of these squads are in the bottom end of the overall leaderboards coming on top for that fight.
That's too funny. Well, mentioned Furia, one team that's at the top of the leaderboard as well. It's LG and Furia right next to each other for 2nd and 3rd place. I think only a point or 2 separates them. So this is a really, really big game 6. The Guard pretty much has this in the bag. They're up by about 20 points. So unless they drop an egg and LG does something insane and Furia does something insane, which the Guard doesn't do that. They never drop eggs. They always find a way to stay relevant and get a few kill points. I think the Guards got this, but Luminosity, Furia, SSG, a few others fighting for 2nd place here. It's going to be a really, really intense game 6 for them.
Yeah, we highlighted it already. The Guard have a huge lead right now over the rest of this lobby. As we tune into Luminosity, our winners of our previous game, and are also the only team that has won more than 1 game today in North America, looking to try to see if they could break some of their extra records here and maybe get a 3rd game under their belt. But they're going to be taking their time to rotate into this next circle, playing on the outskirts of this circle, while working with some meds to also play into. So they're going to take the skyward dive, and let's see where they're going to go.
Yeah, and this is interesting for LG. You know, I mentioned earlier, I want to see teams like Tripods and others show that they can play early rotate, play a favorable zone, and we'll see how they perform here in this game. Tripods got actually the tallest building in Barometer, so a really good spot. But LG says, yeah, it's a close zone for us. We're still going to play our game. Like, we don't care. I mean, and you heard that in the interview from Danya a couple of weeks ago. It was really an amazing interview, really well spoken. But he says, look, we don't care what the meta is. We just play playstyles that work for us. And we play team comps that work for us. And at the end of the day, if you just play well as a team, you can survive. That's their philosophy, and that philosophy has been working for them. And despite this being a southern zone and them dropping fish farms and Gale Station, they're still playing edge. They're still playing hard edge. We'll see if they can find success, though, because they're in a really tough spot right now.
Yeah, they're playing on the other side of this rock, and they are getting circle kept by the squad that's probably holding onto the dome-shaped building that is to the left side of Barometer. Looking at this circle, we've seen this circle before. It could pull towards that island that is to the left of Barometer on the southwestern side, or it could pull a little bit north towards the bridge area where it would benefit some squads that rotate away from the mill from the northern side of the zone.
I'm really interested to see how LG does in this game. I mean, this is a tough rotate. They're going to have to get through FaZe and Season, who are right nearby them over from Cenote Cave. So we'll keep an eye on them. We'll keep them tracked. Thank you for the overhead map. Perfect timing. They're going to go through and they're going to get some more med kits and craft up back here in the zone. Again, big thank you to whoever idea at Respawn it was to create the replicator, because that's made edge fighting so much more viable. And it actually was the birth of edge fighting, was the replicator in season 3 or 4, whatever it was. So it's going to be an opportunity here for LG to get some more heals and rotate through. They're going to have to get through FaZe, Season, and Oxygen. All eyes on them in a big game 6.
If they do manage to take this fight over FaZe that's trying to circle keep them on the other side of this hill, then they are going to be in a really good position. So let's see how they want to play this out. If they don't finish that fight quickly, then they risk getting third party by Season, who's to the north of FaZe currently. And then that's also going to be a green light for Oxygen, because there's about 3 to 4 squads within this area alone, and no squad wants to try to int onto the other when it comes to holding onto these buildings.
We can scan this area.
Well, current standings right now in this game, the Guard first place with 75 points, Luminosity second with 53, so 22-point lead. The Guard's been dominating. I hope, I'm praying that we get Rambo for an interview. That would be the best possible vibe. We got Arcan last time. He's really well spoken, good insights. Something tells me the Rambo interview is gonna be much different. It's gonna be a completely different vibe than RKN, but nonetheless, big shout out. I don't want to get ahead of myself. We still got a whole game 6 here. You gotta give a shout out to the Guard's performance so far, as LG is a team that has to perform. They have Season in their sights.
And their consistency too. You know, we saw day number 5, they got third in a lobby that Team Liquid was dominating in, and it was very close in that old top 10 standing, as Luminosity are still looking to see which of these squads are playing right behind them. They want to make sure that their backs are cleared, but the circle is closing in right behind their backs, and if they're not going to get circle kept by FaZe, they're going to get circle kept by Season, who are inside these buildings.
That's right, Luminosity here. Zone closing behind them. They have some time because they're on slow side of the zone. They need to get some early damage, and if they get some first shots, expect them to fly. They have the Bangalore, they have the Bloodhound, they have the scans, and might have a Digi threat as well to their name. They're going to work wide left here. They marked where they want to go, and that's where they will go indeed. TSM just north of them, Season to their right, Oxygen in the choke in between the mountain, actually. Watch Luminosity have to push through and have to get through these teams.
where are they going to make the decision to rotate here? You can see the pings. They're looking at the 2 different choke points that would lead them into this next circle, but there could be a squad on the other side of that hill easily. They don't have that set of information unless they take a skyward dive and not only put themselves up in the air for other squads to see them in that rotate, but to get that passive information that the Valkyrie passive provides when you are going to be able to get the scan in the air. So Luminosity, with some of these pings, I'm wondering what their mindset is in terms of the comms and where they want to go.
Yeah, this is interesting. Season is gatekeeping them and kind of bullying them from taking any of these buildings. And they want that building so bad, but they know that 2 members of Season are at that choke, and they're going to absolutely punish them if they try pushing. So they're going to have to slowly work their way in, and they can't just beeline to that building because they'll take some damage from Season. It looks like they'll be safe for now.
Saw Charge Rifle light up the feed real quick here, too. A lot of action happening on the north end, on the outskirts of the circle. Wondering which of these squads are in a skirmish. I do see that TSM is in a fight versus Esports Arena. Season are still trying to gatekeep Luminosity, while Oxygen Esports are also inside of that tunnel vault. So that could be doomed for Luminosity if they're going to get fully sent on by 2 squads in a sandwiching position unless they make their next move to rotate as quickly as possible.
Yeah, big fight happening right now between Furia and BR Demons. We're going to jump right to it. Panders. Zeratrick getting it knocked. Pander's gonna heal back up. Watson has to go big. He's gonna get 1 knock. Turns, immediately finds another, and he's gonna snap the wrist and immediately connect. Oh my god, Furia take out the BR Demons on the heels of 261 damage from his Watson. What a performance right now. Drops the smoke just to secure the res, and Furia continues to perform.
Love a little quick corner disengage from his Watson while you saw Panders just help him out, give him the suppressed fire that he absolutely needed while he was in the Beast of the Hunt. Nice follow-up shoulder-to-shoulder gameplay here from Furia.
That's right. So it'll be basically our eyes and our observers going back and forth between Furia and Luminosity because those 2 teams are fighting for second. Well, guess what? HEC is behind them by 10 points. That's another team we have to keep an eye on. 100 Thieves in 5th with 39. BR Demons was in 6th and just got taken out with 35. So now teams like Space Station, Sentinels, TSM, FaZe, Tripods have a chance to maybe break into the top 7 with 1 or 2 of the top 7 teams already eliminated.
Pesky Charge Rifle. You see it just coming out of left field, and Furia just completely ignoring it, getting out of the line of sight of that Charge Rifle, just looting up before making their next move to go in for a rotate. They're pinging on that middle area of Barometer, which is already getting contested by 3 squads as we take back a look at Luminosity, who are still playing on the outskirts of the circle. Not fully sending it onto Season means that Luminosity does know that Oxygen Esports is in the area, so if they risk getting involved in this fight and falling incredibly low, they could inevitably get 3rd bump.
That's right. And as things are slowing down here before the zone ends up collapsing, I'll take a moment. I was thinking about that. You know, P quad. What is it again?
Oh, P-Foul. The P-Foul Mafia.
The P-Foul Mafia. Yeah. The problem
that's what I would call them.
I would agree with Peacock as the spirit animal for Rambo, but I can't say the spirit animal for the other 2 is a peacock. Like, you know, Keon's like a bull mastiff. You ever seen that dude? The guy's like 6'7". He's built like a truck. And Arcane's like a freckled lizard, you know? is his spirit animal. So, you know, maybe a koala.
Okay.
A really smart koala. But I struggle with that a little bit. But here we go. Back on board and back, you know, relevant conversations. LG find themselves pushing here on FaZe, and TSM is nearby. They had to go somewhere. Jaguares goes down to the hands of Imperial Hal from a long range. Hal gets the knock, so it's a 3-way affair between TSM, FaZe, and LG.
Oh my goodness, right here with so much action going on and landing right into the action of everything currently. They're sharing some of this space between FaZe and TSM that are looking at what's happening on the outskirts of this building. They lose on Jaguares. Let's see if they can at least recover the banner. Nizul's trying to actually replenish his own health to shield bat, but they finally managed to slow things down just a little bit.
That's right. So they'll be down to a team of 2. It's Yanya and Yazul, the duo. Original duo that worked their way up. This team was Scry, an unsigned team that came out of nowhere, qualified for the Split 2 playoffs. No one expected them to do so in a region in LATAM, Latin America, Mexican Apex community that only had 2 teams. It was All Glory Gaming, and it was Scry, now Luminosity. Jaguares was on the All Glory Gaming squad. Well, Scry just got better and better week over week, and then surprised the world by qualifying for the Split 2 playoffs. Got signed by Luminosity shortly after, and supported in their opportunity to make it out, to fly out to Sweden and compete, and he performed at that event, performed yet again at Champs. Really an amazing story, you know, amateur to pro story for these guys, and they're just getting started here as now a top 3 team in North America. I'd love to see it.
Yeah, Luminosity continuously picks up more and more of these amazingly talented Mexican players, not just in the competitive Apex space, but also in other esports too. Shout out to Meister, of course, in the Smash Brothers scene. And FaZe now inside of these buildings are going to be able to see where the action is going down with the Seer heartbeat sensor. They see the action right underneath them. A lot of these other squads are already making their rotation into these rock formations on the outskirts of this building. But like I mentioned before, we have seen this circle pull a little bit on the outskirts of this building, closer towards the water, wondering how that's going to work into FaZe once they're forced to funnel out of this building.
Yeah, we were a little critical of FaZe. Oh, actually, hold on. Hold that thought. The guard is going to Valk ult their way in. They know that this is God spot. They want to bully it. So RKN goes down early. Little did he know that this spot is taken by 3 teams already. I don't think he had that intel. Keon's going to get swung on. He gets taken out. Rambo out as well. So the guard's going to be eliminated by LG, the team in second place right behind them. But here comes TSM and FaZe swinging as well, wanting some kill points.
Silent but deadly, and that's as quickly as the guard goes down. They thought they had something cooking once they landed up the Skyward Dive, but that's the risk that the Skyward Dive brings if you land in a building that the Valkyrie passive doesn't pick the players up because they're already in some natural cover of what the building provides.
That's a good point. I think that's what happened to the guard. Ultimately, a risky decision, high risk, high reward, and didn't pay off for them. Bold move to try and take God spot. They get taken out. Meanwhile, Furia gets a knock on Tripods. There's a big fight happening right now in Barometer. First attempt, Furia and Tripods, and perfect observing here. We're going to jump right into the action as Furia will be hitting this rotate. Tripods going to be eliminated in 14th place. Not the best day for them. The ultimate comes through here for his Watson in Bangalore. And here comes the push. Smoke grenade out. And he has one more left to his name to use that for cover.
You saw that Trident with the Gibby dome on it, just zooming by in the back end. Furia deleting the rest of this lobby, takes down Luda. ESA in a lot of trouble. Sleepbound finally get eliminated. They can't go by passively with so much attention focused on them while they were riding inside of that Trident. Furia now are looking to clean up the rest of this side of the circle.
That's right. All up to Zera and his Watson. Last two alive. The ultimate's going to come through from Bang. I think that might be LG's ult because his ult came through a lot earlier. So down to barely any HP. Watson needs to get something off, and it will be a shield bat. He'll be able to hit reset. Yanya is going to pop off with 2 kills in the kill feed. LG, a team of 2, still alive and being a menace.
Oh, but Furia have so much KP to their name. With the gravity lift, up, and away we go. Zera Tricky can't do it alone as Furia get deleted. It's Season that clean up this side of the circle. No amount of reset for Furia allows them to come out on top, and they're going to be exiting their way out of this final game.
So here's what's so interesting. It's clashing of the heavyweights trading blow for blow. LG has been picking up kills. Furia has 10 kills. The question is, who's going to do more? Who's going to do enough? If LG can make it to late game and get a top 3 finish, you got to think it's going to be them. Currently with 4, they were 1 point separated. This is going to be down to the wire here. It's going to all come down to this last few moments and rings. If LG can stay alive and continue to perform, Space Station is going to be out in 7th place overall. TSM making a case for top 10 here.
And FaZe also just doing such a great job on not only securing this building, but calling out this circle very early on. Let's not forget they also circle kept Luminosity, which forced them to rotate through Cenote Caves. So Luminosity now playing this as a duo, playing on the outskirts, sharing some of that space. Season get eliminated here, and it's Oxygen Esports that's still in the fray, that's still in this lobby, and they have that natural cover of the Bangalore smoke to actually dwell onto.
Yeah, this is big for a lot of these teams. And again, it's a really well-distributed lobby point total. So really what that means is in Game 6, whoever pops off can go from 15th to 7th. And that's what Optic is looking to do. Albert Lely's going to get a couple knocks on Optic, though. As I say that, they get taken out. Optic Gaming is eliminated. Hal's going to get the final kill on Skittlecakes. So just like that, 4 squads remain. It's FaZe, TSM, Luminosity still alive, as well as Oxygen.
Last 3 squads here remaining, rather. Last 4 squads, Oxygen, Luminosity, TSM, FaZe now coming in. Still FaZe having control over the building. What, the destruction of the Watson ult?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And Yanni got scared too. This is like a horror game right now.
Yanya having to be careful. Playing this out as a duo is so scary, especially when you have to play on the outskirts of this building. Oxygen are on the other side here too.
Yeah, so Verhulst and Hal both still alive, as well as Reps on high ground here. 4 teams left. What a finish here. LG's been doing such a good job just holding this perimeter of this building as a duo. Anyone that tries to push them, they shut down in their tracks, and they're picking up kill points along the way. Yanya got 2 with the 30-30. Oh my god, gonna melt. 140 damage. I think that's on Oxygen. And here's what they want to do. They want to start this fight. They don't want to finish it. They want to initiate a fight between all 3 of these teams because they're a team of 2, and they're doing such a good job of trying to do exactly that.
And they also have loot to work with. With these two death boxes at their feet, they have shield swaps, they have shields for days, they have all the ammunition. And I also very much agree with the double card. That weapon loadout goes crazy. Here you have Yanya, though, who is a heavy fragger, who's going to be able to pop the shield back, go one-on-one. They note that there's still that squad that's right above them. If this squad drops down right behind Luminosity, they could be in a really tough position for any of the squad that wants to get involved in a third party.
1,300 damage right now for Yanya, formerly known as Ganjamin, the player that took the world by storm in Split 2 of last year's Pro League with some insane plays. We'll see if he can turn that 1,300 into 2,000. Something tells me at the end of this game, if he can make it, he will. TSM on high ground. Personally believe they have the win condition here. TSM with a great opportunity to go from 10th place coming into this to a potential top 5 finish. I mean, Space Station, Sentinels, slept on, BR Demons, 100 Thieves are all out. And TSM had 23, 100 Thieves had 39 in 5th place. So if TSM can get a 20, 30-point game, they can place top 5.
Yeah, they can, and they absolutely need it. Their best placement has been 3rd place. You can see the Beast of the Hunt activated right now. Luminosity forced to pop up that shield bat. Now look who's wrapping on the other side, who's going to be meeting up with Yanya. He needs some help. He needs Niesel to help cover him.
Yeah, Niesel with the double cars, not going to be enough. He gets some damage in early, but he gets taken out. Oxygen's going to do it. TSM still on high ground, content watching all these fights ensue. With the high ground positioning, with the God spot, TSM well poised to win this game.
3 spots left. TSM, Oxygen, and FaZe playing on the inside. Imperial Hell gets taken down. A nice little sneaky play to get onto the high ground right here, but Reps wavers them off.
Unbelievable. FaZe tries to take it right from under their nose, and Reps turns around and says no. Doesn't miss a shot. Great shots come through from TSM, and FaZe gets denied. So Oxygen now, we're in the best position to stop TSM, and I think no one can.
Yeah, now the fact that FaZe is down a member, so is Oxygen. This is a 2v3 because they're going to get Hal right back up. They're going to have him reset. Slapdown gets a knock into Casellas here, and TSM now have all the green light to win this final game.
Too easy for TSM. They're going to do it. You're champions of game number 6. They needed this more than anything. They needed a spring into life, and they did exactly that. What a finish for the boys in black and white. The way that they did it as well, by rotating with a Valk ult to take the high ground on top of FaZe Clan. What a great call by Hal. Great rotations come through as well. They predict where the zone's going to go, and they get the dub with a few kills to boot. What a game right there from TSM, Tiff.
Honestly, that turn on to Alberlelli to deny FaZe from getting onto that high ground was everything that I could have wanted. And the fact that they got that nice reset onto Hal and then dropped down, turned all their attention to clean up Oxygen Esports, and then as well, and just coming out on top at the end of the game. That is what they needed to do, and that is the TSM that we're used to seeing.
Yeah, that's right. Did you see those AI pictures of Reps? He just channeled whatever that character is. You know, the guy's jacked and Reps is massive by punching whoever that was right in the face. Alberlelli, I think it was, when he tries to take high ground from him. He stops him in his tracks and performs so incredibly well, Vicky.
What's great in a situation like that is even if that melee didn't finish on Alberlelli, it at least shoved him off the high ground, which is a statement already, and still allows TSM to have the space to reset and get Hal up to par with the rest of what was left in that lobby. But you highlighted amazingly with TSM's rotation Fallout. They rotate from the wall. They were hanging out in the armory on the outskirts of Cenote Cave, so they got also all that extra loot, gate kept any of the northern squads exiting out of Down Beast, and then still found their way into that building that FaZe was holding onto from the very beginning of the game.
And that's a good point. I want to point out, my friend Dan Gaskin, if you're watching, and it's late there in England, so you're probably not watching. But if you are watching the rebroadcast, this is why I kind of challenged him. He said, look, the teams that land or the zone pulls closer to them have the advantage. That's actually not true. I mean, look at Storm Point. All 3 of our Storm Point games, Tiff, were won by teams that actually had to rotate max and play edge. HEC in game number 4. We saw it from LG in game 5. And there you go again from TSM coming all the way from the north side of the wall in game 6.
Look, I think that's just kind of been the story of the EMEA broadcast earlier on today and the NA broadcast tonight. A lot of these teams are getting on those rotations early, but let's go ahead and jump into match number 6 highlights. And it started with this kind of fist fight at the very beginning, and unfortunately, Cloud9 at the hands of Slept On getting essentially carjacked. I mean, Trident jacked per se, Fallout.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I still wondered if they DM each other and say, hey, drop the pills, let's just duke it out. That feels like that's what happened. Now, but jokes aside, Slept On catching him off guard. This is that fight. A lot of BM early in this fight, in this game here in game 6, Vicky.
Why they gotta do C9 like that? I mean, they already had a rough day, but I guess, you know what, you gotta rub salt on the wound sometimes, like we saw what happened between E8 and our other squad, Cross, winning that fight with the Catalyst. Luminosity, though, the squad that we had our eyes on, having a bit of a rough endgame, playing things out as a duo, but still getting some KP to their name before that.
Yeah, and here's what's interesting. Furia dominated. So many good edge fights, and they took these fights with so much confidence and aggression. LG dominated. The fact that they were coming from a really bad spot, had to rotate all the way through zone, and still got top 5. The question is, who did enough? Who did more? I mean, LG, I think, had 5 or 6 kills and a good placement, but Furia got 10 kills and 1 or 2 or 3 points of placement. So it's going to be a really, really close finish here between Furia and LG for second. Furia needs it more than anything, Tip.
And I think that's kind of where my question comes into play. The guard, they came into map number 6 at the top of the leaderboard feeling really secure, but they went out incredibly early, which opened the door for Luminosity and Furia to have just massive games and maybe challenge them for that, because they were coming into map number 6 at 53 and 52 points simultaneously. So just a point separating them. And then Oxygen Esports, the fact that is they came into the 5th ring, 8 squads remaining, and really gave FaZe a run for their money.
That's right. Furia, Oxygen here. Really, I gotta agree with that, Tiff. Oxygen's late game performed well, made it to the final 3, ended up getting, I think, 3rd place as FaZe dropped on top of them. And I gotta say, it was the right decision, Vicky, in my eyes, for FaZe. Yes, they got stopped by TSM, but to try and take high ground was the right call. Here's the moment where Slurpee and Cody all call at the same time. They do a lot of damage, but really, props to TSM for thwarting this and shutting it down. It was really reps here in this moment, and the great flick kept them at bay.
You can only imagine how the comms probably sounded right there when Reps was immediately able to turn his attention to Alberlili, who, by the way, so many players just fell into Alberlili's open arms before TSM was able to take the whole thing. You saw that FaZe was able to perform very, very well and secure 6 KP to their name, getting 2nd place.
Ooh, very well done. TSM edging out the rest of the teams in the lobby to finally get a map win. Better late than never in map number 6 with 21 points. You're right, FaZe in second with 15 eliminations. You've got to feel good about that one after kind of a rocky start to the day here on match day number 6. Oxygen Esports, though, getting into that top 3, incredibly strong for them. My pick down there, the teams to watch, Season in 6th, Optic in 5th, and Furia not having the best placement, but that's not what they're known for. They're a kill-heavy team similar to Vex Gaming as well, and they've got 10 eliminations, so staying consistent once again, Vicky.
Okay, now here's the craziest thing. Furia with 12 and Luminosity with 10. So Furia had 2 more points than them, but was behind by 1 point. I think that might be enough for Furia to take second, Vicky.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you right there, Paul. I was actually going to mention the same exact thing here, because with all that KP, can you imagine if Furia also got the placement points necessary at the end game? But like Tip said, this is something that we're used to seeing when it comes to Furia and how kill heavy they play usually in a lot of these other Pro League lobbies. Now looking at the second page here, what is your first thoughts looking at this page, looking at Sentinels, looking at Crossito, who actually got that early KP fight of Tiffany?
It's kind of tough because Sentinels did so well starting off in Storm Point on match number 4, and I was really hoping for them to kind of find a lot more success and start building that momentum. But it seems a lot of the teams that came from Challenger Circuit and the preseason qualifiers have found themselves on the bottom half here in match number 6. And then Cloud9, my heart, bro. My heart goes out to them losing out on that fist fight, and E8 going down with that early knock due to the piercing spikes. We always see kind of 1 or 2 catalysts in the lobby, and it just seems that E8 found them as well. But let's go ahead and take a look at the series results and see how the day ended, Fallout. Whew.
Wow. The guard on top, we all knew that, but Furia by 1 point made the difference. What a finish right there. Furia does it by playing very, very kill aggressive and getting the kill points. Luminosity tries to get the placement points. 1 more placement would have made the difference, or 2 more kills would have, actually 1 more kill would have made the difference for Luminosity, because if they tie, they win. What a showing. And HEC ties at 44 with TSM, but based on the tiebreaker, Vicky, HEC gets the 4th place finish over TSM.
Look at these ties too. Space Station 100 Thieves, FaZe and BR Demons, who had an insane day. So close for this top 10 in the overall standings for a day like this in the NA ALGS.
Hey, sometimes you've really just got to win your ones and get as many extra kill points as you can. Sometimes making that overextension and getting that full thirst can make or break this. But now we have the overview of the regular season standings now that we've kind of finished that 2nd round robin and everyone's on equal footing here. And it's going to be TSM edging out the consistent team Liquid there just by 2 points though, Fallout.
Yeah, that's right. And look, Vicky and I had a good discussion. Who are the top 3 teams in North America? TSM just had to perform in that Game 6 to remind us real quick. Who's the top dog? Because guess what? This is the point in the Pro League where all things are equal. All groups have played an even amount of Pro League days. So right now, the top 3 teams in North America, by definition, are TSM, Team Liquid, and the Guard. And TSM saying, yeah, Luminosity's not going to take that spot because they performed in game number 6 to give themselves the first place spot. TSM, top dog on top.
And this is where you've got to start looking at that bubble. Teams in like place 8th through maybe 15th. There's only about 10 points separating them. And if you're not familiar with that, top 20 teams will be advancing on to that regional final. And that is what you are vying for at this point in time in these group stages. And that's another bubble you've got to look at. G2 barely holding on there, as well as CLG and Oxygen Esports. And I mean, let's go ahead and see how a lot of the teams today, because I'm curious. I know you guys kind of mentioned early on that Rambo at one point had 22 eliminations. Show me that top 10 kill leaderboard, because I need to see it, Vicky.
God. Wow. The fact that Furia, all 3 members of Furia are on here, 2 members of Luminosity, but Rambo with 22 kills, you know he was absolutely feeling himself. Maybe the main really does give him that power up.
He's a peacock. You gotta let him fly.
Still don't get it. Peacocks don't fly. Let the wings spread. I digress.
Hey, look, sometimes you just gotta let it go. And I had hinted at it briefly prior to that match number 6, but now is the time for the real discussion surrounding that Monster Energy MVP nominations. And I'm gonna kick it off with Vicky, because I'm really curious to hear who your nominee is going to be.
I mean, is it surprising? I gotta give it to Rambo, okay, from the Guard. Rambo had an insane pop-off day. He was feeling himself coming off of a win in a previous tournament that just happened yesterday, and he wanted to bring a lot more of that energy going into today. They made the swap where Rambo was enabled to play a lot more aggressively, since he made the swap from the Watson into the Valk, swapped that up with Keon, who was able to play a lot more passively, and the Guard was on top of their stuff when it came to these final circle positioning, but you cannot scoff at 22 kills in a lobby like this. So amazing props to Rambo. That's why he's my MVP.
Very well done, and I wouldn't expect anything else. Rambo and the Guard did so incredibly well here today, but I'm gonna throw it over to you to Fallout. Who is your Monster Energy MVP nominee for the day?
Yeah, it's a tough pick. I mean, honestly, anyone from Furia could have gotten the nod. All 3 of them played really, really well. They all responded in a big, big way. So kudos to Watson, Panders, and Co. But for me, I got to give it to Yanya again. I mean, look, this is a back-to-back MVP nomination for Yanya, because he just continues to perform and continues to have so much impact for his team. And if I look at one singular player who has the most impact for their team, I think Rambo certainly is up there, but Yanya is right next to him. What he does for this squad, the amount of times he's able to break ice, the angles he takes, it's just insane. I mean, these highlights are saying it all and showing it all. Yanya, week in and week out, continues to be such a performer. It's unbelievable. The 19-year-old, I believe, or maybe even younger, is just a staple right now in Apex. He's really the heart and soul of Mexico, and Yanya continues to perform incredibly well for the entire region. So again, Viva Mexico, Viva Yanya, performing incredibly well for this team.
Hey, and they are doing everything that they need to do, and it is so exciting to see their teamwork work together. For me, I'd like to just go ahead and double down on that Furia honorable mention that you brought in. His Watson, Panders, Zera, all looking incredibly dominating here. And the first thing that I wake up when I do is I kind of check Twitch and I see who's streaming Apex, and his Watson is genuinely on grinding ranked early on in the hours, and he's still on in the evening as well. That man just has passion and clearly loves Apex, or I don't know, just loves grinding ranked on Broken Moon. But it's so exciting to see. Another honorable mention that I like to give a shout out to is Hill, and that's going to be from HEC, the IGL of that team. I saw it in match number 4, and it was just one of those moments that kind of made or break that game. He had that decision to go ahead and they could have pulled south, fought Esports Arena, but instead they kind of decided to disengage and begin their rotation onto that north side of Thunderwatch, and from there that netted them the game win because they were able to maintain God spot, and it was just really exciting to see. But hey, that's all for the Monster Energy MVP discussion powered by Monster Energy. Now, here's the really cool moment that a lot of us have been waiting for, and Fallout, you kind of hinted at it throughout, and if we would get the ability to interview a certain person, maybe someone who's got really luxurious hair, and I'm really excited to say that we get to sit down and chat with Rambo. And let me tell you, the first thing I know I'm going to ask is, what is that hair care routine? No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to ask how his day was, but welcome in, Rambo. So yes, please give us all the the vibes. I gotta say, man, congratulations on an epic day.
Thank you so much. I'm super pumped right now. I mean, I just can't stop smiling. I'm just so happy right now. I can't see straight.
I mean, the glass is probably not helping.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I was gonna say the glass is.
True.
But I gotta go ahead. I'm gonna kick it off with the first question because I want to hear some more insight onto it. You played Watson in match day number 3 on the last time Group B versus C kind of met up, and they pulled you on to Valkyrie. And now the change has kind of went through. You had 22 eliminations today. Can you shed some more light on that change up?
Yeah, so back in Champs, I had a good amount of experience on Valkyrie. You know, I feel like I played my best Apex in my life back in Champs when I was on Valkyrie. And I've just had a lot of, comp experience like the last 2 years, knowing like, my LOSs, knowing like what to look for, like when I'm on a fragging character, try to get openings for us. So we just decided to make that switch just to like see a change. Last week when we played, it didn't go so hot. So sometimes you just got to change it up, man. And we did today, and things worked out.
Things definitely worked out. I mean, you came out on top once again, so congrats on that. Very well-respected change. I'm going to throw it to Fallout. What questions you got for Rambo?
Yeah, I mean, Rambo, you alluded to it, man. Your trajectory's been amazing to see. You popped off at Champs and really unleashed the monster, unleashed the beast, that clip that we obviously will always cherish. But it was amazing to see you perform and you become Rambo. You've kind of come into your own. It's been so much fun to watch. I got 2 questions for you. Both are very, very serious. The first question is, we already picked your spirit animal for you. You're a peacock. If you had to pick a spirit animal for your teammates, RKN and Keon, what animals would you pick and why? And try and be quick.
Let me think. RKN, probably like maybe like an older animal, maybe like a bird or something, like maybe like a tortoise. Like tortoise, or like they live long, and I feel like a tortoise is like a wise like animal. And yeah. Keon maybe like a tiger, man. Keon is such an incredible fragger, and I'm just blessed really to have the teammates that I do, man. It's so much fun to get on every day and to genuinely like love the teammates that I have to play with. I'm just super happy and blessed, to be honest with you.
I love it. I said freckled lizard for RKN, and then I said massive for Keon, but I think we're pretty close. Last question, on a more serious note, what is your why, man? What fuels you every single day to be the best Apex player in the world?
Yeah, man. I mean, I only get one shot at this. I kind of, was at school a couple years ago and, decided I want to do something cool with my life and, follow my passion. And this is my passion. And I just want to keep doing this. So like every day when I get on, man, I just want to be the best and, work towards that. And, like I said, man, I only get one shot at this, so I got to make the most of it.
Yeah, I got 2 short questions for you, Rambo. The first one is, you radiate very much Floridian energy. Are you a fellow Floridian like me? I just got to know.
Oh, yeah. Total Florida man, if you couldn't tell already.
All right,
something
perfect.
to be proud of. No,
all right, what is that supposed to mean, John? All right, I guess we got to talk after this. But you know what? That's fantastic because you were radiating amazing confidence. I actually want you to build up more of your play style with your teammates. How do you guys actually fare with each other? Because you talk heavily about Keon, RKN. How do you guys work together? What's your dynamic?
Yeah, man, I always said that like, I want to have teammates that I could, hang out with in like a social setting outside of Apex, that I could genuinely vibe with. I think the outside aspect of like a team dynamic is just important as like the actual game dynamic. So, we're pretty close and we hung out a good bit at like TwitchCon and stuff. And, we just vibe really well, man. We mesh together like really well. And so, it just kind of, we're all like good vibes. We don't take it like too serious. We just have fun. And I think that's really why, we're having these good performances. I think it's just, it just comes down to just believing in each other and liking each other, I guess, not raging at each other.
I mean, honestly, I think that's kind of the bottom line and things that sometimes people forget when they're in a competitive setting. Sometimes you got to remember, we're playing a video game. We're here to have fun. At the end of the day, this is what you get to do. And you said it best, that you get to do something really cool with your life. So thank you so much for jumping on here and chatting with us. I want to give you the floor right now. Is there any shout outs, anyone you want to specifically kind of thank or let people know in the chat where they can find you?
Yeah, I would like to give a shout out definitely to my org, the Guard. They really have believed in us ever since they signed us and have backed us incredibly. And I'm just super thankful to be able to represent an org that actually cares about me and cares about us and wants the best for us. So Definitely shout out to them. And of course, gotta give a shout out to my mama. Love my mom to death. Definitely like my best friend. And I know she's watching and she supports me all the time. And yeah, so definitely shout out to them. Oh, and one more. I'm sorry. I got to give a shout out to my fantasy football group, the Whiskey Militia, for sure.
The Whiskey Militia. I mean, I like the name. Please tell me, how is your fantasy football group going? Are you winning?
I am like average, middle of the pack. But you know, there's a couple more weeks left, and maybe I come back, you know, get in the playoffs.
Hey, you never know. You never know. But thank you so much, Rambo. And once again, congratulations to you and RKN and Keon today. Well done. And it was just actually super fun to get to sit here and witness. So until next time, we'll catch you on your match day. I'm not even sure which day. Are you coming back on Sunday? Because if so, I'll see you there. But thank you so much, homie.
Thank you guys so much. It's always a pleasure talking to y'all. Much love.
Love you, buddy.
Wow, what a great interview. It's always fun anytime we get to chat to someone that just radiates that positive Floridian energy there for you, Vicky.
I love it. I love to see not only his confidence spew out, but he really does radiate the Floridian energy. I had to ask him just in case, just to make sure.
Hey, your intuition was right, but hey, for the end of the day here, I want to kind of go ahead. We did it on the EMEA broadcast, and I want to hear your final thoughts. We just finished the second rotation through the round robin, and we only have one more rotation through the groups thus far. Give me those final thoughts.
Yeah, just wrap it up here. Honestly, my final thoughts are all around today as a great display of how great of an esport that Apex Legends truly is. I mean, if you didn't have a chance to watch the EMEA broadcast, go back and watch it. I mean, it was just purely entertaining from start to finish. I think the meta right now is in a really, really good spot. It's been so much fun to watch, and today truly showed that. Highly entertaining gameplay from start to finish, and just as a pure fan who loves this game so much and wants to see it continue to grow, I think today was a big win for all of us. So keep spreading positivity, every single one of y'all in the community. Obviously, no one's perfect, nothing's perfect. There's important constructive criticism to give, but please show some love to the game we all love, and let's help this thing continue to grow is all I got to say. Vicky, what you got?
Love it, Follow. I honestly wouldn't say it any better way, because right now we're seeing Apex at its peak. I love to see the different compositions that we've seen roll out between both the EMEA region and NA. For those of you guys that are tuning in just for NA, definitely highly recommend you guys tune in to EMEA. Just check out the VODs, because they really brought up some very interesting stuff, even winning a game with Catalyst. So with Catalyst making her move into competitive Apex, what does that fare against some of the other squads that are testing out other things with the Crypto, Watson, and Valkyrie? Love to see how NA also had a lot of ties in the overall standings ending the day today, but squads like the Guard, you know, they stay on top. TSM stays as consistent as ever. I'm excited to see some of the teams that definitely needed to get those points, looking at you, Furia, being able to get the points that they needed to stay on top. So I really had a great day being able to cast this alongside Fallout and Tiffany.
Yeah, it was just absolutely incredible being here today. A lot of moments that stood out to me, and Fallout, you highlighted it perfectly. At the end of the day, we are all surrounded by the Apex Legends community. We are one big family, and at the end of it, we're just fans of the game, and that's why we're here, doing what we love the best. So thank you guys so much. Have a great evening. I will catch y'all on the flip side. You guys did wonderful. But the night is not over. Let's go ahead and talk about what is to come. I mentioned the second set of round robin rotations is coming to an end with tonight's broadcast, but we still have 3 more match days to go, starting off with Sunday's broadcast. We're going to jump into A versus C once again. That means you're going to see the likes of IG Internationals, Heroes, and honestly, they got a first map win, and I'm excited to see if they can double down and find another one. But that's just going to be the start of it. Season, hey, that was my team to watch, and I really need them to kind of double down and come back strong on Sunday, maybe take a little bit of a break. TSM getting that well-needed win here today in match number 6, and they want to carry that momentum forward. So I will see you guys on Sunday, and that's all I've got for the North American ALGS Pro League Split 1 broadcast today. I'm Spider Tip, guys. We had Fallout and Vicky Kitty. Please make sure you go hype them up on social media. They did such a great job, and while you're at it, please follow Apex Legends across the board on Twitter, Instagram, wherever you find your social media coverage. But at the end of the day, that's all for me, folks. So go grab yourself some water, stay hydrated, because it was so much action, but there's only more to come. See you guys Sunday.